In the stone and tall Tower of Trials, there have been many attempts at conquest, from which the weapons of those who tried are still there. 58 minutes and 33 seconds remain before all of humanity is destroyed. A man stands over a pile of papers on a desk. The countdown to the annihilation of humanity continues as a woman with 2 children stands in the middle of urban devastation. Ordinary people read and write chat messages that in 1 hour the world will be destroyed and no one else will defy the odds. There are dead people in the Tower of Trials on the 48th floor who are also trying to defy the trials. But suddenly, another challenger sets foot on the 48th floor of the Red Dragon Destia. A man with a purple blade steps onto the grounds. On his face is a strange mask created from some particles. The red and white wings of the magical creature begin to spread wide in the air. In front of the man in the strange mask appears the Red Dragon Destia, which is burning with flames. The dragon addresses the man with the fact that humans do not know how to give up. Even after so much sacrifice, they are back here. The man in the black mask tells him what he needs to do to prepare the roasted lizard. He arrives just in time. The dragon extends its paw with flame to the man, saying that even in death, you can make the process more agonizing. The man sees no point in talking to the creature. Magical chains appear beneath his feet. The magical golden chains wrap around the man's legs, forming a magical circle beneath them. The red dragon swings its clawed paw at the guy as he stands before the creature, shackled by the chains. The Red Dragon Destia brings its paw down powerfully and deals devastating damage to the stone floor. The man is startled by the dragon's obvious pattern of cornering him and immediately attacks. The Red Dragon Destia reacts aggressively to the man's words, who glances at the creature's movements and realizes its actions. The red dragon is enveloped in flames of fire and is surprised that the man was able to dispel the effects of his skill in an instant. The red dragon claims that the human has simply chosen a torturous path and accumulates fire in its jaws. The red dragon's mouth opens wide and exhales a powerful stream of fiery flames towards the human. The red dragon controls its stream of fire and destroys everything in its path that the flames hit. The man in the strange mask manages to dodge all the blows from the red dragon's stream of fire. The man once again dodges the red dragon's strike and his blade burns with a pink light. Energy builds up in the man's blade. The man swings his small blade around. The man makes a powerful whiff and strikes the red dragon Destius in his jaw. The red dragon's head flies off to the side from the blow, and he calls the man a cocky man. The red dragon Destia has no intention of letting the man live. He takes advantage of the peculiarities of the Brest neighborhood. The man realizes that the entire dungeon takes place under the Brest lands, but he has no reason to dodge. Energy builds up in the guy's palms. At that moment, the memories of the world begin to be read. It's as if the space around the man begins to change. A limitless storehouse of recorded skills is formed. After all this, a fiery flame is formed in the man's hands, which he calls Hellfire. The man presents his blade in front of him and orders it to burst into flames with black tears. The red dragon taunts the lad for believing in the power of skill, for he himself cannot be defeated by it. The man waves his blade in front of his face and says that it is impossible here, so he will create it himself. The man grasps his blade tightly and again speaks aloud about hellfire and black tears. The man is going to combine these 2 skills of his to combine them. He contacts one palm with the other. When the 2 skills are combined, the skill becomes a whole rank higher, and not even a dragon can overpower it. With this, the man manages to detect and obtain the breath of Etherio, Dragon of the Void. The deacon's eyes express shock, because this is the strongest breath that the ancient Etherian himself used. This man manages to obtain this skill of the ancient dragon Eterian himself. The dragon asks who he is. The man introduces himself as Kangjin Hek. The guy stands in front of the dragon, controlling the dragon's breath of the void. This is far from the first time the guy destroys the dragon. Through trial and error, one gets smarter. The guy plays a game he calls Flop, an uninteresting game with terrible controls. These games are very unbalanced, so the guy stares unhappily at his screen. Also, Flop is called an absurd difficulty level. The virtual reality game Tower of Trials fits here. After the launch of this game, Koreans with their hobby took to the game to replay it, giving up food and sleep for a year. But when about 3 years passed, people fully realized that Tower of Trials was impossible to pass. In this virtual reality game, there was also a gate guardian who deserved to be called invincible. There is also a polar region with a temperature of -60 degrees where you die in just an hour. In Tower of Trials, there is a very long maze, which is more than 10,000 kilometers. This virtual reality game has become not entertainment, but a real torture. The guy freaks out and throws his headphones on the floor. After all these unbearable and difficult trials, the game Tower of Trials went bankrupt. To be more precise, it almost went bankrupt. After all, some old-timers challenged this absurd difficulty. The man struggles with gravity to catch his breath. Many drops of sweat from fatigue are protruding on his face. The guy is tired and sweaty from gripping the 50th floor. He is the first to clear the Tower of Trials. Guy grasps his wounded arm and holds his blade. He can't believe this is all happening for real. Unlike the others, the guy has gone through the game time and time again and has learned everything by heart and is confident that he can reach his goal. Kang Jin-hyuk had spent 11 years on this. He didn't expect to make it, and he didn't even turn on the live broadcast. The guy opens his holographic panel and thinks about putting all his efforts on YouTube. Unexpectedly, Kang Jin-hyuk gets an email notifying him to reboot the game in 12 hours. This is very surprising news to the guy, and he scoffs as if the company has found an oil field in the desert. Parquet leans against the remains of the wall and does not understand because the game does not make much profit. Apparently, the company is up to something. The broadcast, which is his earnings, will be the last time the guy will play the game, but even with the update, guys will not play it again. Kang Jin-hyuk has no family. He's 27 years old. He can't live on 500,000 won a month forever. He won't be playing sports for the time being either. Kang Jin-hyuk carefully pulls back the curtain on his window to look out and look at the street. The guy thinks he was once told to tag along as a professional fighter, but now money is more precious than sports. Deep night is falling outside, with lights still on in a few windows in the apartment building. Kang Jin-hyuk sets himself a table with various snacks and drinks and watches the chat on the broadcast. Suddenly, Kang Jin-hyuk tenses up and makes an emotionless facial expression at the camera. The guy calls his viewers hyungs and calmly addresses them, about to announce something important. The guy reads different assumptions from the viewers in the chat room about what he is going to tell them. Kang Jin-hyuk abruptly snaps out of it and starts laughing at the top of his voice because he just caught up with the atmosphere. The guy takes a sip of his drink and thinks that he needs to officially announce that he's leaving tomorrow. Several green empty drink bottles stand on Kang Jin-hyuk's desk. Guy lies in his bed and sighs heavily from feeling bad, trying to get out of bed. Guy is holding onto his stomach and head, but now he needs to quickly post a video about passing the Tower of Trials. Guy walks over to his computer in poor health and presses the power button. Suddenly, the expression on Kang Jin-hyuk's face expresses wariness and genuine surprise. The guy notices the live feed on the screen, in which it can be seen that the test tower has indeed appeared. A small drop of sweat drips down the guy's face, and he asks himself if the Tower of Trials has appeared. Kang Jin-hyuk presses the enter button and enters the live broadcast, where he notices that the test tower is real. The guy on the broadcast says he learned about it from melon-flavored watermelon hyung. It's from a test tower launched 11 years ago. The broadcast guy asks people if they can believe it. There's something going on in the test tower. Kang Jin-hyuk can't believe what's happening when he sees that this only happens when you first start the test tower. Kang Jin-hyuk notices a notification in front of him that the first stage of upgrading the new version of the Tower of Trials has been completed. A notification appears in front of the players that they must advance to the next floor in 90 days. All players there receive such a notification in front of them on their dashboard. Following the notification of advancing to the next floor in 90 days, a failure notification appears. When Kang Jin-hyuk sees all the notifications in front of him, his computer desk falls to the floor. Kang Jin-hyuk looks at his monitors in shock and can't believe what's just happening. The guy excitedly looks at the notification that says that if he fails, all of humanity will be destroyed. In the Tower of Trials, they write that people's level of adaptability and acceptance of reality is increasing. Kang Jin-hyuk watches all of this excitedly and realizes that he needs to stay calm. He throws his jacket over himself and thinks that if the Tower of Trials is indeed real, now is not the time to hesitate. Guy storms out of his room because he needs to hurry to the place where he can get that item. The guy runs up the stairs, holding onto the banister. The world will probably be destroyed, but there's nothing he can do about it. Kang Jin-hyuk leaps over the railing and his heart feels like it's about to jump out of his chest. A large crowd of people are gathered in the central city, all talking and discussing amongst themselves. One of the people is looking at his phone and wondering what time and what is the fastest way to get to Busan. Two guys are discussing that they can't stay in Korea, so the only way to survive is to go abroad. The girl remarks that the tower has appeared overseas as well. There is no point in going there. People realize that they can't stay in Seoul, so they can't die. Kang Jin-hyuk runs past them. Kang Jin-hyuk stands in front of the escalator and looks down. Now is not the time for him to run, but the time to go forward. He remembers that the Korea server had chosen this place as one of the areas outside the tower. This place is the closest of all 40. Kang Jin-hyuk descends into the central underground room where a beautiful fountain is gurgling. Kang Jin-hyuk enters the event area where there are several other players besides him. Kang Jin-hyuk looks around the area and the people in it carefully and without further ado. The people here are all players who played the very first part of the Tower of Trials. Kang Jin-hyuk walks past the people who are just observing each other because there is nothing else to do. Soon there are about 5 limited edition items here. Suddenly, some man calls out to Kang Jin-hyuk. The man recognizes Kang Jin-hyuk as the player who has been playing with toys all day and night, hiding in the corner of the room. The man is BJ's partner of Paprika TV and has 500,000 subscribers on YouTube. Successful celebrity Lee Jong-soo. Also, Lee Jong-soo is a spokesperson for a company that Kang Jin-hyuk was also in. He thinks it's time for a live broadcast. Lee Jong-soo tells the guy to look at something by pointing his thumb at something behind him. Lee Jong-soo doesn't understand why Kang Jin-hyuk is hiding the floor level he went up to from him, since they're co-workers. Kang Jin-hyuk doesn't say anything back to Lee Jong-soo and is alarmed when he calls them co-workers. In the company Lee Jong-soo created, many players were cheated because of the unfair contract. The further it goes, the worse it gets. And all the protesting voices of these guys have been mercilessly drowned out by the force of a huge lawlessness. One of the players of this company covers the camera with his hand. Kang Jin-hyuk's co-workers that he was close to have left the company. Lee Jong-soo takes hold of the guy's shoulder and tells him that he's not a bad player and makes very appetizing mukbang. Especially for him, Lee Jong-soo is willing to change his contract terms to be more favorable to him. Kang Jin-hyuk is already starting to get angry and calls Lee Jong-soo out on the fact that this world has already changed. Kang Jin-hyuk punches the man in the face with his fist and says that you shouldn't throw around empty words. The man in Lee Jong-soo's suit grabs his mouth and covers it with his hands because Kang Jin-hyuk knocked his teeth out. Lee Jong-soo sits on his knees in front of Kang Jin-hyuk, who looks at him squeamishly, but relieved. Kang Jin-hyuk turns around and realizes that gradually, he should start showing up now. Throughout the space next to the fountain, many bubbles begin to rise into the air. All the water that is in the area begins to bubble heavily and rise into the air. Throughout the event area in the Tower of Trials, some sort of transformation begins to take place. Water starts pouring all over the area in rivulets and strong streams, hitting everything around it. The huge tree standing in the event area also succumbs to the powerful streams of water. The players here notice the mangrove tree in front of them and marvel at what is happening. Kang Jin-hyun realizes that everything is happening just like in the Tower of Trials. There's nothing wrong with his memory. The mangrove tree of greed continues to grow in full swing, and its fruits appear on the tree. These appetizing fruits have an effect that raises dexterity, strength, and mana stats. Kang Jin-hyuk knows that this is undoubtedly a good item, but there are only 4 fruits on the mangrove tree. The players start looking around amongst themselves, about to start a battle over the fruit of the mangrove tree. All the players pounce on the mangrove tree and push, throwing themselves at each other for one of the fruits. It looks violent. Lulis are pushing each other, pulling the hair of men and women trying to get to the item first. One of the men's bloody jacket falls to the ground, making the man angry and knocked out. Lee Jong-soo suggests that Kang Jin-hyuk join forces and split the fruit in half. It would be a win-win for both of them. Lee Jong-soo aggressively says that Kang Jin-hyuk is already too late and missed out on one of the fruits. Kang Jin-hyuk points out to Lee Jong-soo to sit quietly if he doesn't know anything. Kang Jin-hyuk observes what's going on and realizes that this isn't the time to pry for the fruit yet. The multitude of players continue their attempts to get through the others and get to the fruit of the tree. One of the players manages to grab the fruit of the mangrove tree to get it for himself. The man grabs the mangrove fruit and wordlessly brings it to his mouth and bites it. One of the players, the man in the suit, manages to grab the fruit and gain +3 units to dexterity. The normal people from the players don't even know this mangrove tree with the fruit exists. People who have played Tower of Trials several times will focus their attention on eating the fruit. Kang Jin-hyuk continues to watch the rowdy people and ponders a plan of action. Kang Jin-hyuk smirks and knows that the old men will enjoy a more violent spectacle. One of the mangrove tree roots bursts out and is about to attack the people standing nearby. Several more tree roots burst outward in such a way that they even break the stone floor beneath them. One of the players claims that if you eat all the fruits of the mangrove tree, it becomes very dangerous. The players are about to escape as they have passed this point a long time ago and have died here at least 50 times. Kang Jin-hyuk is standing in the middle of the event area between the other escaping players. The same Lee Jong-soo also turns around and is about to escape from here with the other players. Kang Jin-hyuk notices Lee Jong-soo leaving and asks if he's really going to give up too. Lee Jong-soo confidently agrees, because the only thing to do in this place is to die. Kang Jin-hyuk tells him that the real reward will only come when all the fruit is eaten. Lee Jong-soo listens attentively to the guy and doesn't believe what he's saying, questioning him further. Kang Jin-hai replies confidently that if he wasn't telling the truth, then why would he stay here? Lee Jong-soo thinks about how he didn't understand why the guy didn't show any interest in the fruit. Now he realized what the issue was. Kang Jin-hyuk smiles contentedly and thinks that he doesn't know about the other, but now he can smell the sweet smells. Lee Jong-soo admits that Kang Jin-hyuk's words are true. He asks what the guy is going to do. Kang Jin-hyuk answers the man in the suit and states that he needs to get inside first. He explains that if they move next to each other, they will become an easy target. They need to approach from both sides. Lee Jong-soo doesn't run away anymore and asks if Kang Jin-hyuk is suggesting that they spread out. Kang Jin-hyuk warns that if even one of them starts to waver, it's all over. Lee Jong-soo isn't about to be set up. Kang Jin-hyuk is already standing in full readiness to snap and sneak in next. Kang Jin-hyuk chooses the right moment and snaps out of his seat, heading towards the designated spot. The man dressed as Lee Jong-soo immediately does the same and follows the guy. The huge mangrove tree begins to rage and make threatening sounds. The huge mangrove tree gives free rein to its long and powerful roots, which get out. One of the roots of the mangrove tree makes a swing and attacks Kang Jin-hyuk, who dodges the blow. Kang Jin-hyuk, in the moment, thinks about the man in the suit, Lee Jong-soo, who followed him. Lee Jong-soo stands back and says that Kang Jin-hye is crazy for thinking that someone would listen to him. Lee Jong-soo smirks, and it's noticeable that he has a few teeth knocked out. He wants Kang Jin-hai to be the bait. Kang Jin-hyuk continues to dodge the punches from the mangrove tree and is relieved. Kang Jin-hyuk smirks and thinks about the fact that Lee Jong-soo's character hasn't changed at all, and it's to his advantage. The sharp and sharpened ends of the roots break free and are about to attack the guy. Kang Jin-hyuk dodges the blow again, but the root ends still cut off a piece of fabric on his sweatshirt. Kang Jin-hyuk dodges and thinks that the one who will be the bait is Lee Jong-soo, who is standing to the side. The sharp and long roots of the mangrove tree head straight towards Lee Jong-soo's face. The long and powerful roots grab the man in the suit and encompass his body while restraining him. Lee Jong-soo tries to break free from the strong grip of the tree roots that are restraining him in their trap. As the mangrove tree restrains Lee Jong-soo, Kang Jin-hyuk rushes forward towards his goal. The tree begins to encompass Lee Jong-soo's face as well, restraining and squeezing him harder. The man begs to be saved. Kang Jin-hyuk smirks in response to Lee Jong-soo's plea for help and asks why he would want to save him. Kang Jin-hyuk says that Lee Jong-soo can claim him through that great lawyer. Lee Jong-soo is swallowed up by the mangrove tree trap. The man starts crying, as he doesn't want to die like that. The long and powerful roots of the mangrove tree swallow Lee Jong-soo into itself, trapping him. Kang Jin-hyuk confidently continues moving towards his goal, mentally saying goodbye to trash Lee Jong-soo. Kang Jin-hyuk continues to move towards the mango tree and knows his next course of action. The powerful and sharp roots of the mangrove tree are advancing again and are about to attack Kang Jin-hyuk. The guy looks around and knows that the roots are now advancing 22 degrees to the left. Then the roots of the mangrove tree advances again, and the guy picks up that it is now on the right 35 degrees. Kang Jin-hyuk continues his dodging of the mangrove tree's blows, knowing that it's not that hard. The huge and long roots of the mangrove tree collide with each other in flight. After colliding with each other, the roots of the mangrove tree fly straight to its trunk and stick into it. The huge mangrove tree strikes again, but no longer at Kang Jin-hyuk, but at its own trunk. A hole appears inside the thick trunk of the mangrove tree, through which you can see its heart. Kang Jin-hyuk notices that the very core he needs appears in the trunk of the mangrove tree. The guy realizes that there is no error here from what he went through in the game. Knowing the exact trajectory makes it hard to let himself be attacked. There are many broken-off tree branches lying on the floor in the event area of the challenge tower. Kang Jin-hyuk grabs the first broken-off piece of mangrove tree root with his hands. Kang Jin-hyuk suggests to the mangrove tree to not tire of each other and part with the tree heart. The guy knows that the mangrove tree is an event mob, so he won't give experience, but he raises the honor level for 24 hours. The mangrove tree is clearly not happy with this offer, so it starts waving its roots around aggressively. Kang Jin-hyuk stands in front of the mangrove tree that uses the blood-sucking vine skill. Kang Jin-hyuk realizes that even though he is an old man, even he will have a hard time dodging it. Kang Jin-hyuk continues to confidently move towards his goal and assess the situation. Kang Jin-hyuk twists the broken-off piece of wood in his hands and is about to use it. When the mangrove tree attacks the guy with its skill, the guy defends himself with the broken-off piece of wood. When one of the tree's long roots attacks the guy, he takes the broken-off piece of branch and sticks it into the tree root. When the broken-off piece and the mangrove tree root collide, there is a blinding explosion. Kang Jin-hyuk continues to stay between the roots of the mangrove tree and defends himself with the broken-off piece of branch. The guy realizes that it is in his power to tweak the trajectory and change it as much as his soul desires. The long and sharp roots of the mangrove tree combine into one solid and powerful piece of wood. Kang Jin-hyuk realizes that there is no need to be frightened and worried, so he continues to confidently defend himself with the piece of branch. Kang Jin-hyuk swings his handy weapon every now and then and fends off the mangrove tree's attacks. The huge mangrove tree swings its roots every now and then and breaks through the stone floor. Kang Jin-hyuk gracefully glides across the surface every now and then, dodging the mangrove tree's attacks. Of all the wounds inflicted, the guy only has a scratch on his cheek. He's been through this many times before. Kang Jin-hyuk tries time and time again to get through the attacking roots of the mangrove tree. Kang Jin-hyuk has already broken a sweat, but he continues to push forward because he's almost there. Suddenly, the space around the mangrove tree begins to exude a turquoise color. Many magical butterflies fly out of the mangrove tree, oozing turquoise light. Kang Jin-hyuk raises his gaze to the flying insects and realizes that they are the same soporific butterflies. Kang Jin-hyuk covers his airways with the sleeve of his sweatshirt without further thought. These butterflies release soporific pollen as a defense. It is inhaled instantly, so you need to know ways to protect yourself from it. Fortunately, Kang Jin-hyuk knows the best and most necessary way to protect himself from the butterfly's soporific effect. Kang Jin-hyuk rushes upwards and knows that if he simply holds his breath, the soporific butterflies will not affect him. The tree heart is quite close and is surrounded by many soporific butterflies on its way to him. Kang Jin-hyuk swings a splinter of tree root and sharply stabs it into the tree heart. From the blow to the tree heart, the entire space around it is illuminated by a bright flash of light. Kang Jin-hyuk's eyes begin to light up furiously as he swings his hand at the mangrove tree. The guy hits the tree's heart with all his might with his palm. The mangrove tree tries to push and kick the guy away from its trunk, where the woody heart is located. The guy's eyes continue to burn fiercely, and he's sure he's not going to back down from his goal. The mangrove tree tries to fiercely resist and fend off Kang Jin-hyuk's blows. A notification appears in the Tower of Trials system that Kang Jin-hyuk was the first to defeat the mangrove tree of greed. The trunk of the mangrove greed tree splits in half and emits a bright light. Kang Jin-hyuk calmly exhales and smugly observes the mangrove tree. The guy didn't expect that all his knowledge from the repetitions of passing would be useful to him here. He's grateful for what he's done before. The system requires the guy to give his name in order to record his achievement for a day. Kang Jin-hyuk watches the panel carefully and has no intention of putting his name in to remain anonymous. He is against the dissemination of his personal information. He will cause undue interest if it is revealed that he was an old man. His face will be obscured by a mosaic, and his voice reconstructed. The system doesn't give complete anonymity, but what matters to him now is heart. Kang Jin-hyuk slips his hand into a crevice in the trunk of the mangrove tree of greed. When Kang Jin-hyuk manages to fumble for something, he smiles contentedly and tries to get it out. The guy player ends up with a small green ball in his hand, which he pulls out of the trunk of the mangrove tree. Kang Jin-hyuk gets the core of the tree heart tree, which finally appears in his hands. Each mangrove tree fruit raises strength, dexterity, and mana, stats by 3 units or points. In comparison, the tree heart core gives at least 12 bonus stats. With the core, the guy will go up 4 levels. He can't believe his eyes that such an item exists. It's even further, and he can't find anything better. Kang Jin-hyuk, without further thought, he pops the green ball into his mouth to devour. When the guy manages to swallow and absorb the green ball, he feels a change in himself. Bright and light energy begins to ooze out of Kang Jin-hyuk's chest, forming a dense ball that replenishes his stats. After absorbing the tree heart core, the guy thinks about something and looks in front of him. Kang Jin-hyuk opens his panel and is about to check how well that core was absorbed. Kang Jin-hyuk examines his characterization and sees that he has the strongest first level and 12 stats available. 10 minutes later, the video of the first victory over Mangrove Tree was posted. There is an explosion in the comments. All people were convinced that this video was a complete absurdity. It was all about luck, or a simple method of destruction was used. But after uploading the video, all doubts disappeared at once. Someone was delighted, and someone was not. Everyone reacted in the same way. Moreover, among the people there were some who offered the guy very lucrative contracts, just so long as he contacted them. To defeat the mangrove tree of greed, being on the first level, is not easy at all, although it is not so surprising. The guy realizes that you can't judge by experience because people haven't even reached the second part of the tower before. Kang Jin-hyuk reads the comments of people offering him 1 billion and thinks about it. The guy was late on rent all the time because he lived a hard life, barely scraping by with his broadcasts. There were even times when saving money for food for the mukbang would leave him starving for days at a time. If the guy had been offered that kind of money a day ago when he was broadcasting, he would have accepted the offer without a second thought. But now, Kang Jin-hyuk is not going to share any information even for the offered 1 billion. The most important thing right now for Kang Jin-hyuk is to monopolize the information he has. Kang Jin-hyuk takes out his phone and writes something in it. He is pondering the next place he will go to. While the front was busy playing the Tower of Trials game, the mana flowing out from there filled all areas of Seoul. If anything could undergo changes, it was the relics outside the tower, which then became sacred. Not for real, of course. The sacred relics are in the tower, and these are just replicas or duplicates. Kang Jin-hyuk looks at his phone and finds the place where he can get the most replicas. The guy goes to the People's Central Museum, which houses many relics, a treasure trove of sorts. Guy realizes that he's not the only one targeting the museum, which is so unique here. There are a lot of people who will come here. Among the players who come here, it's likely that the same old guys like Kang Jin-hyuk himself will definitely be among the players. The guy grabs the door handle of the People's Central Museum, after which he enters the event area. Kang Jin-hyuk carefully opens the doors to the museum, examining the surroundings. He thinks that no one has come in yet. After a brief moment of thought, Kang Jin-hyuk guy abruptly and unexpectedly notices something in front of him that stresses him out. Kang Jin-hyuk notices a lifeless person in front of him, which means someone managed to come here first. Kang Jin-hyuk sees a picture of a charred guy sitting in front of him who was destroyed a short time ago. The guy realizes that the world has changed, and with it, the people. But the difference between expectation and reality is the fearlessness of the people. People have set their sights on sacred relics stored in the halls of the Middle Ages and New Ages. The relic that every person who invades here wants to get their hands on is the map of Tedoenjido. The map details where to find the labyrinth with the ruins, what items and monsters are there. Everyone makes to possess something like this. True, this map doesn't have information above the 10th floor, but it's enough to light a fire in people's eyes. Kang Jin-hyuk knows that people don't realize that the real valuable sacred treasures are hidden in the clay. All the people who invaded here for the map are fighting amongst themselves and trying to achieve their goal. Some man also appears among the players and shouts loudly for everyone to be quiet immediately. The players who are here turn around at this unknown guy's shout and don't understand his message. A tall and pumped-up guy with a tattoo on his neck says that whoever moves will refuse to die here. One of the players here is holding a metal pipe in his hands and thinks the man is talking nonsense. Another man with a hammer in his hands smirks and says that no one here will be afraid of such words. The guy with the hammer threatens the guy with the tattoo that if he moves a finger himself, he will hit him. A man with a tattoo on his neck becomes aggressive and sees that people don't understand words at all. The man with tattoos tears his clothes off with his stone fists, which appeared from rage. The other players notice that this tattooed guy already has his own personal ability. The aggressive man with the stone fists demands everyone to stand back because the Tedoenjido card will be his. The aggressive tattooed guy violently exhales air and someone calls out to him from behind. An old man appears on the horizon who is not about to agree with the tattooed guy's words. The aggressive tattooed guy turns his attention to the old man and thinks he's lost his mind. The old man says he is Min Jong-woo and his meaning is, let's live in love and friendship. The tattooed guy threatens the old man that he might snap his neck, since no one here wants his notions. The calm old man looks at the furious guy and tells him that he is rough on his word and his tongue is like a blade. The old man deftly makes a circular motion with one finger, making the air around him sparkle. The old man asks the tattooed guy if he would really be quicker to wring his neck than to turn into a coal. In his index finger, the old man manages to create a small ball in the shape of a flame of fire. The tattooed guy looks at the old man warily and realizes that he is using magic. The old man calmly and deftly directs his fireball of flame at the tattooed guy. The last thing the tattooed guy sees in front of him are tongues of bright flame from that old man. The fiery flames engulf the tattooed guy in an instant, setting his body on fire. All that is left of the man is a charred body that continues to stand from his last breaths on his feet. All that remains of the tattooed man is charcoal and ash from his burned body. The old man turns around and is about to leave, saying, "This is a disaster and fire brought on by his tongue." This old man is cooperated with by a girl, Lady Lee Yuri, who is pleased about it. He asks if she has obtained the objects. The girl affirms and assures the old man not to worry about it and to rely on her. The girl takes up a statue of some Egyptian deity because it will be enough to help. From controlling the statue, a purple aura appears around the girl. It will deal with anyone who decides to interfere with them. Shadows and images of Egyptian dogs begin to fly out of the Egyptian statuette, exuding dark energy. The Egyptian statuette has a thick and golden necklace around her neck that shines brightly in the light. In place of the Egyptian statuette, the real incarnation of the Egyptian statuette appears, standing firmly on its feet. The reanimated statuette is holding her long weapon, and the girl says that whoever moves from his seat will become the enemy of this deity. The girl begins to smile sweetly as she turns to the other players, offering them her cooperation. The other players are not happy about this outcome, noticing that there are a lot of old men and awakened ones lately. All the players drop their weapons and say that they are giving up everything to let the girl and the old man take whatever they want. Lady Lee Yuri folds her hands contentedly and smiles, thanking the players for their cooperation. After all this, Lady Lee Yuri notices someone in front of her making a wary look. Someone's shoes crush the shards of glass under their feet loudly and confidently. Kang Jin Hek walks forward and walks past the other players gathered here. Kang Jin Hek walks with his head down, looking around. He says that the place is a mess. Kang Jin Hek is outraged that these people don't even have the basic etiquette of handling antiques. Kang Jin Hyuk picks up the card he wants and tries to shake it off. Thankfully, nothing is torn. Suddenly, Kang Jin Hyuk is called out by someone saying that he's the person who broke the atmosphere of fear. The girl Lee Yuri starts to grudgingly scowl and says that she's not messing around here at all. A huge and animated statue of an Egyptian deity takes a step and breaks the stone floor beneath it. Lady Lee Yuri orders the animated deity to get rid of a guy named Kang Jin Hek. The huge and animated statue of the Egyptian deity swings its long spear with a blade on the end. The long spear blade, with all its might, is heading towards Kang Jin Hek, who is standing motionless. Kang Jin Hyuk stands confidently and doesn't show any emotion. He simply raises his hand up to ward off the blow. With one light swing of his hand, Kang Jin Hek manages to deftly fend off the tip of the long spear. Kang Jin Hyuk effortlessly wrestles the animated statue away from her long weapon, which flies off to the side. Lady Lee Yuri watches their confrontation and marvels at the way the guy fends off the spear blade. Kang Jin Hek knocks back the statuette's spear blade, leaving a furrow in the stone floor afterward. The other players are shocked. Other people are shocked that the guy didn't even dodge and his hands are perfectly fine. This defies common sense. Kang Jin Hek watches the enthusiastic discussions and thinks that people don't know about his stat count yet. Kang Jin Hek looks at the girl and her animated statue, asking about how she's going to act. The girl starts anxiously rummaging through her backpack and stutters as she answers the guy's question. Lady Lee Yuri pulls out some more of the same statuettes from her backpack and tells Kang Jin Hyuk about it. The girl does the same manipulation, causing the figurines to become enveloped in purple energy. Kang Jin Hek watches as the girl manages to awaken the sacred relic, incarnation, replica, of Anubis. Lady Lee Yuri brings her figurines to life and brags about it to the guy, asking for his opinion. Several rebellious Anubis surround the girl, who won't tolerate Kang Jin Hek laughing again. Kang Jin Hek begrudgingly admires the girl's ability to support 5 Anubis at once, meaning she's not of an ordinary level. Kang Jin Hek continues to watch and also remembers about the same grandfather who used magic recently. The old man used his fire magic. There are so many old men who got out of the nub images. The girl Lee Yuri is not happy with this assessment of her skills from boyfriend Kang Jin Hek. Kang Jin Hek continues to mockingly reply that her skill is somewhere between not bad and it'll do. Lee Yuri's girlfriend notices Kang Jin Hek's behavior and realizes that the guy is cocky for allowing himself to bluff. Kang Jin Hyuk pulls something out of his inside pocket and is about to show it to the girl. The guy pulls out the very same card. It's impossible to feel something if the difference in skills is great. The guy flips the card, just enough for the girl to show everything so she can see with her own eyes this overwhelming difference. Kang Jin Hek directs his energy into the card on which silhouettes of tigers are drawn. Kang Jin Hek begins to input mana with the Pine Tiger Replica Sacred Relic. Right from the Sacred Relic, a ruler of the mountain, a huge tiger, appears thanks to Kang Jin Hek's mana. The girl Lee Yuri observes Kang Jin Hyuk's actions and thinks his skills and abilities are absurd. The huge, golden tiger steps on the stone floor of the sacred relic and crushes it with its weight. This huge tiger with burning eyes is from the Joseon era. His identity, nameless. He lashes out. One of the Anubis that came to life from the statuette starts chowing down on the aggressive and fierce tiger. Kang Jin-hek strokes behind the tiger's ear and says that some jackal dares to show its teeth to the ruler of the mountain. Kang Jin-hek shows the sacred tiger to act with one slight downward motion of his hand. Kang Jin-hek points to the targets ahead and orders the tiger to attack them. The huge, golden ruler of the mountain furiously rocks its teeth and opens its maw, about to attack. The Anubis statues that have come to life are also about to attack the sacred tiger in response. The sacred golden tiger releases its claws on its paws and takes a powerful swing at its opponents. With one light and powerful paw movement, the golden relic tiger manages to strip Anubis of his head. 3 more reanimated Anubis react aggressively to the tiger's behavior and are about to attack him as well. The huge and golden tiger starts chewing its prey, making drool fly from its mouth in all directions. The fierce ruler of the mountain attacks another Anubis and sinks his fangs into its body. The golden tiger tears the reanimated Anubis to shreds, attacking them with its fangs and claws. The eyes of the golden tiger from the sacred relic burn so brightly that they dazzle with their light. The girl Lee Yuri watches the confrontation between the relics and can't believe it all. The girl has heard of different ways to use sacred relics, but she has never heard of anything like this. The girl looks up at the tiger from below and realizes that this mana makes her feel like her skin is being ripped off. The silhouette of the golden tiger's muzzle hovers in the air. Lee Yuri looks at it in fear and realizes that she can't win. A drop of sweat drips down on the girl's face. Lee Yuri anxiously and exhaustedly falls to her knees on the stone floor. Tears begin to appear in the girl's eyes. She thought she had chosen the strongest card. The Lee Yuri girl is disappointed that she made the wrong choice. She is alarmed at who the guy is. Kang Jin-hek walks over to the girl who is sitting on the floor on her knees and looks at him anxiously. Kang Jin-hek approaches her with a confident face and a smirk, demanding her to give him something. The girl grabs the collar of her jacket and anxiously asks what he means. Kang Jin-hyuk gets down on one knee to the girl and demands Tutankhamun's mask from her. The girl gets aggressive and says that it's useless in Korea and where he's going to use it. Kang Jin-hyuk doesn't respond to the girl's words in any way, but simply makes a finger gesture that signifies for her to give him the mask. The golden tiger from the sacred relic, with its burning eyes, appears next to the girl, scaring her, so she gives it all away. Lady Lee Yuri's empty backpack remains lying on the stone floor among the glass shards. The girl pulls out the very sacred relic, Tutankhamun's mask, replica, from there. Kang Jin-hyuk quite grasps the item he received and lifts it up. He finally receives the second sacred relic already. Lee Yuri's girlfriend looks at the satisfied guy and asks if he's aiming for the Tido and Jido card. Kang Jin-hek had already forgotten about that map, but the girl reminds him, even though the guy says it's none of her business. Kang Jin-hek gently and carefully places his palm on the golden tiger's fur and asks him to oversee everything here. Kang Jin-hek orders the golden tiger to make sure that no one follows the guy. A black and red energy emanates from the golden tiger from the sacred relic, causing all the players to be on edge. The huge ruler of the mountain from the relic adopts a fighting pose and bares its fangs in front of everyone. Kang Jin-hek looks back contentedly and realizes that all preparations have been completed. Kang Jin-hek directs his gaze forward and towards the stairs, thinking that it's about time for him to go. Kang Jin-hek is about to obtain the strongest skill in the entire Tower of Trials. Many different relics are under glass in the event area of the People's Central Museum. This is where the same old man with magic appears, who doesn't understand how things got this way because of Lady Lee Yuri. The old man appears next to Kang Jin-hyuk, who looks at him and sighs thoughtfully. Kang Jin-hek wonders how the old man snuck in here and if he defeated Lady Lee Yuri. Kang Jin-hek, along with the old man, stand in front of some sort of magical barrier that blocks the way. Kang Jin-hek expresses his thoughts out loud that it's a level 1 barrier. The old man realizes that the guy knows about it too. The old man cautiously holds out his palm and says that this is the first time he's ever seen such a barrier. The old man half slides his palm into the barrier and says that whether it's a physical or magical attack, it's all useless. Kang Jin-hyuk follows the old man and also puts his hand halfway into the magic barrier. The guy is enveloped by dark energy and covers his eyes. This is the place where the flow of magic diverges. While penetrating the barrier, Kang Jin-hek notices the word Karpo in front of his eyes. Kang Jin-hek turns to the old man and says that he knows how to break this barrier, but he has a condition. The old man stares back at the guy emotionlessly and doesn't understand what condition he's talking about now. Kang Jin-hyuk says that if the old man uses the flames to affect the barrier non-stop, they'll have a chance to weaken the shield. The old man asks how long it would take to do that. Kang Jin-hyuk says until he returns with the relics. The old man thoughtfully clarifies that while the guy will be inside, he should stand outside and affect the shield with his magic. Kang Jin-hyuk says that he himself doesn't have the ability to hold magic. There's only one way here. He'll share the map since he needs something else. The old man listens to the guy and realizes that there's no benefit to him here. So much effort, and the outcome is worse than imaginable. The old man pretends he's fine with it, but asks Kang Jin-hyuk if he's sure he'll give him the card. Kang Jin-hyuk smiles and agrees, because he doesn't want to become the enemy of a user with high-level magic. The old man thinks it over, but realizes that there is only one way out, and he has to trust Kang Jin-hyuk. The old man listens to the young guy carefully and states that he trusts him. Kang Jin-hyuk points at the barrier with his hand and asks the old man to take care of it. The old man is about to exert all his strength and starts to accumulate magical fire flames in his hands. The old man's eyes light up furiously, and he makes a powerful swing with his hand with the fire flame. The old man accumulates a great deal of magic in his hands and directs the fire flame straight into the barrier. As the old man starts to hold his flame on the barrier, the defense mechanism weakens and the wall starts to crack. Kang Jin-hyuk waits for the right moment and is about to act as soon as the shield cracks. Kang Jin-hyuk breaks through the cracked barrier of the first level and finds himself outside the barrier. Kang Jin-hyuk has accelerated and is now trying to slow down. Several tongues of flame encompass his jacket. The old man demands the young lad to hurry up because he is already starting to sweat and won't be able to hold the flames for long. Kang Jin-hyuk smiles slightly at the old man and assures him that he will do what is necessary. Kang Jin-hyuk is really not going to indulge the old man and will do everything as he wishes. In the People's Central Museum, there are many different relics behind a barrier, such as a map. Behind another glass rack is another relic in the form of a seal kimono. Also, besides the other relics, there is also some kind of gold ingot that holds something valuable. Kang Jin-hyuk looks around and realizes that unlike the lower floors, there is nothing to indicate that anyone has been here. In front of the guy's face is a glass rack with an iron sword engraved by Chen Lun, which has already been broken and the relic is missing. Kang Jin-hyuk realizes that the person who was here has done what he wanted and has already left. He is also the one who put up the barrier. Kang Jin-hyuk realizes that the person doesn't care about the battles. He just got what he wanted and left this place. Kang Jin-hyuk picks something up and begins to examine it. The person who had been here didn't know something. The item that person received was only a second-grade relic. Kang Jin-hyuk found something he wanted. Behind the glass rack, the Lee Dynasty gold coins appear in front of the guy. A personalized ability just for him. These coins are the last piece of the very mosaic to create the strongest skill in the Tower of Trials. Kang Jin-hyuk scrutinizes the items in front of him, going to gather all the necessary ingredients. There's a ceremonial Persian pouring mold and the right eye of Tutankhamun's mask. Kang Jin-hyuk is going to combine these two relics to create something more powerful and stronger. These two relics react with each other. Such a message appears when two matching relics meet. Kang Jin-hyuk contentedly watches the fusion of the two matching relics while immersed in his thoughts. In order to advance further, one must pay their price. Kang Jin-hyuk breaks the rope on the coins of the Lee Dynasty. Kang Jin-hyuk is about to add the gold coins of the Lee Dynasty to the other two relics. Kang Jin-hyuk covers up from the aftermath of the reaction between the three holy relics. Kang Jin-hyuk overcomes the disgusting percentage and succeeds greatly in uniting. Through the unification of the three holy relics, Kang Jin-hyuk obtains the relic Eyes of Truth. They can be used to open a window of another person's state. They are the best eyes in existence, but that's not why he came here. By combining the three relics, a hidden quest is available for Kang Jin-hyuk that unlocks a strange destiny. Kang Jin-hyuk has the ability to copy and save abilities, creating powerful skills afterward. This is Kang Jin-hyuk's personal weapon, the Overrun, in order to become the strongest in the Tower of Trials. The memories of the world are formed. The guy gains the personal ability Unification, but certain details can be changed if the level rises dramatically. Kang Jin-hyuk is distracted from his thoughts by the same old man who keeps destroying the barrier with his flames. The old man is already covered in sweat and says that his strength is running out. If Kang Jin-hyuk is already finished, then he should hurry up. Kang Jin-hyuk looks around thoughtfully and thinks about what he should do now. Kang Jin-hyuk purposefully looks at the old man and thinks about what he needs to do to copy his abilities. The old man continues to hold his fire flame. In order to copy his ability, you have to make Min Jung-woo's true essence manifest. Kang Jin-hyuk sees that the old man is hiding his feelings behind a mask, but he already knows how to be. Kang Jin-hyuk reads the terms and realizes that all he has to do is just make this old man angry. Min Jung-woo holds his fire flame from the last of his strength and is already yelling at the young guy to be quick. Kang Jin-hyuk faces the old man and tells him that he may not use his skill anymore. The old man, Min Jung-woo, listens to the guy carefully as he continues to hold his flame. Kang Jin-hyuk assures the old man that there was really no special need to use his skill. The old man, Min Jung-woo, relaxes and asks the young guy why he told him to do that. Kang Jin-hyuk says "carpo," which is Latin for spell of destruction. It was getting through the easy way. The old man didn't contribute to it in any way. Kang Jin-hyuk thinks the old man really fell for it. In the end, the old man's mana was depleted very quickly. Kang Jin-hyuk looks at the picture and thinks that he overreacted, and now he needs to piss the old man off. Kang Jin-hyuk knows everything about the tower down to the smallest detail, so the map is completely useless to him now. The guy is holding a lighter and is not going to give this map to anyone even under these conditions. Old man Min Jung-woo is already getting nervous and asks the young guy in a shouting voice what he's going to do. Kang Jin-hyuk makes a smirking and angry face and says that he already told the old man about it earlier. Kang Jin-hyuk brings a lighter to the card and is about to light it on fire because he doesn't need it at all. With this map, anyone can find out information up to the 10th floor, and the guy's advantage will be gone. So he sets it on fire. The old man observes Kang Jin-hyuk's actions and starts yelling loudly and anxiously for the guy not to do it. In such a case, the surest way is to get rid of that possibility. The card burns with a bright and thick flame. The old man becomes very aggressive and violently insults the guy for burning the card he wants. Kang Jin-hyuk looks scornfully at the old man while the flames burn brightly behind him. He fulfills the needed condition. Kang Jin-hyuk stands proudly and notices that he succeeds in copying Min Jung-woo's fire element skill. The copied element is stored in the memories of the world. It allows him to control fire and increases his affinity with the fire element. Kang Jin-hyuk observes his panel and thinks that the fire element is not a bad stat for the first copying. Old man Min Jung-woo aggressively threatens Kang Jin-hyuk that he will regret what he did. Kang Jin-hyuk turns to the old man and sees that he doesn't understand what the guy is burning this card for now. Kang Jin-hyuk activates a level 1 fire element and is instantly enveloped in flames of fire. Old man Min Jung-woo holds the small flame in his palm and watches Kang Jin-hyuk shocked. Min Jung-woo realizes that it's definitely the same skill he has, but the power differs like heaven and earth. The old man realizes that the guy is far from a mere mortal since he has that level. He really doesn't need any card. The old man, Min Jung-woo, starts to squint contemptuously and turns to the young man, Kang Jin-hyuk again. Kang Jin-hyuk tells the old man that if he wants to continue to climb the tower in peace, he should obey the guy well. Kang Jin-hyuk, when he first entered the People's Central Museum, he immediately starts to assess the situation. He realizes that counting him, only 4 old men have appeared in the Tower of Trials. Now that the tower has become a reality, he understands the general desire to reduce risks. The boy stretches his whole body boredly. Wanting to get ahead of everyone else by doing such a thing is foolish. Kang Jin-hyuk's stats and abilities noticeably change in a big way. Be that as it may, as many personalized abilities and skills as possible should fall into his hands. Kang Jin-hyuk gives the old man all the instructions he needs and ends the conversation by saying that he will contact him in due time. Kang Jin-hyuk tells the old man that he will need to raise his level with that girl on the bottom floor. Kang Jin-hyuk remembers the old man and Lady Lee Yuri, realizing that he got that horse that he can do whatever he wants to do with for a long time. The guy's road turns out to be a very long one. The first thing he does is to collect the abilities he needs most in a book called Memories of the World. Kang Jin-hyuk leaves the event district, and on the way, he reflects on the fact that he only has one body, so he won't be able to monopolize absolutely every ironic fate. Kang Jin-hyuk sinks back into his thoughts and realizes that he has the ability to get absolutely everything. Kang Jin-hyuk looks very cocky. He can get his hands on all the coolest and most important things. Kang Jin-hyuk walks his way and grabs his stomach. This is his limit, and now it's time for rice and soup. When Kang Jin-hyuk walks into an establishment, he notices men sitting in front of him discussing something. The news broadcasts to the entire establishment that there has been an incident at the National Central Museum in which at least 23 people have been killed and 50 injured. The news is reporting that there are some seriously injured among the casualties, so the casualty count is rising. The instigators are likely targeting relics. News reports also say that such incidents have occurred not only in Korea, but also in the US, Europe, China, and Japan. Such incidents are happening all over the world, and the number of victims is impressive and growing. Kang Jin-hyuk watches the news and thinks about the fact that all of this is expected. Players all over the world have not been sitting idly by, making preparations to conquer the tower. The news anchor on TV offers all the viewers to watch the CCTV video shot inside the building. The video repeats all the events that took place. It is hard for everyone to believe it, but it is indeed reality. People don't believe that an ordinary person did it. They recognize this guy who appeared in the Tower of Trials community. People realize that the person who destroyed the mangrove tree and this guy on the video are the same person. Kang Jin-hyuk is stressed that many people recognize him and wants to hide his identity. News reports say that the government is already investigating the cause of the building of unknown origin, the Spanish Tower. A special department called Awakened Association has already been established. Kang Jin-hyuk realizes that the Awakening Association reacted faster than he thought. Kang Jin-hyuk thought it would take the department a few weeks to accept the incident at the museum as something inevitable and gather people with personal abilities, but they handled it faster. Kang Jin-hyuk continues to sit quietly in the establishment and watch the news, which offers to meet the participants and listen to the details. A man with a scar on his face appears on the TV screen. His name is Han Sang-jin. He is the head of the Awakened Association. Kang Jin-hyuk watches the man on the TV carefully and is about to listen to him further. The head says that the reason he is here is to recruit the awakened ones. It all depends on their level. The pay will be in line with a 7th grade civil servant. The head's salary is 60 million won. Kang Jin-hyuk listens attentively to the head's words that the people who appeared on the broadcast will be the exception. The head of the Awakened Association, Han Sang-jin, assures the viewers that he's willing to stake his head's name on it. Han Sang-jin says that if anyone joins them, whatever the person wants, all their needs will be funded by the government. The people around Kang Jin-hyuk discuss how lucky those people are to get into the associations. It will be a drastic turn in their lives. Kang Jin-hyuk realizes that the people who appeared on the broadcast are the exception, meaning that he was the target of the association. Kang Jin-hyuk realizes that he is considered a serious threat. No matter what price he is offered, he is not going to be owned by anyone. One experienced person has much more value than 100 similar players. Han Sang-jin realizes this too, trying to lure him to his side with his bank account. Since Han Sang-jin has been entrusted to be the head of the association, he must have a pretty good ability. The guy suspects that this is possible because of his long time playing Tower of Trials. It would be glorious if the head had a really good ability. Kang Jin-hyuk realizes that if the chapter has a good ability, then he will surely taste the taste of copying. Kang Jin-hyuk continues to be in this establishment and abruptly turns around to look at the clock to see the time. At 7 o'clock tonight, when the hour hand indicates the new time, the Tower of Trials will open. The very structure of unknown origin, called the Test Tower, appears in Korea. When the Test Tower opens, the space around it changes slightly. The players who came here gather in a crowd and are about to enter the tower. Some of the people gathered here yell out for no one to hurry because finally, this place is completely the same as what they did before. Kang Jin-hyuk looks around and still can't believe it. Many players here are very much like newcomers. In honor of entering the tower, each of the players are given 100 coins. These can be used in the tower. 100 coins will be given for every 10,000 views of the player's achievements. Viewing videos by those who dwell outside the tower will only count when they watch them for the first time. Therefore, you need to be more cautious when choosing a video. The live streaming feature can only be used while mopping up boss monsters to get to the next floor. If tampering with views and other illegal activities are found, appropriate action will be taken. Kang Jin-hyuk listens carefully to all the conditions and instructions received, thoughtfully holding his hand at his chin. There is a bridge here that is the link between the people ascending in the tower and the ordinary people living outside the tower. In the live streaming system, viewers watch videos of the players wanting to see the end of the tower and thus raise views. The most interesting setup of Tower of Trials is the system. Simply put, the more famous you become, the more coins you can earn. Players get off the ground and are going to head to the Goblin Cave first. There they will be able to find a spot and hunt around. They'll get their share and have some fun. The players running past Kang Jin-hyuk cheekily push him in the shoulders because they're trying to get in the fastest. Kang Jin-hyuk looks around and notices such a rush in people. He sinks into his thoughts. Kang Jin-hyuk suspects that the people want to clear this place quickly and get ahead of everyone else. It won't be hard to get the copes, but he won't pour the video first. The guy realizes that if he gets some coins for views, but also shares some information, he'll be doing himself a huge damage. Kang Jin-hyuk behaves calmly and measuredly because he knows what he has to do first. Kang Jin-hyuk smirks contemptuously and observes the people in a hurry, realizing that he is choosing a different path for himself, different from others. There was a time when during the sweep of the beginning of the 13th floor, there was no way to advance further. The guy collects all the hidden parts, searching the lower floors to climb up to the next floors. Kang Jin-hyuk continued on his way, analyzing every little thing, every step and action he took. At one point, Kang Jin-hyuk manages to find the right solution in some of the ruins there. At that moment, Kang Jin-hek gets some kind of realization that puts him in a stupor and horrified by his own anxiety. The guy even has his torch fall out of his hands because at some point he realized that his character was worthless from the beginning. The guy starts shaking from such a bad result while searching the lower floors. The character he had been rocking in misery for years turned out to be a complete non-entity. The guy sees a notification in front of him that he can delete the character, but he doesn't do it yet. This is utterly absurd, for he has devoted himself to it. Even wasting time on doubts is now an unacceptable luxury for the guy. He's going to delete his character and repeat his journey from the beginning. The irrevocable deletion of Kang Jin-hyuk's character begins, and it's as if space is shattering into thousands of pieces. Before finally doubling his character, Kang Jin-hyuk makes a promise to himself to make sure to reach the end next time. The current Kang Jin-hyuk remembers himself back then. It was a whole 6 years ago when he removed his character. A confident Kang Jin-hyuk stands in front of the entrance to the maze named Labyrinthos. Its degree of difficulty reaches level B. It's an incredibly intricate, daedalus maze with many different traps. Kang Jin-hyuk thinks that the foundation for breaking through above the 13th level would be to accumulate a base, and the key to that is in this maze. Kang Jin-hyuk is not at all happy about having to clear this maze again, as if he had joined the army again. Kang Jin-hyuk puts his finger on some kind of stone medallion. The guy compares the maze to an affectionate dog. Kang Jin-hyuk gathers his thoughts and strength and opens the stone gate at the entrance to the maze. Kang Jin-hyuk enters the Labyrinthos maze and looks around his surroundings. There are various weapons, figurines, and ruins scattered everywhere. On the stone and thick walls of this labyrinth are various engraved paintings. Kang Jin-hyuk recognizes the familiar smell and look of this labyrinth as soon as he walks into it and looks around. Kang Jin-hyuk walks deep inside and keeps his hands in his pockets. He thoughtfully and smilingly raises his head, realizing that he is experiencing the same feeling as last time. Inside the space within the Labyrinthos maze, flying and brightly glowing butterflies appear. Kang Jin-hyuk raises his hand up and exposes his finger, on which a glowing moth lands. The guy greets it. Suddenly, something catches Kang Jin-hyuk's attention. Another butt appears again. Kang Jin-hyuk turns back around and notices many more players behind him. He asks who they are. The girl with the tidy hair replies that they were looking for a place to hunt and saw an open maze. They decided to enter here before it closed. 10 minutes before invading the maze, these players had been following Kang Jin-hyuk. They felt like the guy knew something, so they followed him. They were surprised that he opened the maze without a key and basically entered here in the first place. The girl observes what's going on, and after talking to another player, suggests that everyone enter this maze following the guy. The other player disagrees with her idea and says that they don't even know what kind of maze it is or how big it is. The girl yells at the guy and suggests he try thinking. She says that they know what the most important thing is at the beginning of the Tower of Trials too. The girl claims that Kang Jin-hyuk hasn't found the key and the maze has already opened. It's on the first level, so it's possible to go in there, and the difficulty level isn't that high. The other players continue to watch Kang Jin-hyuk enter the maze that is on the first floor. Another girl is chewing gum and blowing bubbles. She asks if the guy will obediently share items with them. The girl with the tidy hair starts to smirk and says that the guy won't share anything with them. The girl's eyes light up with rage, and she suggests forcing Kang Jin-hyuk to stay in this maze forever. The girl turns to Kang Jin-hyuk and suggests to him that they go with him, because the more people who share the dangers with him, the better. Kang Jin-hyuk thinks they've assured themselves of their numerical superiority and thinks they can outsmart him. Kang Jin-hyuk activates his eyes of truth and scrutinizes the girl. Her name is Park Hana. She's 22 years old and previously reached the second floor of the tower. In this girl, the guy notices an interesting ability called Contact, through which the rapprochement will go better and naturally. Later, Kang Jin-hyuk uses this ability to control that person. Following the girl, another guy is introduced. His name is Jang Chul-sik, and he curls up in the process of passing the first floor. Another girl in their company is named Lee Hai-min, who only reached the first floor of the tower. The second girl is Jang Min's girlfriend, who reached the third floor. The other two guys, Jung Min-guk and Do Kan-woo, have the experience of passing the challenge tower as their first and only experience. Kang Jin-hyuk pretends to be very excited to meet the other players and introduces himself to them and says his name. Kang Jin-hyuk knows that all these players can obviously slap him in the back of the head at any moment, so there's no need to memorize their names. Park Han's girlfriend, ostensibly in a friendly manner, grabs Kang Jin-hyuk's hand and stands next to him as close as possible. The girl clings tightly to the guy and starts asking him what floor he reached in the Tower of Trials. The girl purposely takes Kang Jin-hyuk's hand and gets as close to him as possible. Park Hana activates her level 1 contact ability to get close to Kang Jin-hyuk as quickly as possible. Kang Jin-hyuk now understands how her ability works, which immediately makes the girl trust him. He pushes her away and replies that he went up in the tower as far as he could. Park Han's girlfriend doesn't understand why the contact effect doesn't show up on Kang Jin-hake in any way. She pretends that everything is normal. The girl just has Kang Jin-hyuk tell them what kinds of monsters there are in the maze and what their features are, because it's not hard for him. Kang Jin-hyuk looks around and examines the room of the maze, where the shimmering moths are flying around. Kang Jin-hyuk turns around to the other players and tells them that this maze changes every time at a certain hour. Park Han's girlfriend and the other players look questioningly at Kang Jin-hyuk and think his words are absurd. Suddenly, an earthquake starts under the players' feet, as if the maze is about to really change. All of the players anxiously start looking around, noticing the obvious changes in the maze room. Park Han's girlfriend is also very anxious and doesn't understand what's going on since it's only a level 1 maze. Huge slabs of stone begin to appear all over the maze room and slide out from the wall. The other players call out to Park Hana to be careful because the space starts to transform. Park Hana's girlfriend thrusts her palm forward sharply and is about to kick the stone slabs away. Another player calls out to his comrade and tells him not to stand in one place or he'll be crushed. He tells him to look up. Abruptly and unexpectedly, a huge and heavy stone block starts to collapse on top of the players. All the players try to cover their heads and hide from the change so as not to get hurt. They realize that everything has stopped. Park Han's girlfriend anxiously and warily looks around, trying to catch her breath. One of the girls claims that they can't see the worlds here. They're surprised that there's such a maze on the first floor as well. It's kind of absurd. Kang Jin-hyuk shakes off his sleeves and wonders if the others have never been in a changing maze. Park Han's girlfriend says it's too dangerous for the first level and they need to get out now. The girl turns to Hai-min and asks if she can find a way out with her ability. Hai-min starts crying bitterly and says that while changing the maze, her ability was suddenly deactivated. Park Hana reacts very anxiously to such news. It turns out that they can't even find an emergency exit, so they are locked in here. Kang Jin-hyuk didn't realize before that the reason why the players entered the maze. It was all about their navigation. They thought that knowing about the labyrinth would turn their sortie into an easy trek. Kang Jin-hyuk thinks the other players are stupid. He's waiting for the right time to come when he shows up here. Park Han's girlfriend aggressively turns around to Kang Jin-hyuk, and her face expresses rage and hatred. The girl aggressively calls out to Kang Jin-hyuk and is about to start getting into an argument with him. The girl confidently heads towards the guy and tells him why he didn't warn them in advance that this maze is changing, because walls don't just fly. The Park Han girl yells furiously at Kang Jin-hyuk because they were dodging like crazy and many people got hurt. He almost got everyone killed. All the other players second Park Hana's words and start pointing their fingers at him and calling him names. Iz and Mina were separated because of him. Kang Jin-hyuk does not react to the provocations and curses of the other players, but only exhales heavily. Kang Jin-hyuk makes a displeased and disdainful expression as he didn't tell the others to follow him here. Park Han's girlfriend reacts anxiously and fearfully to Kang Jin-hyuk's words that no one asked them to follow him. Kang Jin-hyuk is already getting nervous and angrily replies that they said they came from there themselves. No one dragged them here by force. One of the players is holding some stick he created. He thinks Kang Jin-hyuk is the reason they're stuck here, so he's also ruining their mood. The blonde guy is holding a metal stick. Kang Jin-hyuk didn't like him from the moment he first saw him. The blonde guy was about to say something else to the guy, but something terrible and unpleasant happens to him. Some kind of small axe flies into the stone surface in the maze and crashes into it. The blonde guy is abruptly knocked off his feet by something and falls sideways to the ground. The other players are shocked by this. One of the girls starts calling the fallen guy's name and crying hard. The guy with glasses watches anxiously. Suddenly, someone's large foot, completely covered in animal hair, appears from somewhere. Out of nowhere, the minotaur that inhabits this maze appears. It leaps out of its seat and is ready to attack. Each of the players realizes that they are about to face a minotaur. They prepare their weapons and abilities. The double-sided axe that knocked the blonde guy off his feet earlier continues to be in the stone wall. At some point, the double-sided axe bursts out of the wall as if at someone's command. This double-sided axe belongs to a minotaur, who swings it aggressively and threatens the players. Park Han's girlfriend looks down at the minotaur in horror and fear, realizing that they are all dead. Kang Jin-hyuk demands everyone to stand back and bullets past the players present. He's going to deal with everything. The minotaur is many times larger than Kang Jin-hyuk himself, but the guy purposefully heads under its blows. The huge and fierce Minotaur swings his axe hard and hits the stone surface of the floor with it powerfully. The Minotaur's double-sided axe ends up in the stone slab as Kang Jin-hyuk dodges its blow and soars into the air. Kang Jin-hek receives another system notification that the guy successfully dodges the blow. A small but deep scratch appears on Kang Jin-hek's shoulder. The guy has a hidden stat gap, which greatly reduces the level difference when fighting a strong opponent, and vice versa when fighting a weak one. Kang Jin-hek pushes off the Minotaur's horn with his palm, thinking about the fact that when fighting an opponent stronger than him, the level difference decreases for every 3 points. While the aggressive Minotaur looks around for his opponent, Kang Jin-hek clings to its horn and hangs onto it. The guy swings slightly on the monster's horn and jumps down with ease, stopping just a bit away from the Minotaur. All this confrontation is a way to grow, while still remaining at level 1. The only way he learned about through countless trial and error. This is exactly what Kang Jin-hyuk is thinking about as he smirkingly looks at the Minotaur. The huge Minotaur is not going to give up and swings his double-sided axe once again to attack the guy. Kang Jin-hek deftly and easily dodges the blows because he's been hit by the Minotaur's attacks tens of thousands of times. Kang Jin-hek proves that his body remembers all the patterns. His hidden gap stat is constantly increasing every now and then. Kang Jin-hek continues to deftly dodge the Minotaur's blows, for which he receives countless notifications to increase his gap stat. The huge and strong Minotaur continues its endless axe droughts and attacks on Kang Jin-hek. Kang Jin-hek is an experienced old man, which is why he can so easily manage to dodge the blows and raise his stats again. Kang Jin-hek knows that no matter how powerful the Minotaur's attacks are, there's no point in them if they don't reach their target. The other players here are watching the fight between the Minotaur and Kang Jin-hyuk, marveling at the fact that they dared to harass such a person at all. Park Han-'s girlfriend is already giving up on her idea to destroy Kang Jin-hyuk and take away his rewards because she sees how strong the guy is. The huge and fierce Minotaur's eyes light up brightly. He puffs aggressively and glares at his opponent. Kang Jin-hek criticizes the monster for procrastinating. The monster just swings his axe from side to side like that and thinks he can hit. All these unpleasant words of Kang Jin-hek provoke the Minotaur and make him very angry, which makes him furiously open his mouth and growl. The huge Minotaur swings his double-sided axe and throws it towards his opponent. When the Minotaur's double-sided axe almost reaches Kang Jin-hyuk himself, he thinks about the fact that the way to become stronger in a short time is quite simple. The huge Minotaur axe flies past Kang Jin-hyuk's shoulder, who takes a risk by making his bet and putting his life on the line. The axe almost grazes Kang Jin-hyuk's neck. He thinks that the entire reward is given out depending on the life-threatening danger. At the last second, the guy manages to dodge the fatal attack and is rewarded with a 1-unit increase in stat gap. He's glad, getting 1 stat point per scratch. Kang Jin-hek does manage to get his palms drenched in blood in the process of this fight. The guy realizes that if he makes even the slightest mistake, the situation will become many times more dangerous. He should slowly wrap things up. Kang Jin-hyuk turns his attention to the other players and gloats over the fact that the minor characters have willingly decided to leave. One of the girls calls out to Park Han and says she wants to get out of here as soon as possible. Park Han tells her to go lean on the wall, then there will definitely be a way out. In an instant, Kang Jin-hyuk appears behind Park Han and asks her where they are going now. Park Han's girlfriend looks very scared, infirm, and anxious. She is shocked when the guy appears behind her. There are many large drops of sweat protruding on the girl's face. She is scared and wary when she sees the guy from behind. Kang Jin-hek points his finger at the Minotaur and suggests that the players join in. He explains that it's only worth it to dodge its attack, and they'll be given a hidden stat. It's easier than it looks. When the huge and aggressive Minotaur swings his axe again, Kang Jin-hek gives out that they need to share the rewards with others. Kang Jin-hek holds Park Han's girlfriend by the wrist as the huge Minotaur launches its attack and swings its weapon. The other players are very worried about the girl, crying and looking just as terribly frightened as they reach out to the girl. Park Han's girlfriend looks even more scared and shocked. She looks at the monster and tears appear in her eyes. The aggressive Minotaur's double-sided axe flies through the room in the maze and collapses all the stone structures behind it. One of the players, shocked and very scared, falls to the floor and stares at the large pool of blood in front of him. Kang Jin-hek states that the players shouldn't stand there. They should at least try to dodge or keep their distance at all. Kang Jin-hek, without much emotion, without fear or shock, coldly asks the Minotaur about his rightness. The huge Minotaur continues to make some sounds and stands in front of Kang Jin-hek at a distance. Suddenly, the Minotaur's attention is drawn to a shattered stone slab that falls down. The entire space within the area of this labyrinth begins to change and transform again. Kang Jin-hek waves goodbye to the Minotaur as several moving stone slabs appear in front of him. Kang Jin-hek makes a satisfied and smirking face as the stone slabs almost block him from the Minotaur. The guy says they'll see each other later. The surprised, huge Minotaur stares in utter bewilderment at the stone wall that appeared right in front of him. The Minotaur's eyes continue to burn furiously, but it does nothing but stand there and breathe aggressively. At some point, the thought crosses the Minotaur's mind to break down this wall with his double-sided axe. The space within the labyrinth soon stops bringing its changes, and everything falls into place. Park Han-'s girlfriend is still trying to catch her breath and come to her senses from the horror that she just experienced. The other players are also lying on the floor and trying to catch their breath because they almost died there. They are worried that the Minotaur will run after them. Kang Jin-hyuk talks about how he recently touched the pollen of the glowing moths that attracts the Minotaur, so maybe it will still chase them. Park Han-'s girlfriend is again stunned by Kang Jin-hek's words and asks him why he did something so reckless. Kang Jin-hyuk doesn't understand her question and thinks it's stupid because obviously he did it to increase his stats. The guy reaches out for the sword that's lying on the ground. Every time the maze changes, he rests a bit and replenishes his stamina. Kang Jin-hyuk puts his blade forward and continues that he's having fun here once the Minotaur finds him again on his own. It's a beauty. Park Han-'s girlfriend continues to look shocked and scared. She asks how much longer the guy is going to be doing this here. Kang Jin-hyuk confidently puts a thumbs up and states that he'll do it until he gets out of the maze, which is exactly a month. One of the players dubiously thinks about the fact that this hell is going to go on for another 30 days. Park Hana almost faints and claims that they'll go separately. Park Hana assumes that if they go on without Kang Jin-hyuk, the Minotaur won't chase them out. The guy thoughtfully and uncertainly confirms this. Kang Jin-hek starts to smirk contemptuously and asks which way the guys are going to go in that case. One of the players holds Park Hana up and sees her from here. Kang Jin-hek states that with no landmark, it's many times more dangerous to move around here. Jin-hyuk, in the company of Park Hana's girlfriend, stops abruptly after hearing Kang Jin-hyuk's words. Kang Jin-hyuk checks his blade, then asks Jin-hyuk if he knows where the exit is here. He claims that he knows a lot more about this maze than anyone else. Park Han-'s girlfriend squints suspiciously in Kang Jin-hyuk's direction and realizes that they simply have no other choice. The girl changes her mind again and changes her mind, intending to follow Kang Jin-hyuk further. Kang Jin-hyuk waves his finger negatively and says that you can't get anything in the world for free. Even bus fare has to be paid for. Kang Jin-hek puts his blade to the face of Park Hana's girlfriend, who barely shows any emotion anymore. Kang Jin-hek points his blade threateningly at the girl and demands she give him all the coins she has. Some guy with a bandage on his head and a nice engraved shield in his hand swings his small blade. A few goblins with different skin colors appear in front of the young lad and watch him in surprise. The lad uses his shield and small blade as an attack and defense on several goblins. The guy deftly tackles multiple goblins now and then, while smiling contentedly and shouting out various sounds. At one point, the whole picture of the guy fighting a goblin freezes because it turns out to be a video. This guy's video has over 1 million views and endless comments from various people. The Pere blonde guy with the headband is pretty much watching the screen and realizes that it's enough, and people have gotten into his video. A company of guys realize that all the headlines on the message board are all about them because their blonde guy fought goblins to a pulp. They'll get 1,000 coins from the views. The blonde guy is glowing with happiness and thanks the guys for their help and overall effort in dealing with the goblins. They discuss among themselves that people in the comments think the guy did it alone. The guys unmount the video and put the blonde guy's buffs on the guy. The blonde guy in the blindfold draws attention to the comments of the balding dude, who writes that he saw better results than in their video. The blonde guy says not to get so upset because life in this world involves monopolizing the outstanding discoverers. The guy with the glasses is anxiously looking at something. In the place of their video comes a new one, uploaded to the Walk of Fame, titled, "World's First to Succeed in Amplifying an Object Tenfold." The blonde guy notices the new video appearing and rushes to the monitor to get a better look and figure out why this is suddenly happening. The blonde guy watches in shock at the comments of people who wonder how a person managed to amplify an object 10 times. The guy thinks that this is completely absurd and such a thing is impossible. 10 minutes before uploading the video online, Kang Jin-hyuk tells the guy and the girl not to stand around and mind their own business. Kang Jin-hek directs them to rake moss and prepare a sleeping place, as well as find logs to start a fire. There are a lot of things to do. One of the players obeys Kang Jin-hek, who lets them go, but he is greatly annoyed and enraged. Kang Jin-hek realizes that now is the time to start doing things himself. He opens the exchange in the Tower of Trials system. The system welcomes the guy to the exchange. The guy sees his number of coins in the amount of 5,000 and times that he has acquired them. The guy begins to scrutinize and examine the coin exchange by moving his finger around the screen. Kang Jin-hek spends 70 coins to buy 1 enchanted tarot cards of rank F. After this purchase, he spends another 80 coins on a shard of an old worn-out F-rank bronze key. Following that, Kang Jin-hek spends 300 coins to buy a piece of a wooden wagon wheel of E-rank. The guy's last purchase turns out to be an F-rank bingo amplifier in the amount of 10 pieces of 10 coins each. Kang Jin-hyuk smiles suspiciously and thinks about how these items are no different from trash that no one would buy. After his musings, Kang Jin-hek clicks on the buy button on his panel and purchases all the items. The system issues a thank you for the purchase. Kang Jin-hek says that the most important thing is knowing how to use these items properly. The guy is going to combine the 3 items immediately, and he succeeds in this matter. Kang Jin-hek receives the Goddess of Fortune's Wheel of Fortune, but it's incomplete. The item has an S level. This item raises luck to its highest value for 10 minutes. The item is still incomplete, so it has limitations in scope, but it's still a success for the guy. The guy forms a blade in his hands. Luck with a limited area of application, and if one doesn't know the limit of its application, the resulting luck can play the opposite effect. Kang Jin-hek is quite taken with the Wheel of Fortune and is confident because he knows the limit of luck. Kang Jin-hek knows that his life remembers everything. He starts spinning the Wheel of Fortune in the air, which makes the highest value of luck increase. Kang Jin-hek raises all 10 lotto enhancers into the air to use in his future plan. Lotto boosters are famous for their worst percentage, but now the guy's luck is at its highest level. The guy is going to use it all on his dagger. He gets a lot of notifications flying in now, and then that the amplification's going well and he's succeeding. The tip of Kang JPN Hyok's small dagger begins to become enveloped in a strong and dark purple energy during the amplification process. Through all the manipulations, Kang Jin-hyuk manages to get an old dagger that has a maximum of 10 units added to it. The guy is the first to succeed in creating a plus 10 item, causing his achievement to be placed on the Walk of Fame for a full 24 hours from tomorrow. The guy squints contentedly at his dagger he holds in his hands. Finally, he's getting a really worthwhile item. The other player, in the company of Park Hyena's girlfriend, is sitting on the floor, hugging their knees. They are going through their 10th day of living in hell. In front of the players sitting on the ground, a small bonfire made from gathered branches is burning. In addition to this burning fire, the players have a small and uncomfortable single bed made of moss. The players have a complete lack of any food other than mushrooms and the same moss. The girl wonders how another player still has such food in him. Park Hana's unhappy and tired girl turns to the side and observes something sadly. Kang Jin-hyuk exists and survives here under the same conditions as the other players. The guy is sleeping on a moss rookery. In addition to the moss bed and the lack of food, a minotaur regularly appears at the same time and attacks the players. Also, to top it all off, the labyrinth is constantly changing, a constant struggle on the verge of life and death. Kang Jin-hyuk with his dagger is at ease. He accepts all these conditions of survival here. Park Han's girlfriend tells the other guy that if things continue like this, they will definitely die. The guy says that Kang Jin-hyuk will take advantage of them enough and leave them. Park Hana opens the system and scrutinizes all the comments from the people watching them. Park Hana's girlfriend turns to the viewers and asks them if they found any information about Kang Jin-hek. None of the anonymous viewers have found anything on the guy. The girl anxiously lowers her head and is annoyed that such people were recruited for support outside the tower. The girl stares furiously and angrily at the screen and wonders if they've given the information to Appa and what the Ravens Guild has to say. The girl reads comments that nothing is known about the maze and to wait another 3 weeks before reaching her location. The second player pops something in his mouth and asks Park Hana what their Raven Guild will do. The girl claims that there is no information. While Kang Jin-hyuk is quietly sniffling and resting on the moss bed, the girl is about to tell the second player something. She suggests that they destroy Kang Jin-hek and hold out here a little longer until Appa comes to the cave they discovered. Then they'll survive this hell and get out without the guy. Park Han's girlfriend anxiously asks what is the best way to destroy Kang Jin-hyuk. The guy grabs a nearby boulder and says that the best way to get rid of Kang Jin-hyuk is to destroy him while he sleeps. Guy swings the cobblestone and is going to do it here and now. Not many people can live with their head broken. When another player is about ready to attack Kang Jin-hyuk, Park Han's girlfriend stops him and grabs his arm. The guy grudgingly asks why he has to stop. The girl claims that Kang Jin Hyuk has a reaction speed like a monster. The girl claims that no matter how to attack him, the guy will still get up and attack the guy's back even when he's sleeping. The red-haired guy asks what the girl is suggesting then. It's not like they're going to suffer any further. The girl is looking for something in her bag. She says that her appa from the Black Raven Guild gave her something in case she was in danger. The girl pulls out the poisonous sting of a giant, immature pumpkin wasp. A drop of its venom is capable of destroying hundreds of trolls. The girl's eyes light up furiously, and she proposes to act in a way that the guy probably can't resist. Kang Jin Hyuk wakes up in not the best condition. The guy is staring at something with disgust. In his hands, he's holding a wooden board with sticks made of mouse bones. Of the food, they have fried moss and mushrooms again. It feels like they're making a survival movie. Kang Jin Hyuk asks if there's anything to eat besides fried moss and mushrooms. Park Hana replies that they need to catch a mouse or a moth for that. Kang Jin Hyuk asks Park Hana to pass him some water, which is behind her, and Chol-sik asks him to add some more mushrooms and moss. Chol-sik uses a makeshift wooden spoon to put some mushrooms and moss on the guy because there's still enough of this disgusting brew to go around. Kang Jin Hyuk wishes the rest of the players a pleasant appetite. Park Hana thinks Chol-sik is a gutless bimbo. Kang Jin Hyuk begins to eat his disgusting and unpalatable food with sticks made of mouse bones. Park Hana's girlfriend watches Kang Jin Hyuk closely as he eats the poisoned food. Chol-sik's boyfriend also watches Kang Jin Hyuk's meal intently, waiting for the consequences. Suddenly, a wooden board with fried moss and mushrooms falls out of someone's hands right onto the ground with a clatter. Player Chol-sik starts choking on something hard, and dark green foam starts coming out of his mouth. The veins all over Chol-sik's body start to swell up a lot, and he grabs his throat and can't breathe because he ate the poisoned food. The guy continues to beat in frantic convulsions and falls with his whole body to the ground while Park Hana watches in horror. Kang Jin Hyuk calls the players' names and says that he would never just accept food from their hands. The girl realizes that he knew about the poison. Chol-sik lies poisoned and is no longer showing signs of life. Kang Jin Hyuk switched plates as the guys put on his refills. Kang Jin Hyuk opens the panel of the test tower system and is about to shake a report on the players because they were secretly doing a live broadcast and it's illegal. Park Han's girlfriend pretends like she doesn't know what he's talking about since he has no proof. Discussions about this situation continue in the comments. Kang Jin Hyuk reads that the live stream can only be turned on when confronting the boss when going to the next floor. If illegal actions are found, action will be taken. Kang Jin Hyuk files a complaint report against Park Hana. She should have watched her facial expression during the broadcast. It's too obvious on her face. The guy without much thought presses the yes button to file the right complaint against Park Hana for illegal actions. After filing the complaint, a red circle appears around Park Hana's girlfriend with warning written on it. The girl doesn't realize what's going on. Kang Jin Hyuk's application is filed, and all the anonymous people in Park Hana's chat room are deleted. The girl stands in horror in the center of the red circle. The girl turns back around and looks at her panel. All connected viewers leave her live stream and will not be able to watch any videos for a month. Repeat offenses will result in permanent blocking. The girl is horrified, thrashing around on the spot and turning around. She doesn't understand how this happened and where all her viewers have gone. Park Hana's player penalty is replaced by a ruthless fate. The girl anxiously turns back around as Kang Jin Hyuk fairly observes. The image of the very same minotaur holding a double-sided axe flashes from behind. From around the corner of a stone wall in the maze, a fierce and angry minotaur appears, which the girl certainly notices. The huge and fierce minotaur opens its mouth and begins to growl loudly and viciously. The horned and huge minotaur snaps out of its seat and starts accelerating towards the Park Hana girl. Park Hana's girlfriend quickly moves behind Kang Jin Hyuk's back and asks him if he's going to fight again. Park Hana leans against Kang Jin Hyuk's back in a panic and asks where she can hide because the minotaur is getting closer. Kang Jin Hyuk says that Park Hana is very brazen. She tried to poison him a while ago, and now she thinks the guy is going to tell her something. The girl starts crying in panic and asks the guy why he doesn't say anything, since he always did before. Park Han's girlfriend notices a notice above her head about the conditions for copying her contact technique. Those conditions are met. The guy succeeds in copying the C-rank contact technique. He says that he doesn't need the girl now. Park Hana doesn't know what he means. Park Hana's girlfriend breaks down into a scream and tells Kang Jin Hyuk that he will regret his actions. The girl angrily grabs her breasts and in a shouting match tells the guy that her older brother is a member of the Crow Guild. A powerful swing of the Minotaur's double-sided axe happens and knocks the girl to the ground, pushing her backwards. During the Minotaur's attack, Kang Jin Hyuk flies into the air and dodges it as Park Hana just falls to the ground. The girl sits on the cracked stone ground and looks anxiously at the guy who soars into the air. Kang Jin Hyuk pulls out his old dagger and makes a powerful swing, leaving a trail of purple energy in the air. The guy's entire trajectory makes multiple turns before reaching the Minotaur with his rusty dagger. Kang Jin Hyuk shallowly manages to stab his rusty dagger into the huge Minotaur's back. The huge Minotaur swings its fists again, trying to attack Kang Jin Hyuk, who dodges again. The guy stops on the ground and realizes that it does damage, albeit a little. He also has the good sense to pump the gap. All that remains of the confrontation between the fierce Minotaur and Kang Jin Hyuk are the rifts and cracks in the stone surfaces. Kang Jin Hyuk is about to strike again, but realizes that it will definitely not be possible to finally destroy the Minotaur. Kang Jin Hyuk dodges another blow as he contemplates his next move. The guy dodges the Minotaur's attacks quickly and deftly. He's going to create a similar situation now. Kang Jin Hyuk carefully observes the Minotaur's movements and his attacking actions. Kang Jin Hyuk activates the level 1 fire element he copied from the old man in the folk museum. The entire space around the furious Minotaur is engulfed by the bright flames of fire that Kang Jin Hyuk controls. While the huge Minotaur is distracted by the fire flames, Kang Jin Hyuk finds himself behind the monster and makes 2 cuts on its legs. Kang Jin Hyuk breaks sharply and stops with his knees on the stone slab on the floor. The fierce and huge Minotaur sits down on the stone surface on one knee, and Kang Jin Hyuk stands up and asks the Minotaur not to rampage too much. Kang Jin Hyuk smirks and says that building muscle doesn't make the meat tougher. He holds up his rusty dagger in his hands. Kang Jin Hyuk smirks contentedly and observes the fierce Minotaur's further behavior. The fierce and huge horned Minotaur begins to breathe heavily, exhaling dense streams of steam from its mouth. Kang Jin Hyuk notices the Minotaur's burning eyes and realizes that the moment has come for the Minotaur to use its last card. The Minotaur's entire body begins to enlarge and its eyes burn red. The Minotaur Maze Guardian activates a level 10 rabies. The muscles on the Minotaur Maze Guardian's entire body begin to greatly increase in size. In addition to the enlarged muscles on the Minotaur's body, its bilateral axe and horns begin to be covered in bright green energy. Kang Jin Hyuk calmly and coolly watches the Minotaur's transformation and tries to cover himself from the coming wind. Park Han's girlfriend watches the Minotaur's transformations in horror and doesn't understand how such a thing can be defeated at all. The huge guardian of the labyrinth Minotaur changes its appearance drastically, but its eyes continue to burn red and steam comes out of its mouth. The Minotaur's attacks and speed will be increased by 30% for 5 minutes thanks to its 10th level rabies. It can temporarily speak in human language, as its intelligence is also increased. The huge and fierce Minotaur starts talking to Kang Jin Hyuk and threatens him. He points his axe at the guy. Kang Jin Hyuk activates the energy of his rusty blade and notices that the Minotaur's mana efficiency improves greatly compared to what it was. Kang Jin Hyuk's eyes also begin to light up with anticipation, and he directs the Minotaur to attack him. The huge and fierce guardian of the labyrinth, Minotaur, threatens Kang Jin Hyuk and says that he will trample him. The furious Minotaur swings his axe and attacks Kang Jin Hyuk, who holds back his blow with his rusty dagger. Kang Jin Hyuk's rusty dagger slides across the blade of the Minotaur's double-sided axe and leaves behind sparks. The Minotaur Labyrinth Guardian's double-sided axe flies away from the impact of the rusty dagger, as does Kang Jin Hyuk's dagger itself. Kang Jin Hyuk continues to defend himself and fend off the Minotaur's strikes with his rusty dagger. Throughout the space of the maze, the energies of the Minotaur and Kang Jin Hyuk's blows and attacks are spreading. Park Han's girlfriend sits off to the side and watches the confrontation between the monster and the guy. She can't believe what's happening. The girl crawls aside and hides behind the nearest wall. She sees that the guy is not just dodging, but also taking the full force of the blows. The girl sees that this boss monster has activated a level 10 skill. Even if all the members of the Black Raven Guild were here, they still wouldn't be able to win. Park Hana's girlfriend thinks that Kang Jin Hyuk is crazy for being able to deflect his blows like that and even resist such a monster. Kang Jin Hyuk endlessly reflects and responds to the attacks of the Minotaur Labyrinth Guardian. It's as if Kang Jin Hyuk is enjoying it, and Park Hana is genuinely amazed at how he can smile in such a situation. Kang Jin Hyuk continues to confront his opponent, the fierce Minotaur, and thinks about how he felt like he was stuck. Kang Jin Hyuk hated this reality with all his soul, where it looked like he wasn't moving forward but was treading on the ground. He felt helpless. In his life and in the game, the difficulties were like hell. Right now, however, he had 57 units of gap stat, and this world was reacting to Kang Jin Hyuk. The guy continues to repel the Minotaur's attacks and smiles broadly as his gap stat increases continuously. The energies of the Minotaur and Kang Jin Hyuk meet each other now and then and reflect each other. Labyrinth Guardian Minotaur makes a strong swing with his double-sided axe and powerfully stabs it into the stone surface. The furious Minotaur's eyes express some slight worry, and stone shards fly around. Kang Jin Hyuk soars into the air and looks at the Minotaur with his burning eyes. The guy deftly and easily chops the stone cobblestones. A few quick and deft movements with his rusty dagger and Kang Jin Hyuk is already inflicting many cuts on the Minotaur. His rusty dagger is still lit up with dark purple energy, ready to engage in a confrontation once again. The furious Minotaur says that Kang Jin Hyuk is only capable of some tricks. He swings his fist at the guy hovering in the air. Minotaur takes a swing with his fist and says that Kang Jin Hyuk can't leave a single scratch on him in the end. The fierce and huge Minotaur seems to be stomping in one place while holding his double-sided axe. The ground beneath Kang Jin Hyuk's feet seems to float as he manages to dodge the blows quickly and skillfully. Furious Minotaur's shaking fist stops in front of Kang Jin Hyuk's face when he notices it. The furious Minotaur remains standing in one place motionless as the level 10 rabies time is up. Kang Jin Hyuk tells the Minotaur that his 5 minutes are up. The Minotaur calls this kid a sassy kid. Rabies is able to manifest the limit of power in 5 minutes, but after that comes a penalty that will put the user into a state of anabiosis for 24 hours. The Minotaur behind the guy goes into a state of anabiosis for 24 hours. Kang Jin Hyuk checks his panel and sees 57 stat points on it. If you think about it that way, a difference of 19 levels could very well be reduced. Kang Jin Hyuk examines his panel and realizes that the time remaining is 20 days. His goal is to reach 100 points at the same pace. Park Hak's girlfriend peeks out from behind her hiding spot and asks if it's over. Kang Jin Hyuk says that the Minotaur's refugeeism is over, but he's only gotten rid of it temporarily. Kang Jin Hyuk says that if the maze changes again and they wait for about a day, the Minotaur will reappear. Tears appear in the girl's eyes. The guy proves his words about how he was going to be here for a month. As a result, there are now 20 more days left. 20 days later, the events repeat themselves in the same sequence. Inside the labyrinth, there are again devastating changes, and a battle with a Minotaur is underway. The Maze Guardian Minotaur once again channels its energy into a double-sided axe and attacks Kang Jin Hyuk. When Kang Jin Hyuk dodges another sharp slashing blow from the right, he receives another stat boost of Gap. Kang Jin Hyuk watches the Minotaur Labyrinth Guardian's every action and strike and dodges a low blow. His Gap stat increases again. As the Minotaur builds up his hatred and rage again, he begins to attack. The guy notices in due time that he manages to gather the required 100 stats of Gap. Kang Jin Hyuk swings his fist and hits the huge and furious Minotaur right in the chin, causing it to start flying off. The guy thinks that the further he goes, the weaker the Minotaur gets. He smirks and jokes that it's all about mood. Kang Jin Hyuk fends off the Minotaur with his punch. At one point, the guy deftly moves onto one of the Minotaur's horns to use it to push himself further away. Kang Jin Hyuk sort of clips the horns of the defeated Minotaur with his foot and tells him that now it's time for them to say goodbye. Kang Jin Hyuk finally deals with the Labyrinth Guardian Minotaur and turns towards the girl with a satisfied smirk. Kang Jin Hyuk looks at Park Hana and says that he should think about it and figure out how he should deal with the girl. The girl is extremely disturbed by those words. Kang Jin Hyuk abruptly gives the girl the news that he's gathering the interns into his old man company from now on. Kang Jin Hyuk makes a disgruntled expression and doesn't see the desire in Park Hana's eyes at all. Apparently she's not interested in such an offer at all. The girl blurts out that she is very interested in such an offer and has wanted to join something like this for a long time. Kang Jin Hyuk calls her a very confident candidate. Kang Jin Hyuk asks the girl about what useful things she can do for their company of old men in the future. The girl tells the guy about her intimacy ability, which will definitely play a role in the future. Kang Jin Hyuk thinks about the fact that he's already gotten himself her ability, so he's not interested in her offer at all. Kang Jin Hyuk steps confidently towards the girl. Park Hana blurts out that she would never betray Kang Jin Hyuk, but he's not interested and asks what else she has to offer. Kang Jin Hyuk gets as close to the girl as possible and leans into her. He calls her a total disappointment. Kang Jin Hyuk claims to be summarizing past interns into the first set of old man company. The girl pleads with him to give him time to think. Kang Jin Hyuk's eyes light up with hatred and contempt. He refuses the girl's plea and request. The girl falls on her knees in front of Kang Jin Hyuk and tells him in a scream that she is ready to give him the Bram ring. The girl grabs onto the guy's leg and begs him to keep her alive. Her older brother tells her that he made a deal with China and provided Goryeo ginseng as payment. Kang Jin-hyuk listens to the girl carefully and is stunned by the news that the Brahma ring has fallen into the hands of the Black Crow Guild. The Brahma ring is one of the best items you can get on the first floor. It increases movement speed, provides magic resistance, and restrains the mana of monsters. Kang Jin-hyuk activates his level 1 Eyes of Truth, which help him realize that Park Hana is telling the truth and is not being devious at all. Kang Jin-hyuk puts his hand on the girl's shoulder and congratulates her for just succeeding in becoming the intern of the old man's company. Park Hana is happy that she managed to survive. Kang Jin-hyuk puts forward the conditions of their old man company. Interns don't get paid a salary, and wherever and whenever she's called, she has to arrive on the spot with a bullet, whether it's 3 in the morning or an island in between. He doesn't care. Kang Jin-hyuk brings up the last and most important point. They need to sign a contract. The girl is surprised that there's also a contract to sign. Kang Jin-hyuk confirms to her to sign the contract. The guy opens and starts reading the Memories of the World. The guy uses 2 skills, Contact Level 1 and Fire Elemental Level 1. Kang Jin-hyuk combines the 2 skills and gets a soul brand of rank A. He says it's about to get a little hot. Kang Jin-hyuk grabs the girl's shoulder and pulls her close to him. Park Hana doesn't realize what he's doing. It's not like it's a contract like that. Kang Jin-hyuk points his hand with the soul branding at the girl. He asks if she really thought she was going to stamp it on plain paper. The guy congratulates her for joining the Black Enterprise. The girl tries to stop him. He leaves a level 1 soul stamp on Park Hana's face. The object is obliged to obey the owner's orders, and if broken, the entire body ignites. The huge and powerful gate at the entrance to the maze opens, and the boys manage to get out. A system notification is issued that the first floor maze has been traversed for the first time. Park Hana breathes in the fresh air and is happy that they survived there. Park Hana and Kang Jin-hyuk will be on the honor roll for 1 day. Also, each of the players are awarded 5,000 coins for passing the maze. Lavushka is genuinely excited about the rewards for such torment, as suddenly Kang Jin-hyuk calls her out and she calls him boss. Kang Jin-hyuk puts his hand forward and demands the girl to give her all the coins she received. The girl frustratedly gives the guy all her coins, and now he has about 10,000 coins in hand. At this point, there are no players with more coins. Kang Jin-hyuk approaches the girl again and demands that she bring him the Bram ring within 3 days. The girl says that 3 days is too short. When the girl starts to contradict, Kang Jin-hyuk once again saves up the soul branding energy in his palm and gives her a deadline of 2 days. Park Hana's palm marks Park Hana's face, and she says she will try to do it in 2 days. The news on the street TV announces that the strongest guild, the Tangun Guild, is planning to defeat the boss of the 3rd floor of the Tower of Trials in a week's time. The Tangun Guild is the leading guild in all of Korea. Indeed, the tower is fiercely fought by players from the United States, Japan, and Europe, but the stakes are very high for Korea as well. A dejected Park Hana, in the company of her boss Kang Jin-hyuk, walks down the street where the news reports that there are still no statements from the Chinese. The news reports discuss that rather than wait for help from the other side, it's easier to try and take over everything on their own. The Tangun Guild is able to cope without outside support. Kang Jin-hyuk thinks that they're in too much of a hurry since they're already planning to go after the 3rd floor boss. Kang Jin-hyuk isn't sure that they won't regret their decision. Their haste is understandable because they want to get their hands on as many resources as possible. He knows that each floor is given 90 days to complete. There is no need from and to the 3rd floor or even the 2nd floor. They won't strengthen their rear and the difficulty will increase. When the Tangun Guild faces all of this, they won't be able to handle the current difficulty level, and humanity won't get a second chance. The guy goes back to his home and is going to start by gathering information about the events of the last month. He needs to find reliable information amongst the gossip and lies. The guy takes out his phone and is going to contact people he can trust, i.e. informants whose information he will surely trust. Kang Jin-hyuk opens up a form and scrutinizes it, and then he's going to enter a name in the user search bar. After all this, Kang Jin-hyuk packs up and arrives at a meeting place at some busy cafe. The first such person is Yi Dai-min, with the nickname Bald Head. In life, the guy is very different from what he is in the game. The second such person is a girl named Yu Yun-hwa with the nickname Fire Fist, a very combative girl. Kang Jin-hyuk is wary and confused looking at the guys he played with together 2 years ago. They don't look like their characters at all. The guy didn't think the first group would be set up like this. The girl is able to overpower a bear with her bare hands, the white-haired guy throws fire, and Kang Jin-hek himself is a nerd captain. Kang Jin-hek applies his Eye of Truth and examines Yi Dae-min. As he expected, the guy gets the King of Machines this time too. Powerful magic and no serious disadvantages, an ability useful in large-scale battles. Next, he moves on to the girl Yu Yun-hwa. Her ability, Heavenly Hwaran Spirit, helps to fight in close combat. They both have almost the same level, so they hunted together. Kang Jin-hyuk knows that they've gotten along well before. The conditions for copying their abilities is that the three of them need to reach the 20th floor. And Dae-min points his hand at the guy and tries to find out what he's stalling about. The guy needs to talk about himself, so it's his turn. Kang Jin-hyuk greets the guys and gives his name and his nickname, Captain Nerd. The guy already regretted creating that nickname 11 years ago. Kang Jin-hek says he's 27 years old and streaming on Paprika TV. And Dae-min is surprised that the guy is a streamer because he used to watch that channel sometimes too. Kang Jin-hyuk lowers his gaze thoughtfully and tells Yi Dae-min that he's not streaming anymore now. Yi Dae-min smiles widely and waves his hand at Kang Jin-hyuk, reassuring him. After all, they've been playing together for so long. Yu In-hwa confirms the words of Yi Dae-min sitting next to him and says that they're more comfortable with him. The guy remembers one of his betrayers, who was diluted by a mangrove tree in the beginning. He also remembers Park Hana, who also wanted to use him and betray him. He was very tired while he was among those hypocrites. Kang Jin-hyuk, in the company of Yi Dae-min and Yu Yun-hwa, sits in a cafe and realizes that he feels comfortable around them for the first time in a month. Thus he learned from the guys what was going on, while he himself was in the maze. One of these things is the development of the major guilds of the world. During this time, there is also some new trend of streamers that is popular nowadays. But the main problem now is the emergence of a collective of minors who have set up some sort of factory and are kidnapping people. And Dae-min asks Kang Jin-hyuk about the fact that he's been missing for the last month or so, which means he didn't take the test. Kang Jin-hyuk proceeds to eat his ice cream and asks his comrade what test he's talking about. The guys all get into a cab and drive off somewhere on a busy highway. Yi Dae-min says that when the tower first appeared, a flood of players rushed inside it, but from the second floor onward, the death toll skyrocketed. Because of all this, the association put a certain restriction in which only those who passed the test could go up to the second floor. Yu Yun-hwa points to his barcode on his wrist and adds that after passing the test, the association gives a confirmation code. Kang Jin-hyuk realizes that the head of the Awakened Association, Han Sang-jin Paul, is gathering people with powerful abilities under the guise of reducing the number of casualties. Kang Jin-hek smiles contentedly and thinks that he is using the system created by the association for his own benefit. The guys drive up and come out near a tall and large building that has a huge television screen hanging on it. After the association was created, players with grades below F lost the ability to go to the second floor. However, players with high grades immediately receive offers from the best guilds in the country. Therefore, there are three types of people gathered at the testing site. The first type of people are those who insanely want the right to enter the tower. They pray and are very nervous. The second type of people are those who meet those who have gotten high ranks to the tower. They take special reports and ask which guild will take who. All the previous types of people look at those of the third type with admiration and surprise. The last type of people are those who want to show their right of entry to the world. They include Park Hana and her brother Park Ha-jin, the rising stars of the Black Raven Guild. All the camera lenses and people's attention is drawn to a guy with short black hair. This tall and statuesque man is Kim Gi-dae from the Father of Wrestling Guild. All the reporters don't want to miss a single shot. Kim Gi-dae irritably takes off his glasses and looks around. He asks what the crowd is about and why anyone can come here now. Park Ha-jin answers him that many people want to get rich and famous quickly. Kim Gi-dae demands to clear the way for him since he doesn't have time for that. Kim Gi-dae glares furiously at his companion and says that he only came here for him. He asks if he's up to the task. Park Ha-jin and her sister Park Hana warily reply to the man not to worry, and they'll make sure to do everything. All of this guy's bodyguards shoo away from his men and demand to stand back, move faster, and don't tread on the ground. In the midst of all this commotion, behind everyone in the crowd, there's Yi Dae-min standing with Kang Jin-hyuk. One of the bodyguards points his finger at Kang Jin-hyuk and asks who he is. Kang Jin-hyuk also points his finger at himself and says that he got his number and is waiting in line, so why should he move over? Park Ha-jin shushes the bodyguards and asks why he can't get rid of some crazy person. Park Ha-jin pokes his finger into Kang Jin-hyuk's shoulder and says he's making a mistake. He should give in before it's too late. All the people here start discussing that the guy is opposing Park Ha-jin and he's out of his mind. Kang Jin-hyuk realizes that Park Ha-jin is the brother of the very same Park Hana. While looking at Park Ha-jin, Kang Jin-hyuk activates his Eye of Truth ability and notices he has a very interesting, devastating attack ability. Park Ha-jin doesn't understand why the guy is staring at him like that. Kang Jin-hyuk reads the conditions of copying his ability. Kang Jin-hyuk realizes that the conditions for copying his ability are simply to provoke Park Ha-jin. Park Ha-jin starts to threaten Kang Jin-hyuk, saying that even if there are a lot of people here, he won't get away with it. Park Hana appears behind the guys and notices Kang Jin-hyuk in front of her, and her face expresses terror and fear. Park Ha-jin points her finger at Kang Jin-hyuk and says that he's lost his way, but Kang Jin-hyuk is already aggressive and furious. Kang Jin-hyuk abruptly grabs Park Ha-jin by the index finger of his hand, which he tries to poke the guy with. When Kang Jin-hyuk takes hold of the guy's finger, his eyes light up aggressively, and he abruptly curls Park Ha-jin's finger upwards. Park Ha-jin abruptly pulls his finger out of Kang Jin-hyuk's hand and grasps his hand painfully. Kang Jin-hyuk doesn't react to his provocation and calmly takes a sip of water from the bottle. Park Ha-jin starts to get angry. Park Ha-jin starts to get aggressive and abruptly leaps out of his seat to punch Kang Jin-hyuk. All the people here begin to crowd in one place and react very sharply to what is happening. Kang Jin-hyuk takes a sip of water and notices Park Ha-jin's boyfriend coming at him. Kang Jin-hyuk uses his water bottle as a weapon and splashes it right at his opponent. The water from Kang Jin-hyuk's bottle flies out and hits Park Ha-jin's face, who is perplexed by what is happening. At the very last moment, Park Ha-jin sharply and forcefully kicks the water bottle flying at him. Park Ha-jin rushes forward sharply, but he doesn't realize what's happening. Kang Jin-hyuk is behind him. It's as if Kang Jin-hyuk didn't make a single movement, and Park Ha-jin falls to the floor, and no one understands why it happened, if he just stumbled. Among the crowd, there is Park Han's girlfriend, who is watching the situation from the side and wondering what Kang Jin-hyuk is doing here. Suddenly, a man named Kim Gi-dae appears in front of the guys and demands the guys to stop immediately. Kang Jin-hyuk recognizes the man as Kim Gi-dae from the guild Father of Wrestling. The guy activates his Eye of Truth ability. Looking at Kim Gi-dae with his Eye of Truth ability, Kang Jin-hyuk experiences a failure. Applying the skill is impossible because of the big difference in levels. He heard that his level is above the 20th level. Kang Jin-hyuk looks down at the man and says that he didn't know Park Ha-jin had a babysitter. Kim Gi-dae replies that he's not a bad kid. Kang Jin-hyuk interjects Kim Gi-dae to ask if Park Ha-jin is really useful and if it has to do with bringing core dynasty ginseng to China. Kim Gi-dae's face abruptly starts to show surprise and tension. He wonders how the guy found out about this. The crowd of people starts discussing which ginseng is even in question. Park Hana, in the middle of the crowd, tenses up alarmingly. Kang Jin-hyuk confidently waves his hands and says that no matter how he found out, you have to ask the right questions. Kang Jin-hyuk starts to smirk and says that an example of such a question is how to get rid of side effects. Kim Gi-dae irritably demands the guy stop and activates his level 3 dungeon skill. The entire space around the guy starts to be consumed by a black aura with some yellow symbols. Yi-dae-min calls out to the guy but doesn't have time to do anything. Kim Gi-dae's eyes begin to light up furiously, but he calmly and coolly continues to stand still. A large and black cube appears in the entire space of this room, which looks like a cage that has locked Kang Jin-hyuk in. Kang Jin-hyuk touches the wall and realizes that it is a protective barrier. Kim Gi-dae asks the guy about the 10 dungeons and asks him to prove to him that he's not lying. The guys talk about the necessary edible item, Core's ginseng, to restore stamina and mana. But if someone has to just eat it, there will be a side effect like magic poisoning. Kang Jin-hyuk says that he understands how Kim Gi-dae is suffering from this right now and knows what 3 items can help him. The first ingredient is green Carasian juice in a glass flask with a gold lid. The second such ingredient is the moonstone, which has a beautiful pink sky hue. The most important ingredient is mandrake root, that same screaming and deafening plant. Kang Jin-hyuk suspects that Kim Gi-dae is on the lookout for the mandrake root right now. He's ready to tell where it is and asks if the man believes him now. Kim Gi-dae tensely looks at Kang Jin-hyuk and realizes that everything he said matches what the scouts and explorers said. Kim Gi-dae continues to look at Kang Jin-hyuk and tries to figure out who he is, and Kang Jin-hyuk smirks and waits for the man to answer. Kim Gi-dae pulls out his large blade from somewhere, which is bathed in golden light, and points it towards the guy. He's not happy about all of this, of course, but he's willing to believe Kang Jin-hyuk. The man warns Kang Jin-hyuk not to do any tricks, because then he'll be in trouble. Kim Gi-dae thinks about the high price Kang Jin-hyuk will pay for his help, which is the 10 most valuable dungeons. Kim Gi-dae can't accept such a high price and is about to end it all here and now, but something in the moment stops him and passes right in front of his blade. Kim Gi-dae becomes alarmed, and his facial expression depicts a look of horrified surprise and shock. Kang Jin-hyuk is enveloped in purple energy and smirks. Kim Gi-dae doesn't seem to have realized anything yet. Kang Jin-hyuk pulls out his rusty blade and says that their deal with Kim Gi-dae and his life is solely in his hands. One of the bodyguards powerfully flies off into a stone wall and expectorates from the resulting pain. Yi Dae-min and Yu Yun-hwa are outside the black cube and fight off the bodyguards attacking them. Yu Yun-hwa's girl has her red energy appearing around her. The girl chases the guards away if they don't want to die. At one point, Kim Gi-dae's third-level dungeon is cancelled and the men disperse. Kang Jin-hyuk asks Yu Yun-hwa to calm down. Yi Dae-min and Yu Yun-hwa try to find out if Kang Jin-hyuk is okay. They are willing to destroy everyone for him. The man, Kim Gi-dae, turns his back on everyone and walks away. Kang Jin-hyuk says that they were able to find common ground. Park Ha-jin runs after Kim Gi-dae and aggressively tries to see if he's really going to just let Kang Jin-hyuk go. Park Ha-jin slams his fist into his palm and says that if the man gives him a chance, he will come up with a good plan. The man, Kim Gi-dae, aggressively and powerfully grabs Park Ha-jin by the neck in a way that makes the guy drool. The man lifts the guy up while holding his neck. He says that Park Ha-jin is no match for Kang Jin-hyuk. If he pulls something like that again, he'll regret it a lot. The veins in Park Ha-jin's neck start to swell from the strangulation. He squeezes out the last of his strength to say that he understood. The man Kim Gi-dae throws the guy to the floor and walks away with his guards. Park Ha-jin is very curious about what happened inside that dungeon. Park Ha-jin starts to get very aggressive, and his eyes fill with rage. He won't let Kang Jin-hyuk humiliate him anymore. When Park Ha-jin greatly increases his hostility towards Kang Jin-hyuk, the guy manages to copy his stealth skill. He uses it to control his breathing and heart rate. People around are discussing Kang Jin-hyuk, who just tore into Park Ha-jin, while the guy himself goes about his business and is about to take the test. Kang Jin-hyuk looks at the results table and notices Park Ha-nu in first place. He marvels at her abilities as if she drank ginseng. His name is called Next. Kang Jin-hyuk walks into the room to take the test, where you have to hit a magic stone. All skills can be used. The examiner asks Kang Jin-hyuk if he's only going to use his dagger. He assures him that it's enough. The examiner looks at his tablet without distraction and tells Kang Jin-hyuk to start when he's ready. The examiner turns towards the guy who is walking towards one of the rocks here. The examiner asks Kang Jin-hyuk to walk over to the entry-level stone because he is now standing at the middle-level stone. The examiner shockingly tells him that ordinary players can't even activate a mid-level stone. Kang Jin-hyuk doesn't reply anything to the examiner, but silently swings his blade. He activates the power surge, Stat. Kang Jin-hyuk's eyes begin to burn with confidence, and he wants to see what all his suffering in the maze is worth. Kang Jin-hyuk simply chops the medium-level magic stone in half with one deft and powerful strike. The examiner opens his mouth in shock because it's impossible. Most of the players don't qualify because they don't have enough magic power to attack a small stone. The examiner watches in shock as Kang Jin-hyuk chops a medium-level magic stone in half. He has never seen or known such a thing. The examiner congratulates Kang Jin-hyuk for obtaining an S rank. He must report this to his superiors immediately. Kang Jin-hyuk grabs the examiner's clipboard and tells him to report it only in a week. The examiner doesn't understand why something like this would be delayed. Kang Jin-hyuk says that for personal reasons, the examiner can only report where he wants to go in a week. Kang Jin-hyuk touches the sharp tip of his dagger and says he knows a couple of worldly wisdoms. The law is far away, but the fist is near. The examiner understands. Kang Jin-hyuk stands leaning against the wall and folds his hands into a lock. He meets Park Ha-nu and asks if she was overtaken quickly. Trainee girl Park. Hana holds out her palm to the guy, in which is the Brahma ring that Kang Jin-hyuk told her about. The guy examines the ring, which suppresses the monster's magical abilities. The girl screams in panic and says that she fulfilled her promise and asks him to remove the branding. Kang Jin-hyuk cheekily turns around and walks away, waving at the girl. He'll look at her behavior. Yi Dae-min and Yu Yun-hwa ask in surprise and incomprehension if the guy really has an F rank. They thought it would be higher than theirs. Kang Jin-hyuk says that it's a temporary result and will need to retest in a week. The guys understandably agree. Yu Yun-hwa says that the second test will be in the dungeon. She asks how he's going to take it. He needs information and demands they head to the tower, and he'll write it up. The guy gets in the cab and thinks about the fact that the first test determines rank based on magical power, and whoever passes that test goes on to the second test. The task of the second test is simple. You need to pass one of the dungeons. There's no difficulty limit, and you can choose any opponents you want. Kang Jin Hyuk is going to go to the ancient ruins on the first floor. Neither then, 11 years ago, nor now in reality, no one was able to pass this forbidden zone. The guy with all his preparations heads to the abode of the fallen. He tries to remember the last time he was here. An empty soda can flies into Kang Jin Hyuk. Someone demands that he carry his suitcases there. Kang Jin Hyuk is going to the mountain ruins on the first floor of the Tower of Trials. Having F rank, he can't get there alone. The guild guarding the ruins won't let him go there. Kang Jin Hyuk goes up to the ruins in the company of some guys. The best option is to go there as a porter. One of the men he goes up to the ruins with turns to him and asks him how the guy got here. Kang Jin Hyuk replies that he needs a lot of money to survive. The man replies that everyone here needs money. The man pulls out his phone and shows a picture of his family. He says that he is here to feed his wife and children. The man continues to discuss the picture with the guy, but Kang Jin Hyuk realizes that the man is one of those suicide players. The man explains that with their F rank, they have to be extremely careful. Where they point, that's where they go. There's no machinery inside, and the ambulance isn't coming soon enough. Kang Jin Hyuk smiles and tells the man not to worry. He assures that those who are here will return home unharmed. The man smilingly looks at the guy, but sweat is showing on his face. He asks the guy if he's telling the truth, but he himself doesn't believe his words, thinking it's just a kind word. Kang Jin Hyuk and the other man reach their destination. The quest for the raid team begins. Here, it is necessary to accomplish the capture of the S-level ruins. Kang Jin Hyuk scrutinizes the conditions and notices a special reward for the first conqueror of the Tower of Trials. The guy just gets rewarded with an increase in the luck and adaptability stats, a cold heart skill to help keep calm, and a monopolization skill where the best reward for completing the trials alone is given. Kang Jin Hyuk is very happy about such a wonderful special reward. He makes a crazy expression on his face and thinks about how nothing cooler and better can be anymore. The guy realizes that there are an incredible amount of awards in the tower, but to get even one of them is already a great luck. The guy thinks about how he doesn't even need luck with that passive. He is distracted by the fact that a magic circle appears in the center of the ruins. All the players here are watching the magic circle appear and spread in the center of the ruins. Some man in armor appears. He has a headache. He can't get used to all this. The man goes in the company of another guy and a woman who report to him that everything is fine and all 50 people are alive. The mail bearers recognize these guys as a raid team of the Parhe Guild, which means ancient Chinese state. They recognize the leader of the team. While the man in armor is handing out his instructions, Kang Jin Hyuk activates the Eye of Truth and examines his data. The man's name is Sung Jonghua. Kang Jin Hyuk examines the copy conditions in which one must gain Song Jonghua's trust while going through the raid. Kang Jin Hyuk realizes that fulfilling such conditions will be extremely difficult and hard for him. After all this, some kind of realization suddenly comes to Kang Jin Hyuk, and he thinks of something. Kang Jin Hyuk observes the raid team and notices that the head of a top 10 guild only has that level. Kang Jin Hyuk tries his best to blend in and disguise himself, just to avoid being exposed and recognized. These ancient ruins in the Forbidden Zone look very large, old, and diverse. A man with a staff and a hooded hat asks the others to follow him as it gets dark further on. If anyone gets lost, no one will rescue anyone. The hooded mage raises his staff up and activates his level 1 lamp ability, lighting the path ahead. As the ray of light from the stone in the mage's staff rises to the ceiling, it illuminates the space, and the many knights and mages who have died here can be seen. All the mail bearers look around the ruins with interest and wariness and marvel at the setting. It turns out that these were not knights and mages, but dead monsters that the raid group had already managed to destroy. The mail bearers notice how frightening and intimidating the atmosphere here is. One tells the other to shut up. It's scary enough as it is. The head of the raid team calls out Yung Hua Hyun and waves to the porters who have arrived. Kang Jin Hyun notices the raid team members in front of him, and something makes him very nervous. He watches the guys and finds it strange that they had no casualties, even though they had taken out so many monsters. Kang Jin Hyuk watches the head of the team, Jeon Hua Hyun, and realizes that his strategy is strange. The man who keeps Kang Jin Hyuk company in the porters taps the guy on the shoulder and tells him not to stand still and to go hand out water and stuff. The man talks about how they can handle themselves here, and Kang Jin Hyuk needs to help the foreigners. The guy has already forgotten that he's a porter from here now. Kang Jin Hyuk observes the foreigners from the raid group wearing some knight armor. On the raid group's knight armor, Kang Jin Hyuk notices some kind of sign, trying to recognize it and figure out what it means. He notices one of the raid group wearing blue and white armor and remembers that it is the mark of the warriors from the Zion Guild. Kang Jin-hek scrutinizes the members of the raid group and finds them to be fragile creatures. He is about to befriend someone. Kang Jin-hek takes out a metal camping mug and pours water into it, adding ice. He holds out the mug to someone. Kang Jin-hek serves the water to the knight in white armor for doing a good job here. The man thanks him. While handing over the water mug, Kang Jin-hek activates his level 1 communication skill. The man starts to remove his helmet, from underneath which his long and blonde hair starts to fall out. The man clearly has a slight interest in the guy. A beautiful and young girl with long blonde hair appears from under the helmet armor. Kang Jin-hyuk had no idea that there would be such a beautiful and young girl underneath the armor. Kang Jin-hek recognizes this young, beautiful girl as the youngest daughter of the aristocrat Laurencia family from Europe. She is a versatile player connected with divine power. The girl has skills in offense, defense, and healing. She saved Amsterdam from chaos, very famous in Europe. This girl is the Saint of Amsterdam, Teresa de Laurencia. Now the boy understood why there were no losses. She is at her best in battles with undead and uncleanness. Kang Jin-hek also reflects on the fact that many people want to go higher, but she is here even though there is a raid on the third floor boss. The young girl rather drinks a mug of water that refreshes her. At this time, Kang Jin-hyuk activates his Eye of Truth. At first, an error is given due to the difference in levels, but then the stats Luck and Adaptability compensated for the difference in levels, raising the Eye of Truth to level 2. Now he could see the target's status. The conditions for copying her abilities and skills are to rescue Teresa from a dangerous situation, as she is one of the 100 players in the world. Now it is clear why she is admired by everyone. The guy notices that the girl is undergoing a profession quest. Most likely for this purpose, she is here in the ruins. Teresa de Laurencia thanks Kang Jin-hek for helping her quench her thirst. Kang Jin-hek smilingly takes the mug from the girl and thinks about the fact that he should be the one to thank her for the opportunity to get the patronage of the heavens ability. Kang Jin-hyuk only has to find out what kind of situation could be dangerous for this paladin and how to save her. It's a very difficult environment. Someone calls out loudly for the team leader Jeon Hwa-hyun to come over here immediately. The guy runs with all his might. Jeon Hwa-hyun comes to the stranger's call and observes the situation. Sweat is running down his face, and he is alarmed. The man and the girl point at the dead sentries who have already been eliminated. The raid team notices a notice that the guardians of the ruins are watching for trespassers. The time remaining is 9 minutes and 59 seconds. The ruin security system's sleeping bomb activates when trespassers appear. In activation, it summons the guards. If it's not touched, nothing will happen. Jeon Hwa-hyun panics and doesn't realize what kind of fool activated it. It doesn't make any difference anymore since it's already in battle mode. Wreaths protrude on Jeon Hwa-hyun's face from the tension and realizes that it's too late. There's only 10 minutes left. Jeon Hwa-hyun realizes that fighting the guards with her own strength is tantamount to destroying herself. Minimally half, even most of them will die. Jeon Hwa-hyun is about to evacuate the civilians at first, but then changes his mind because he doesn't want to end things before he even starts. He can't stop because he's already done a lot to become the head of the guild. Jeon Hwa-hyun turns his back to everyone and hides his face in the shadows. He states as they continue the raid. The man and woman start to arise that they're not even halfway through, and the guards will be advancing from all sides. Jeon Hwa-hyun orders him to shut up and follow him, and he'll take charge. Even without a second team, they have a chance of success. Jeon Hwa-hyun recalls the image of the young and beautiful Teresa de Laurencia because she's here with them now. One of the panicked players shouts out a warning to the other players that the guards here have woken up. Another guy replies to him that he worries about everything all the time. A guild like Parhe won't act without countermeasures. The guy with arrows and yellow hair says that loners like them just need to obey the head. The guild has probably already wiped out all the guards. From behind the arrow guy, whose name is Jin Dae, a huge iron hand appears and grabs a devastating grip. The other players stand in a circle with their backs to each other and personally witness the demise of Jin Dae, who was snatched from the shadows by someone. The curly black-haired guy who panics the most claims that they are now in a very bad situation. From all sides appear the guardians of the ruins, huge reanimated knights in armor with no material bodies. The players need to prepare for battle. Jeon Hwa-hyun orders everyone to prepare for battle. Tanks are sent forward, forming a formation. Carriers to the back and stay out of the way. Orders are shouted for the tanks to give buffs and the healers to get ready. Everyone scatters to their places. Song Jong-hwan grabs his weapon and activates his level 2 steel defense. All members of the raid team stand in their places and on alert. Sung Jong-hwan activates his level 2 combat concentration. From behind the rest of the raid team, a mage with a staff named Lee Yoon-mi rises into the air and activates a level 2 angel song. Song Jong-hwan shouts out to the others that the ruin guards are approaching them. The iron guards are already advancing to attack. The huge and iron guards attack the team leader Song Jong-hwan, who defends himself with his steel defense. A serious confrontation begins between all the members of the raid team and the iron guards of the ruins. The solo players call out to the leader and ask him to send them a tank because they can't stand and need reinforcements. They need healers immediately. The raid girl tries to get the leader's attention on the solo players. Sung Jong-hwan tells everyone to focus on the battle. There will be casualties either way, and it's inevitable. Sung Jong-hwa is very tense and irritated. He has no business or time at all to think about the solo players right now. Unlike guild players who act cohesively, solo players are immediately lost in battles like this. The solo player with black, wavy hair realizes that the leader heard his words and requests, but did nothing. The guy raises his eyes to the iron guards and starts crying because he realizes that the guild has abandoned them. Someone in knight armor rushes to help through the corridors of the ruins at the call of the solo players. Teresa de Laurencia appears among the solo players to save their lives. The girl reacts instantly and disposes of the iron guards. Teresa de Laurencia activates her level 4 cross skill and disarms, and then destroys all the iron guards of the ruins. The black-haired solo player with wavy hair stops crying and can't believe his good fortune to be saved. A brave, courageous, and very strong girl named Teresa de Laurencia appears in front of the solo players. The girl quickly runs her eyes and assesses the situation. 2 guards have gone through the raid teams. The non-combat units are now in danger. The girl grips her sword and dismounts because she needs to hurry up and cover the rear of the others. In the rear guard of the Forbidden Zone ruins, the porter's bags are scattered on the floor and bloodied, and the men themselves are dying. A man, one of the porters who showed a picture of his family at the beginning of the journey, sits wounded against a wall and realizes they are in trouble. The iron guards of the ruins that have appeared here begin to attack anyone who gets in their way. The man realizes they are finished. When the iron guards start swinging their iron fists, someone gives them deep cuts even on their armor. Kang Jin-hyuk pulls out his rusty dagger and tells the man that he said back in the beginning that he would return home alive. The man looks at Kang Jin-hyuk in shock and shouts out a warning to him about the Iron Guardian attacking him from behind. The Iron Guardian extends his huge and metallic arm towards Kang Jin-hyuk, who dodges it. Kang Jin-hyuk activates his level 1 fire element and accumulates his fire flame in his palm, intending to counterattack the Iron Guardian. With his fire element, Kang Jin-hyuk manages to attack the Iron Guardian and just blast him into several iron pieces. Kang Jin-hyuk looks at the Guardian that has fallen apart. He hopes that the raid team will finish him off themselves. He needs to stay on the first level, and he can't be destroyed. Kang Jin-hyuk approaches the man, who wonders how he got that level. The guy wonders who could have awakened the high-level guards, and why, for what purpose. The man is wary and at a loss as he looks at Kang Jin-hyuk, who stands in front of him with his rusty blade. Suddenly and abruptly, Teresa de Laurencia appears and snatches the man out from under Kang Jin-hyuk's nose. Kang Jin-hyuk turns around in surprise and looks at the Teresa de Laurencia who appeared and the man she took. Teresa turns to the guy and says that she thought he was a good man and he threatened the common porter with his knife. The girl begins to suspect the fact that Kang Jin-hyuk might be the one who awakened the guardians of the ruins, so she arrests him here and now. Kang Jin-hyuk points his finger in incomprehension and surprise and doesn't understand why she's saying that at all. Teresa de Laurencia attacks Kang Jin-hyuk sharply, but the guy manages to dodge, causing her sword to crash into the stone floor. The girl angrily tells Kang Jin-hyuk not to fight back because she doesn't want to hurt him. Kang Jin-hyuk wonders if she believes herself. Kang Jin-hyuk says that there was some misunderstanding, but the girl is already angry and has stopped listening to him altogether, continuing to attack him. The girl expresses to the guy that she will definitely listen to his excuses later. She swings her sword again. Kang Jin-hyuk again deftly dodges her strike and makes it look like he pushes the girl and throws her to the ground. Teresa de Laurencia flies into one of the stone slabs on the floor here and shatters it with a clatter. The girl lies on the cracked stone slab, worried and upset, and tries to recover from the impact. The girl opens her eyes when the sharp blade of Kang Jin-hyuk's rusty blade appears at her cheek. The boy says he didn't wake any guards. Kang Jin-hyuk holds his blade up to the girl's face and says that if he needed to, he would have destroyed them with his own hands. The man carrier asks Teresa why she's doing all this now because Mr. Kang Jin-hyuk saved him. The girl, awkwardly and very embarrassed, looks at the carrier man and realizes that she has done something unnecessary now. The mail carrier leaves Kang Jin-hek and Teresa de Laurencia alone with each other. The girl begins to bow bashfully as a sign of apology. Kang Jin-hek assures her that it's okay, because his actions did look very suspicious. Teresa de Laurencia walks beside Kang Jin-hyuk and asks him the reason why he is hiding his identity. Kang Jin-hyuk thoughtfully repeats her words. The girl listens in surprise about how the guy knows what she's here for and is here for the same reason himself. She invited the Zion Guild for cover, and she herself wants to secretly get the St. Peter's Treaty for her choice of profession. Kang Jin-hyuk assures the girl that he knows all the strategies to pass these ruins. The girl will help him with her skills, and the items he needs are in one place. Kang Jin-hek smugly suggests to the girl to join their efforts in passing these ruins. The girl opens her eyes wide and in surprise and is amazed at such an unexpected offer. There is some commotion among the members of the raiding party. Someone is yelling at someone, forbidding someone else to do something. Sung Jong-hwan starts yelling that they should go ahead and coordinate their actions, and someone wants to go alone. Teresa de Laurencia replies to him that according to their map, there are only 20 kilometers left and everyone knows the strategy. According to the agreement before the boss battle, everyone has the same rights. Sung Jong-hwa doesn't even have time to reply anything to the girl, so he just sighs anxiously and incomprehensibly. Teresa de Laurencia makes a smug and serious face as she looks at team head Sung Jong-hwa. Song Jong-hwan grudgingly agrees to the girl's wish, but she has to get back to them before they get to the boss's room. Teresa de Laurencia asks the team leader to let her take one of the porters with her, but he doesn't care anymore. Let her do whatever she wants as long as she gets back in time. Teresa de Laurencia turns around with a twinkle in her eye at the porters here to choose. All the men know this is a one-way ticket for them. They tell each other not to make eye contact with her, or she will definitely pick one of them. Among the crowd of porters here, Kang Jin-hyuk raises his hand, showing his desire to go with the girl. The other porters look at Kang Jin-hyuk's raised hand with doubt and judgment. All the male porters begin to grab Kang Jin-hyuk by the shoulders and talk him out of such a stupid idea. Kang Jin-hyuk asks the men if they've ever had an idea when they were young. Kang Jin-hek acts out the play, grabbing his chest and saying that right now, love is sobbing inside him, even if he loses his life because of his weakness. This whole performance is one powerful spark and lightning strike into the minds of the male bearers, who know exactly what Kang Jin-hek is talking about. The men look after Teresa de Laurencia and Kang Jin-hek, calling him the last romantic of a generation, remembering their youth. Teresa de Laurencia looks back contentedly at Kang Jin-hyuk walking next to her, who is already tired from the day. Teresa de Laurencia and Kang Jin-hyuk stop at one of the balconies, noticing the many different kinds of foul things below them. Kang Jin-hek and Teresa de Laurencia look around the room and assess the situation. The girl points her finger at the sarcophagus in the center of the room amongst the undead. She says that the Treaty of St. Peter is located there. Kang Jin-hyuk turns to the girl and asks if she understands the fact that they need to remove the protection. The girl says yes. A notice appears in front of Kang Jin-hek and Teresa de Laurencia's faces, warning them that the master of the Abode of the Fallen is watching them. Kang Jin-hek studies the notice and realizes that it's about the boss, but he's never been interested in the players, and now he's suddenly decided to show himself. Teresa de Laurencia points her finger at the notice and asks if Kang Jin-hek saw what was written. She doesn't understand what the words mean. Sweat is showing on Teresa de Laurencia's face, and she suspects that this master of the Abode of the Fallen saw them as enemies, but Kang Jin-hek denies it. Kang Jin-hek smugly points his finger at himself and says that the host just recognized him. The girl is extremely surprised at where he gets such confidence from. Teresa de Laurencia asks Kang Jin-hek about the guy knowing the way to pass. The guy replies that he has known about it for quite some time. The girl is about to say something to Kang Jin-hyuk, who looks back at her questioningly. Teresa de Laurencia asks with concern in her eyes if she really has to do it herself. All sorts of evil things continue to roam around the room of the ruins that Kang Jin-hyuk and Teresa de Laurencia have reached. Teresa de Laurencia abruptly leaps off the balcony and soars into the air, holding her sword. The girl, lightning fast, descends to the center of the circle, in the middle of the space, where various unclean things roam. When the girl appears here, she instantly attracts the attention of these undead and unclean things. Teresa de Laurencia activates the level 5 Battle Song skill that was hidden in her stat. For 10 minutes, all her stats are tripled. Kang Jin-hek points to the girl while saying that she needs to attract the undead's attention, so her task is quite simple. When the girl activates her skill and her petch starts to light up with golden energy, the attention of the undead and the unclean is instantly attracted. Kang Jin-hek instructs Teresa de Laurencia that she needs to release her divine energy, then all the attention will be on her. The girl's eyes are absorbed by the divine power, and she activates her level 5 Saint power. The girl presents her sword in front of her face and covers her eyes, spreading her divine energy around. When the unclean and undead reach and begin to touch Teresa de Laurencia's divine energy, they instantly begin to dissolve. Teresa de Laurencia's divine energy spreads everywhere, burning and dissolving various undead. The girl is very skillful and quick with her sword with divine energy to deal with uncleanness and undead. The boundless amount of unclean and undead continue to advance and attack Teresa de Laurencia. Taking advantage of such a moment, Kang Jin-hek snaps out of his seat and begins to stride over the heads of the undead towards his goal. Kang Jin-hek deftly walks over the heads of the undead and realizes that all the undead are now angry at Teresa and are directing their attention to her. The guy moves through the undead and realizes that because of her control over the mobs, he won't join and level up. At some point, some spark and lightning realization crashes into Kang Jin-hyuk's head. Something is going wrong. Suddenly, red lightning bolts start appearing from somewhere and strike right in the center of the room. In the room, right in front of everyone, elite undead appear and special dead monsters rise up. An explosion spreads throughout the space in the center of the ruins, and smoke rises up from the destruction. From the smoke from the explosion, it's as if Kang Jin-hek rises up, who realizes that now a mini-boss is finally appearing in front of them. One of the Iron Hand Guardians of the Forbidden Zone ruins appears in front of the rising Kang Jin-hek. The Iron Guardian appears out of nowhere and begins to attack Kang Jin-hek, who again deftly dodges the blows. Kang Jin-hyuk thoughtfully reasons that Durhan shouldn't be here. Most likely the conditions have changed because of Teresa. The Iron Guards of the ruins in the restricted area keep attacking the guy who dodges the blows. He thinks about the fact that he needs to consider this next time. Lich is the name of the elite undead that uses black lightning. Durhan can be dealt with easily, but you have to be more careful with flying monsters. The so-called Lich uses his magic staff and spreads black lightning throughout the room. Kang Jin-hek finds himself in the epicenter of the Iron Guard's strikes and the Lich who used the black lightning. Kang Jin-hek, with a satisfied face, dodges the punches thrown at him time and time again, and dodges the attacks. Black lightning that Lich uses flies past Kang Jin-hyuk's face and heads straight for the sarcophagus. Black lightning deals heavy damage to the sarcophagus in the center of the room and begins to destroy it, and cracks appear there. The glass on the sarcophagus begins to crack and break. Kang Jin-hyuk thinks that this kind of defense is not difficult to deal with. Black Lich frustratedly watches as the level 5 magic defense is destroyed. Kang Jin-hek once again dashes through the Iron Guards of the ruins in the restricted area with lightning speed and bullets. With a satisfied and even crazy smile, Kang Jin-hek takes out his rusty dagger and concentrates his power in it. Using his rusty dagger with his power, Kang Jin-hek slashes the many Iron Guards. Kang Jin-hek confidently holds his rusty dagger in his hands and is going to further realize his plan of action. Teresa de Laurencia continues to deal with the undead with her divine power, and soon she too will be finished. Kang Jin-hyuk is watching the skeleton closely because he is the last one left. Lich is extremely dissatisfied with what is happening. A thin and powerful beam of energy sweeps through the Lich's head and deals devastating damage. Kang Jin-hyuk observes what is happening and looks questioningly at Lich, not realizing what happened. Someone's foot steps on one of the skulls and reprimands Kang Jin-hyuk for finally finding it. A man in gray pants unknowingly steps on the skull and crushes it into crumbs under his feet. The man says that he was sure Kang Jin-hyuk would come here, the one who reads all the monster's movements like an open book. The dark-haired man in the suit points his sharp sword at the guy and tells him that it's been a long time since they've seen each other. Kang Jin-hyuk's eyes begin to light up with rage and hatred as he stares at the man in front of him. The man stands with his sword pointed at Kang Jin-hyuk, but the guy doesn't recognize him. The man says that he should remember him. The man starts to shake with anger and makes a hateful face, realizing that Kang Jin-hek doesn't remember him. Kang Jin-hek stands near the destroyed sarcophagus while the man stands nearby. Kang Jin-hek activates the Eye of Truth on the man. The effects of his stats compensate for the difference in levels, and his player status is revealed to him. The man's name is John Yu-sung. He is 28 years old and at level 29. The conditions for copying his skills is a sword fight in which he will lose and his self-confidence will crumble. In Chung Yu-sung's hands is the same iron sword of the Qianlong dynasty, a black sword with the dynasty's engraving on the blade. Kang Jin-hyuk realizes that this is the same item that went missing from the People's Museum, and perhaps Jung Yu-sung took it. He may have taken it back in the very days when Tower of Trials was still a virtual game. After Jung Yu-sung lost once to Kang Jin-hyuk, no matter where he was, the man challenged him again and again, every time. Kang Jin-hyuk points his finger at the man and realizes that it's the same battle-hungry player who now looks like a stalker. Jung Yu-sung says that the game has become a reality, so Kang Jin-hyuk couldn't recognize him. Too bad the guy underestimates him so much. Kang Jin-hyuk tiredly grabs his head and remembers what he thought of him back at the museum. Jung Yu-sung keeps challenging him to a fight only to lose. Jung Yu-sung confidently holds his iron sword in his hands and claims that this time will be different. Jung Yu-sung is confident that they are both at the very beginning of their journey now, and he has no advantage. Kang Jin-hyuk replies to him that if he wants to fight, the guy won't stop him, but isn't sure if the man can handle it. Kang Jin-hyuk points at Teresa de Laurencia and says that his partner won't just stand back and watch. Teresa de Laurencia notices a new opponent in front of her and purposefully heads towards the guys. Jung Yu-sung looks at the girl aggressively and recognizes her as a saint. Kang Jin-hyuk has an interesting partner. Jung Yu-sung isn't about to let anyone get in their way. The guy applies a level 5 battlefield selection. The man swiftly aims his iron sword and stabs into the stone floor, creating an air vortex around him. Kang Jin-hyuk gets his bearings just in time and is about to retrieve something from the sarcophagus behind him. Inside the destroyed sarcophagus, something glows a bright purple color and the guy is going to retrieve it. Teresa de Laurencia notices what's happening and loudly calls out to Kang Jin-hyuk, who is about to disappear. The guy pulls out a small and black balloon from the sarcophagus, replying to Teresa by saying that they'll see each other again soon. Teresa de Laurencia watches as Kang Jin-hyuk, along with Jung Yu-sung, disappear somewhere. Thanks to Jung Yu-sung's skill, the guys move to some other space and battlefield. Jung Yu-sung thrusts his sword up in front of his face and says that no one else will interfere with them. The man challenges Kang Jin-hyuk to a fight. Jung Yu-sung activates the level 5 duel, and all of his stats increase by 10%, while Kang Jin-hyuk's decrease by 10%. Kang Jin-hyuk watches Jung Yu-sung walking towards him and realizes that his special skills duel and battlefield selection have weakened the guy a lot. Kang Jin-hyuk smirks and thinks about how this situation has now become extremely disadvantageous to him. Because of the disadvantageous situation, special conditions appear, and the special conditions of the skill synthesis are activated. The conditions are adjusted according to the changing situation. Kang Jin-hyuk copies Jung Yu-sung's unique ability, then the conditions of copying can be fulfilled after the skill. Kang Jin-hyuk copies the unique S-rank Sword Song ability. The skills of a swordsman with this ability are increased by 200%. Also, the player's perception is greatly enhanced. While the copied ability is stored in the world memories, Jung Yu-sung demands the guy not to relax and ignore him. Kang Jin-hyuk grabs his improved rusty dagger in his hands and prepares for the upcoming battle. Kang Jin-hyuk is very quick and skillful in dodging and fending off Jung Yu-sung's sword strikes. Jung Yu-sung asks what Kang Jin-hyuk is counting on. After all, he is fighting at a medium distance, so why only use the dagger? Kang Jin-hyuk smugly answers him that a rusty dagger is enough. Sword fighting is interesting too. Jung Yu-sung is extremely unhappy that Kang Jin-hyuk is underestimating him. He activates the 6th level sword soul skill. Jung Yu-sung is very skillful with his iron sword and delivers graceful blows that have devastating effects. Kang Jin-hyuk thinks the man is trying hard, using supreme techniques in a battle with a novice. Jung Yu-sung angrily replies to Kang Jin-hyuk that he is far from a beginner anymore. He shows him an obscene gesture. Kang Jin-hyuk realizes that if he continues to parry Jung Yu-sung's attacks, his dagger will be finished. Kang Jin-hyuk pulls out the very ball he took with him from the sarcophagus. It's about time to use it. He is going to use the balloon for a skill that can resist the sword. He combines Sword Song and Demon Soul. Kang Jin-hyuk puts the balloon to his rusty dagger, and the out-of-rank fusion begins. Jung Yu-sung shields himself from the light of the fusion of the Sword Song ability and the Demon Soul item. Kang Jin-hyuk gains the unique SS rank Sword Graveyard ability in front of Jung Yu-sung. Kang Jin-hyuk's sword skills are now increased by 500%. The body only uses the most effective sword techniques. This ability is required to obtain the title Demonic Swordsman. Kang Jin-hyuk activates the 1st level Knight of the Dark Moon, but the ability only gives out about 1/10 of its power. He lacks the mana to control the power. All the while, Jung Yu-sung watches the transformations and combinations of Kang Jin-hyuk's techniques. Jung Yu-sung is amazed at the incredible power, even though he is fighting on a battlefield that is comfortable for him with the most favorable conditions possible. Jeon Yu-sung tries to fight at an unfamiliar distance to Kang Jin-hyuk, but is angry because he still can't win. Every time in and out of the game, Jeon Yu-sung tries to fight Kang Jin-hyuk and defeat him. Young Yu-sung tries his best to win every time, but he still can't beat Kang Jin-hyuk in the fight. Jeon Yu-sung starts to aggressively yell and get angry, wondering why he can't beat Kang Jin-hyuk. The man is not going to accept this situation and is going to defeat Kang Jin-hyuk by continuing his attacks. Kang Jin-hyuk stands coldly in front of the man, and all of his attacks seem to not hurt the guy at all. Kang Jin-hyuk's eyes begin to light up with a purple color, most likely due to his active sword graveyard ability. Kang Jin-hyuk continues to parry and fend off multiple attacks from Young Yu-sung like a demon that has risen. Young Yu-sung is stunned and unhappily surprised that Kang Jin-hyuk manages to parry his attacks again. At one point, Kang Jin-hyuk appears behind Young Yu-sung and says that he's already fought something stronger and faster than him, but he's had enough. Kang Jin-hyuk raises his rusty dagger up with a cold-blooded expression and is about to attack. Kang Jin-hyuk swings his dagger and attacks Jeon Yu-sung, who stops his strike with his iron sword. Jeon Yu-sung puts a lot of effort into pushing Kang Jin-hyuk's dagger away from him. He is extremely tense. Kang Jin-hyuk's rusty dagger strikes right on the hilt of the man's iron sword, where the blade starts from. Kang Jin-hyuk looks like a demon with burning red eyes in the shadows. He pushes Jeon Yu-sung away from him with ease. Young Yu-sung's iron sword flies aside and slams into the ground. Kang Jin-hyuk says that he won again, and he doesn't even know how many times he won in their fights anymore. Young Yu-sung replies to him that Kang Jin-hyuk has already defeated him 138 times. The guy asks to take his life. Kang Jin-hyuk looks smugly at Jeon Yu-sung, who lost to him again. Kang Jin-hyuk surprises the man with his answer when he tells him that next time it will be the 139th attempt. Kang Jin-hyuk tells him about how the Tower of Trials is no joke at all. Even the strongest players die here due to their carelessness. Kang Jin-hyuk says that they need players who are strong and also as persistent as Jeon Yu-sung. He holds out his hand to him. Kang Jin-hyuk extends his hand to the man while he thinks about the fact that he needs to wait another 60 days to copy the player's abilities once again. Kang Jin-hyuk is doing all these actions purely for his own benefit. He sees no point in wasting his time searching. There is an excellent target for copying abilities right next to him. Kang Jin-hyuk activates his level 1 communication ability. Young Yu-sung turns away and says that he admits his defeat this time too, but next time the outcome will be completely different. Young Yu-sung reverses the effect of the battlefield selection skill. He asks the guy his name because he still doesn't know it, but Kang Jin-hyuk doesn't want to get acquainted. Young Yu-sung is about to pick up his iron sword and says he's going to call the guy the same as before. Kang Jin-hyuk knows exactly what Jeon Yu-sung called him servilely, so he's extremely unhappy that he's going to do that. Jeon Yu-sung turns around to Kang Jin-hyuk one last time and calls him like the old-fashioned way, stinker. Kang Jin-hyuk feels very embarrassed and uncomfortable. Teresa de Laurencia is surprised that a man called him stinker. The raid team members turn to their leader Jeonhwa Hyun, asking him if they've outlasted all the monsters. The man looks at the system and says that the scanning artifact picked up something, but there shouldn't have been anything left there. All of the raid team members notice that this object is moving purposefully in their direction. A huge iron golem appears right in front of all the raid team members. The raid team members also notice that a man with long white hair and pointed ears is sitting on this iron golem. The head of the raid team, Jeonhwa Hyun, notices the man on the golem and recognizes him. The man gracefully descends from the iron golem, and the raid team members realize that they are facing a supreme vampire. The man respectfully bows to the raid team members and greets them as if they were dear guests. The man's name is Belus. The supreme vampire, Belus, says that he accompanies the master of these ruins, the Lord. He is one of the blood relatives. All members of the raid group point their swords at the high vampire and ask him why he has come here. He didn't just come out to meet them here. Belus thinks these people are rude. He realizes that Jeonhwa Hyun is the leader of this group. He came here with his offer for them. The supreme vampire, Belus, is about to touch the sword of the team leader with his finger. He gives them a choice. One of them, all of them, to follow him without interruption. The man pauses languidly before giving them a second choice and touches the tip of the sharp sword with his finger. The supreme vampire, Belus, activates a blood plague of unknown level and spreads it throughout the room. All members of the raid team ask the team leader what's going on and what's wrong with their bodies. A blood plague envelops everything around them. The head of the raid team, Jeonhwa Hyun, is horrified and wary as he watches the blood plague spread. The supreme vampire Belus gives them a second choice. Only half will go with him, and he'll just eat the rest. Jeon Yu-sung stands silently leaning against the wall while Teresa de Laurencia and Kang Jin-hyuk sit on the stone floor with some kind of artifact. Teresa de Laurencia uses her level 5 Power of the Saint skill and illuminates some object with her energy. In front of her is an icy tear, which when absorbed enhances magic, but if purification is not applied, can severely harm the player. Mana increases by 12. Kang Jin-hyuk looks at his hands and thinks about the glaciated tear he received, along with the demon soul. It can't be used immediately after receiving it, but thanks to Teresa de Laurencia's holy power, he has already obtained 12 stats. The guy is happy with the result. Teresa de Laurencia notices an invitation from the master of the abode in front of her. Upon accepting the invitation, all traps and monsters are deactivated. Teresa is completely shocked. They need to go to the farthest room to rescue the squad members who have been taken hostage. Teresa de Laurencia bows her head and says they need to act. If she can save even one, she can't hesitate. Teresa de Laurencia clenches her fist tightly and is about to say something, but pauses for a long moment. The girl wonders the main question is whether they can defeat this Lord Master of the abode. The girl suspects that they may fall into a trap prepared in advance for them. She realizes that without a raid team, there is no point in her thinking that there is a possibility and probability of defeating the Lord. The girl thinks about whether the outcome would have been different had she been around. She joined the warband as a paladin to protect the players. Teresa de Laurencia stands between the guys in her dark musings and thinks she might have made the wrong choice. Jeong Yu-sung exhales heavily and says that none of this has anything to do with him, so he'll go. Jeong Yu-sung walks past the girl and tells her that if she's having a hard time making a decision, she should listen to what he has to say. He looks at Kang Jin-hyuk and says that this man doesn't have an ounce of honor, he's just plain selfish. For that, he really hates him. But aside from all the other flaws and nuances, there is something extremely special about Kang Jin-hyuk. Jeong Yu-sung assures Teresa that the only one who can defeat this lord is Kang Jin-hake. Jeong Yu-sung gives Teresa all the instructions she needs and gives her opinion, then leaves. Teresa de Laurencia bites her lips nervously and hides her eyes under her bangs. The girl ponders the man's words. Teresa de Laurencia thinks it over extremely quickly and follows Jeong Yu-sung to thank him for his advice. The girl walks up to Kang Jin-hyuk and grabs his hand. She tells him that she will accept the invitation of the master of the abode. Kang Jin-hyuk smugly makes his arms at his sides and says that his services are worth quite a bit. The girl confidently clenches her fist and says she'll pay him as much as he needs, as long as he helps. It's like Kang Jin-hyuk expected such a request from the girl and realizes that she'll still go there no matter what. Teresa de Laurencia and Kang Jin-hyuk bump their fists and accept the quest with an invitation, and the monsters go into hibernation. Teresa de Laurencia, in company with Kang Jin-hyuk, come to the farthest room and a huge and tall gate appears before them. Teresa stands before this gate and feels that there is just an unreal amount of mana here. Kang Jin-hyuk reassures the girl that there is no need to be scared because they have an idea of their opponent and his power. Teresa de Laurencia asks the guy if he has a plan. Kang Jin-hyuk says that the strongest man doesn't always win. Kang Jin-hyuk looks very confident and says that he already has a plan prepared. A huge gate opens in front of the faces of the guy and the girl, and Kang Jin-hyuk tells her that no matter what, she should trust him and believe in him. Teresa de Laurencia and Kang Jin-hyuk walk into this room that was hidden behind this gate. The stairs to the throne appear before them. Teresa and Kang Jin-hyuk walk across the room and head straight to the bone throne above the stairs. There on the throne, a supreme vampire named Bellis, with long white hair and pointed ears, is already waiting for them. He smirks contentedly. The supreme vampire watches Kang Jin-hyuk and Teresa heading towards him and says that he's glad to see them here, or he was already waiting for them. Sitting on the throne is a beautiful and young girl with black wings. This is the same Lord Alice von Ataraxia. The girl with red eyes tiredly rests her chin on her palm and says that she is already tired of waiting. Kang Jin-hyuk coldly asks Alice von Ataraxia if the raid team members and the others are all right. The girl offers him to look and see for himself, pointing upward with her finger. The girl applies a dimension gap of unknown level and can be seen bound people appearing in space as hostages. Kang Jin-hyuk's eyes light up with some kind of yellow color, and Teresa peeks out from behind his shoulder and watches him in surprise. Kang Jin-hyuk notices among the bound hostages the very same Pak Ha-jin who shouldn't be here. Kang Jin-hyuk studies the hostages and realizes that it was Pak Ha-jin who awakened these guards. Alice von Ataraxia says that she invited Kang Jin-hyuk here because of the smell that comes from him. The player's girl shifts her foot over and says that she sensed the sweetness in him that she feels for the first time. The girl gambles and playfully puts her finger to her lips and says that she was very taken by the smell of his blood. Alice von Ataraxia licks her finger and says that his smell is not comparable to that of ordinary people. That sweet and arousing scent of hers. Kang Jin-hek is alarmed and uncomfortable because the Lord is talking about some sweet blood because it's never happened before. Lord Girl Alice von Ataraxia smiles contentedly and playfully when she realizes that Kang Jin-hek is alarmed. The guy tilts his head in embarrassment and puts a finger to it. Of course, when a vampire talks about blood, a person can't be calm. The girl tells him not to worry, as she eats the delicious stuff very slowly. He will manage to live for another 60 years. Kang Jin-hyuk realizes what it all means. She puts a tube down his throat and keeps it to herself. He refuses to live as an expensive lunch. When Alice von Ataraxia points some long and thin ray at Kang Jin-hek, the guy abruptly and deftly withdraws his shoulder from it. This long and thin ray burns a notch in the stone surface. The girl lord says that his opinion is of no consequence. Lord Alice von Ataraxia aggressively puts a finger with her power forward and says that Kang Jin-hyuk has no other choice. Teresa de Laurencia stands behind Kang Jin-hyuk and asks him if he's okay. The guy replies that he's fine. Kang Jin-hek starts smiling smugly and says that he's not scared, because he's not just saying all this for no reason either. Kang Jin-hek gets down on one knee in front of the Lord and says he'll give her something sweeter than blood. Teresa doesn't realize what he's doing. Lord Alice von Ataraxia smirks and laughs at such words, for there is nothing sweeter than blood. The girl says that Kang Jin-hyuk can stop sucking up. Nothing is more important to them than blood. No matter what he proposes, her opinion won't change. Kang Jin-hek confidently raises his gaze to the vampire girl, suggesting her to think again about his proposal. After all, he is willing to offer her freedom. Lord Alice von Ataraxia's gaze changes drastically and expresses shock at what she has heard. She clearly did not expect such an offer from Kang Jin-hyuk. All of Lord Alice von Ataraxia's servants start shouting out that Kang Jin-hyuk dare not speak of such a thing at all. It would tear him apart. Lord Alice von Ataraxia raises his hand up, showing it to the servants. This gesture tells the others to shut up immediately. The girl Alice von Ataraxia confidently gets to her feet and shows herself in front of Kang Jin-hyuk. She says that the guy better back up his words with deeds. Kang Jin-hek shows his respect by standing on one knee and bowing his head in front of the girl. Kang Jin-hek says that if he wasn't responsible for his words, he just wouldn't have come here. The girl Lord Alice von Ataraxia notices such confidence from the guy and is willing to listen to what he has to say. A mask appears in the guy's hands, which he is about to put on himself. The guy introduces himself as Kang Jin-hek. Kang Jin-hek brings the mask up to his face and says that he swears in front of the girl as a representative of the Manga. The guy puts his mask on his face, on which a notch in the shape of a lightning bolt appears. He swears that he will free Lord Alice von Ataraxia. This masked man is someone who has turned his back on the rest of the people because of money, revenge, and personal beliefs. The Mayans looked like grim fighters. They prevented players from climbing the Tower of Trials. Among other things, the Mangas helped all the monsters in the labyrinths and ruins. Lord Alice von Ataraxia looks at Kang Jin-hyuk thoughtfully and says that she has heard of the Mangas. She asks if he is one of them. With a mask on his face, Kang Jin-hyuk talks about making a connection with the temple on the 27th floor. Kang Jin-hek reveals that the Lord is here, how to cheat the barrier that covered the ruins. Everything was told to him there. Teresa de Laurencia watches Kang Jin-hek and doesn't understand what it all means and why Kang Jin-hek said he is a Manga. All of the servants and minions of the Lord, for some reason, become abruptly agitated upon hearing about the temple. The girl lord says that since he knows about the temple, the guy is definitely not bluffing. Kang Jin-hyuk asks if the girl will believe him. Around the girl, blood rises into the air. She's not going to believe him because there's no difference if he's a Manga or not. For centuries, they've stayed locked up here, so it's all idle chatter. The girl makes it known that she doesn't like talkers. Alice von Ataraxia doesn't believe him and activates a blood orb of unknown level. The girl's eyes light up with excitement, and she says that Kang Jin-hyuk's blood smelled so sweet. She's really sorry for the way things turned out. With her created blood spears, the girl is going to attack Kang Jin-hyuk to destroy. Kang Jin-hyuk continues to act cold-blooded and doesn't move as many bloody spears fly at him. Teresa de Laurencia abruptly appears in front of Kang Jin-hek to protect him from Lord Alice von Ataraxia's attack. Teresa de Laurencia activates her level 5 Saint Power skill and is about to confront the vampiress. Teresa's ability makes a huge protective barrier appear that stops the vampiress' bloody spears. Teresa de Laurencia orders Kang Jin-hyuk to stay within the barrier as she continues to hold the barrier. Teresa de Laurencia is a bit wary, but hopes that her divine power can handle this attack of the vampiress. After these manipulations, the girl strengthens her barrier and activates a level 5 sacred shield. Lord Alice von Ataraxia starts laughing at the way Teresa lays out against the normal attack. The girl then stops laughing and takes her hand away from her mouth. She begins to get angry. Lord Alice von Ataraxia begins to bare his fangs and says he hates everything holy. Lord Alice von Ataraxia activates a blood blast of unknown level. She plans to destroy everyone in one blow. Teresa de Laurencia lifts her head up and watches the vampiress attacks. She wonders how long she will last in a case like this. Some kind of insight comes into Teresa de Laurencia's head, and she believes the best that can be. Kang Jin Hyuk's rusty dagger plunges sharply into Teresa de Laurencia's chest, penetrating through her through and through. Teresa de Laurencia starts crying and squints at Kang Jin Hyuk in horror, not realizing what he's doing. Kang Jin Hyuk, wearing a Manus mask with a lightning bolt on it, stabs Teresa in the chest with his rusty dagger, showing this picture to the vampiress. Lord Alice von Ataraxia sighs thoughtfully and watches Kang Jin Hyuk, trying to figure out what he means by this. Kang Jin Hyuk pulls out his rusty dagger and says that if he proves to her that this isn't all a bluff, will she believe him? Lord Alice von Ataraxia finds this all interesting. She notices that Kang Jin Hyuk has betrayed the comrade who is protecting him. She demands to prove it all with something else. Teresa de Laurencia's hand in Iron Knight armor grabs Kang Jin Hyuk by the pant leg. The girl tells Kang Jin Hyuk with the last of her strength that they promised to save the squad members. Could it be that this is his whole plan? Kang Jin Hyuk looks at the girl through his main mask, listening to her extreme words for the moment. Kang Jin Hyuk swings his rusty dagger again and is about to strike another blow at Teresa de Laurencia. The girl's knight shield is splattered with the thick blood of Teresa de Laurencia that Kang Jin Hyuk stabbed with his rusty dagger. Teresa de Laurencia's blood also splatters the Manus mask on Kang Jin Hyuk. Lord Alice von Ataraxia tries to contain her laughter as she watches Kang Jin Hyuk's actions. The girl starts laughing loudly and resoundingly. She realizes that Kang Jin Hyuk is on her side and will give him a chance to explain himself. The guy holds up the Bram ring and says to cheat the barrier that is preventing them, he prepared a special spell. The guy shows the Lord the Braham ring and says that if they place your soul in this ring, they will be able to cheat the barrier for a short while. Lord Alice von Ataraxia hears for the first time in her life that you can seal your soul into this ring. There's a reason why Kang Jin Hyuk was giving up all experience points and staying with level 1. The reason that stopped the guy in such a case was the use of the soul relocation skill. Thanks to all his manipulations and sticking to his prepared plan of action, the guy managed to reach Lord Alice von Ataraxia. Kang Jin Hyuk channels his energy and creates a magical triangle in front of him. Only a first-level player can activate the soul movement skill. The player Kang Jin Hyuk meets all the conditions, and so the magic circle of soul movement is activated. The recharge of the shield will trigger after a year, and only one soul can be sealed at a time. Kang Jin Hyuk turns to the Lord and says that the magic circle will disappear in a minute. If the girl gives her consent, the spell will work. The decision is up to the Lord. Apparently, Lord Alice von Ataraxia didn't believe in Kang Jin Hyuk's words and actions until the last, but now she has a choice to make. The Lord's minions and servants have been watching from the sidelines and now see with their own eyes how this magic circle is being used. Lord Alice von Ataraxia uses her telekinesis and mentally calls out to her loyal servant Bayless. The girl tells him that it's rather difficult to trust Kang Jin Hyuk in this situation. The girl asks Bayless to destroy Kang Jin Hyuk and the magic circle if the guy does something suspicious. The girl is going to take that step and trust her life to Kang Jin Hyuk. She has been imprisoned for too long. It's been over 1,000 years. If she doesn't do it now, she may never be able to get out of this dungeon again. She's going outside the magic circle. Lord Alice von Ataraxia points her finger at Kang Jin Hyuk and asks him one last time if she can trust him. Kang Jin Hyuk extends his hand to the lady and says that if she trusts him, she will never regret it. Alice von Ataraxia and Kang Jin Hyuk's fingers touch, and the guy uses his level 1 communication skill. The girl shows interest in Kang Jin Hyuk. The girl listens to every last word the guy says and says she'll let him use her soul movement. Braham's ring instantly reacts to her words and starts activating its magic power. Alice von Ataraxia's soul moves into the Braham ring. The magic circle seems to suck the girl into itself, dissolving her silhouette in the air. From the Braham ring comes her voice. She thought it would be uncomfortable inside it, but it's quite cozy here. Kang Jin-hek carefully and cautiously lifts the Braham ring with Alice von Ataraxia's soul from the floor and says he's glad. Kang Jin-hek expresses his satisfaction that the vampire girl likes her new home. Teresa de Laurencia tries to get to her feet and activates her Patronize the Heavens ability. The girl does manage to get her body to her feet. In front of her, she sees Kang Jin-hyuk standing in the center of the visitation. The maying mask on Kang Jin-hyuk's face begins to fade away, seemingly dissolving into thin air. He tells Teresa, "Welcome back." Teresa uses her Heaven's Protection ability, with which she can bring a fallen and dead person back to life. The girl smiles contentedly and sweetly at Kang Jin-hyuk and is already standing on her feet more confidently. Kang Jin-hyuk dissolves the mask on his face as he won't be needing it anymore. The ring lord starts yelling that the guy doesn't dare treat her like that. Kang Jin-hek tucks his Braham ring into his pocket, from where the lord's voice screams for Bellis to destroy this vile deceiver. Teresa de Laurencia turns to the guy and says she has a lot of questions, but it's probably best to ask them later. Kang Jin-hek picks up his rusty dagger again and says that now is not the best time or place for questions. The supreme vampire and blood relative of Alice von Ataraxia calls these Shay people stupid. He plans to destroy them. The supreme vampire Belus activates a level 13 blood wave. He is not going to let them live after they betrayed his master. The entire space of the ruins is enveloped by a powerful and thick blood wave, with Teresa and Kang Jin-hek standing in the middle of it. Kang Jin-hek is about to confront the supreme vampire Belus by activating his level 5 fire element. Kang Jin-hek leans on one knee and directs his fire flame to underneath, spreading it around him. Kang Jin-hek spreads his fire element over the supreme vampire's blood wave, then pulls out his rusty dagger. Kang Jin-hek is going to confront the supreme vampire, and Teresa de Laurencia is instructed to save the raid team members. Teresa de Laurencia moves to the bound and restrained members of the raid team to rescue them. Teresa de Laurencia walks to the team leader and activates her level 4 cross skill. The raid team leader gratefully relieves herself and asks where the vampires are now. Teresa is glad they weren't too late. Teresa de Laurencia turns her attention to Kang Jin-hyuk and says that he is confronting the vampires alone. The supreme vampire is surprised that some ordinary human was able to repel his special magic. Kang Jin-hyuk explains to him that his fire and his magic have extinguished each other. Belus doesn't seem to understand anything at all. He continues that the moment he was imprisoned from the mistress, then all of her minions had already lost. He pulls out his rusty dagger again, the blade of which shines brightly. When Kang Jin-hek activates his unique Sword Graveyard ability, Belus activates a level 9 Dark Martial Art. He's going to destroy the guy with his sword since it doesn't come out with magic. All of the vampire minions begin their attack and screamingly demand Kang Jin-tung to release their lord. The raid team leader watches Kang Jin-hyuk, shocked and surprised, and calls out to Teresa. A drop of sweat drips down on the team leader's face. He looks at Kang Jin-hyuk and the vampires in horror and worry. Kang Jin-hyuk manages to dispose of most of the minions. The head of the raid team asks who this guy is. Teresa thinks that since he's still wearing the mask, it means he doesn't want to reveal his identity. She doesn't know much about Kang Jin-hek, and they met completely by chance. Kang Jin-hek dispatches Lord Alice von Ataraxia's henchmen with deftness and ease and returns to the boys. Teresa de Laurencia tells the guy that it hurt. It was the first time she died, so also at the hands of an ally. Kang Jin-hyuk asks if they made it through. Teresa de Laurencia, smilingly but a little upset, lowers her head and says they made it through. A stream of tears begins to flow down Teresa de Laurencia's face as she looks at Kang Jin-hyuk. Kang Jin-hek watches Teresa de Laurencia closely and dissolves his mask on his face. The girl starts crying and thanks Kang Jin-hek for keeping everyone alive thanks to him. All the conditions are met, and the guy manages to copy and save the SS rank Heaven's Protection ability in the memories of the world. This divine protection allows him to avoid being killed. Kang Jin-hyuk asks Teresa what she's crying about, but she says the tears are flowing on their own. Teresa de Laurencia turns to Kang Jin-hek and suspects that the guy knew in advance that she would be resurrected. Kang Jin-hek says he's just glad she survived. He pulls back the curtain and says it's about time for them to take the relics and get the hell out of here. Group leader Song Jonghwa says that the rights to the relics from this raid belong to the guild. Kang Jin-hyuk, disgruntled, turns to the team leader and says that he saved their lives, and he's also demanding the relics. Team leader Song Jonghwa says that's not what he meant. He'll pay the guy with money or something, he won't be left out. Kang Jin-hyuk thinks about how even after the defeat, their leader is still acting cocky. He doesn't like him. Kang Jin-hyuk points his finger at the relics and says that if they need it so badly, they can have it all. When team leader Sung Jong-hwa is already on his way to the relics, Kang Jin-hyuk warns him that they might not be satisfied with the result. The head of the raid team, Song Jong-hwa, is perplexed and surprised as he turns around and doesn't realize what regret he's talking about. One of the sacred relics for passing the ruins is a fragment of Merlin's staff, which is a material. Song Jong-hwa thinks about the fact that even though most of the members were held hostage, they will be able to regain their credibility by bringing a good loot. Team leader. Song Chong-hwa smugly reaches his hand towards the wreckage of Merlin's staff to touch it. Some sort of red mark appears on team leader Song Jong-hwa's hand, and the staff fragment itself with black lightning bolts pushes the raid team leader away. Song Jong-hwa looks closely at the red mark on his palm and asks what it is. Kang Jin-hyuk tells him that it's a curse. Even though Merlin's staff is a precious relic, there is a curse on it. Kang Jin-hyuk continues that if Alice were to disappear completely, he would be safe. However, Alice is now banned from the ring. The head of the raid team, Sung Jong-hwa, abruptly grabs the back of his head because something wrong is happening to him. Teresa de Laurencia covers her mouth with her hand and anxiously watches team head Sung Jong-hwa. When team head Song Jong-hwa doesn't realize what's going on with him, Kang Jin-hyuk takes the girl's hand and is about to lead her away from here. In Seoul, at the entrance to the Test Tower, awakened association manager Young Jae-hyun holds up a coffee and asks the department head if the words of that guy can be trusted. The man opens his pack of cigarettes and is about to take one out of there to smoke. He asks everyone to wait and not to be outraged so immediately. Department head Kim Dae-chun lights his cigarette and says that they got the message, and at least they should get something. Manager Young Jae-hyun tells him that the experts have reported that the raid will last at least 3 weeks. Kim Dae-chun says he's worried that the man isn't from the Parquet Guild, but he's got some kind of gut feeling. Department head Kim Dae-chun pulls out his gas lighter and tries to light it to light a cigarette. A notice appears in front of the department head's face that the ruins of the abode of the fallen have been cleaned up. In Seoul, a magical portal appears at the entrance to the Tower of Trials, from which all members of the raid team emerge. All the members of the Awakened Association who are here notice the members of the Parquet Guild. Instantly, cameras and phones rise in the air. Everyone congratulates the guys for clearing the ruins of the first floor. Everyone wonders what strategy they used. Questions erupt from the crowd about who was the best player in clearing the ruins. They notice the raid team leader coming out. The raid team leader, Sung Jong-hwa, has all of his hair fallen out, including his eyebrows and eyelashes. His partners cover for him and tell him that the ruins are scary, dangerous, and unpredictable. One of the employees holds a pen and notepad in his hands. Upon seeing the balding head of the raid team, the man begins to cry. Everyone is very curious about what happened there, inside the ruins where the raid team was conducting its sweep. Teresa de Laurencia appears in front of the cameras and addresses everyone and says that it wasn't the raid team that cleaned up the ruins. All the people try to ask her if it was the Zion Guild, but Teresa denies it. Someone else comes out of the magic portal. Kang Jin-hyuk, whose face is hidden by a mask, appears in front of Teresa de Laurencia. The girl claims that the guy almost single-handedly handled the ruins. Teresa de Laurencia talks about how all the members of the raid team were just watching from the sidelines as this mysterious masked man massacred them. Awakened Association Manager John Jae-hyun says to call their association leader. Park Ha-jin squints at Kang Jin-hyuk with a bandaged head, realizing that they barely survived. If it wasn't for the masked player, they would have definitely died. All the members of the ruins cleanup raid team turn around and are about to leave this place to go home. Kang Jin-hyuk makes himself some instant noodles and reads what's been written about him on the forums and news. Kang Jin-hyuk is about to start his meal and knew it would become a topic of discussion, but not to this extent. Good thing he was wearing a mask. Kang Jin-hyuk brings up the fact that Teresa de Laurencia knows his face, but promised to keep it a secret. One cannot worry. Kang Jin-hyuk finishes his meal and finishes his noodles, leaving the empty box and chopsticks on the table. Kang Jin-hyuk takes out the Braham ring hanging on a chain. He wonders if it's time to talk to the trapped vampire. From the Brahm ring comes the voice of Alice von Ataraxia, who resents how the guy dared to put it in a dark and smelly pocket. Kang Jin-hyuk wishes a devilish expression on his face and starts shaking the chain with the ring, giving the girl an earthquake. Kang Jin-hyuk continues to taunt the vampiress and twists the chain with the ring even harder. The girl says she feels dizzy. Kang Jin-hyuk gives the girl a whipping, but soon stops shaking the ring. He asks if she's come to her senses. Alice von Ataraxia tells Kang Jin-hyuk to put himself in her shoes and think, and after all, vampires never forget a grudge. Kang Jin-hyuk thinks about shaking the ring again. The girl demands him to stop and orders him not to do that again. Kang Jin-hyuk says that the girl still hasn't realized anything. He starts shaking the ring even harder, and the girl is about to throw up. Kang Jin-hek devilishly unwinds the chain with the ring, giving the vampiress a carousel of doom. He's enjoying it. Alice von Ataraxia begins to sink into this earthquake and seem to dissolve into space from the violent shaking. 3 hours later, Kang Jin-hek finally puts the chain ring on the table, taunting the vampiress. Kang Jin-hek tells Alice von Araxia to stop roaring and come out. He releases the power from the Brahm ring. Instead of the Brahm ring, Lord Alice von Araxia appears in front of Kang Jin-hek, whom he releases. The girl gets to her feet, saying that it's finally time for revenge. She'll pay him back 1,000-fold. Kang Jin-hyuk leans his back and arms on the table and looks at little Alice von Araxia. The girl resents being so much smaller. The guy explains to her that he only materialized a part of the girl. The girl doesn't understand what part means. He says that she can be called a mini version of Alice, who can use barely 1% of her power. Kang Jin-hyuk thinks about how, even though he put a restriction on her, she's still stronger than any vampire. Lord Alice von Araxia falls to the floor and covers her eyes with her palms because she starts crying. Kang Jin-hyuk turns to the girl and tells her to stop crying and listen to him. What he said in the ruins are not empty words. Alice von Araxia continues to cry and demands him to stop crying because this isn't the kind of freedom she wanted. Kang Jin-hyuk says that he knows it's not freedom, but he will give him the true freedom that the girl longs for. The girl Alice von Araxia puts her sad gaze down and continues to cry. Suddenly, the girl's eyes light up with hope, and she asks what Kang Jin-hek means. Kang Jin-hek tells her that if she helps him destroy those who betrayed her, he will give her back her place as the head of the Araxia clan. A new video is uploaded to the honor roll about a raid that was supposed to fail. However, the masked player who appears has completely changed the situation. People are admiringly discussing the masked guy's confrontation with the vampires and the Lord in the comments. Kang Jin-hyuk is holding his phone and cocking his head up. He knows that many guilds have a lot of money indeed. Kang Jin-hek walks up to one of the tall buildings in Seoul. He realizes that all of this seems to be true. Kang Jin-hek is about to put his mask back on, but he's not going to get involved in the guild's affairs or the squabbles between them because he doesn't care about them. Kang Jin-hek breaks down the door at the entrance of the tall building with a bang. They all wanted to destroy him, and he's not going to forgive. Kang Jin-hek appears in front of many guards that are in that tall building. Kang Jin-hek uses his fire element and is going to direct the fire flames to attack. Kang Jin-hek says that for all of this, he will just tear everyone to shreds. He accumulates his fire element in his palm. Shin Gun-soo is sitting on the top floor of the building, covering his face with one palm in anger and calling someone names. Park Han-jin stands with his head resting on the floor. Shin Gun-soo let him know that someone should have died in those ruins, but the guy did the exact wrong thing. Shin Gun-soo thumps his fist loudly on the table and says that Park Han-jin woke up the guards, but ended up accomplishing nothing. Shin Gong-soo, the head of the Black Raven Guild, says that because of some lunatic they can't handle, their guild is losing reputation and may cease to exist altogether. Shin Gun-soo kicks Park Han-jin with his foot and continues to call him bad names in every way possible. 2 bodyguards stand at the door to the guild leader's office, where the sounds of fighting and blows can be heard. Suddenly, the panoramic window in the guild head's office breaks with an explosion that repels the men as well. Some men's boots appear from somewhere. Some man sneaks in with an explosion. Kang Jin-hyuk, wearing a mask to hide his identity, appears here and asks if there is a master of this guild here. Park Han-jin lies upside down, and guild head Shin Gun soon starts yelling for someone to grab this guy already. Park Han-jin rises to his feet abruptly and realizes that now is the opportunity to restore honor in the face of the head. Park Han-jin rises into the air and flies at Kang Jin-hek to restore his name as Park Han-jin's Super Hands. Kang Jin-hek takes off his mask so Park Han-jin can see his face. The guy smiles contentedly and greets him. Kang Jin-hek punches Park Han-jin in the face. Out of surprise, the guy doesn't even have time to react. Park Han-jin flies into one of the cabinets in the guild leader's office after being hit by Kang Jin-hyuk. Shin Gun-soon points his finger at Kang Jin-hyuk and says that he's the reason they lost their position in the association. He can't just strut around here. Kang Jin-hyuk smugly sits down on the couch. He turns to Shin Gun-soon and says that's not what he has to worry about right now. Guild head Shin. Gun-soon's eyes begin to express his anger, hatred, and aggressiveness. Shin Gong-soon's hands reach for his long sword in its sheath that is in his office. Shin Gong-soon activates his level 5 sword flash ability to attack Kang Jin-hyuk. Shin Gong-sun notices Kang Jin-hyuk's calm, relaxed, and cool demeanor even though he is in danger. Shin Gong soon brings the tip of his sharp sword towards Kang Jin-hyuk's face, who does not react in any way. Suddenly, some powerful current pierces through Shin Gong-soon's sword and breaks its blade. Guildhead Shin Gong-soo realizes that the guy used an ordinary Korean checker to shatter his sword. On the table in front of Kang Jin-hyuk is an ordinary vase filled with checkers. The guy says that they're very convenient to throw. Kang Jin-hyuk twirls one of the checkers in his fingers and brazenly puts his feet on Guildhead Shin Gun-soon's table. Kang Jin-hyuk smirks and suggests to Shin Gong-sun to finally start their conversation already. Guildhead Shin Gong soon stands up on the table and approaches Kang Jin-hyuk while simultaneously calling out to him. Shin Gong-soon swings his broken sword and asks if Kang Jin-hyuk came to take revenge on him because he ordered his destruction. All over the building, Kang Jin-hyuk leaves behind devastation and dead people. Kang Jin-hyuk drinks a Korean checker with his magic power and is about to throw it at the guild leader. Kang Jin-hyuk violently throws the Korean checker, which hits the guild head Shin Gun-soon in the forehead. From the Korean checker hitting his forehead, Guildhead Shin Gong soon falls on his back right on the floor in his own office. Kang Jin-hyuk picks up another saber and glares furiously at the Guildhead. He says that his words are completely out of place right now. Guildhead Shin Gun soon lies on the floor and says that all of this is enough already. Kang Jin-hyuk says that he's not going to stop in the middle. A checker mark remains on Shin Gun-soon's forehead. He says that the guy needs to be more objective since they have a lot of rankers in the tower. Kang Jin-hyuk calmly lets the guild head Shin Gun soon speak and listens to him carefully. The guild head says that even if the guy takes his life, there are a lot of people who will chase after him for revenge. Apparently, Kang Jin-hyuk doesn't understand what that means at all. Blood for blood, revenge begets revenge. Until one side forgives the other, there will be no end to the endless bloodshed. Kang Jin-hyuk runs his fingers over the checkers and says that Shin Gun-soon's words make sense. Blood and revenge will prevent a peaceful sleep. Kang Jin-hyuk picks up a few checkers at once and suggests that guild head Shin Gor-sun is already finished. Kang Jin-hyuk uses the fire element in the hand that holds the checkers. He says that he will retaliate and their side will forgive and finish the battle. Kang Jin-hyuk starts raising many checkers in the air, and when he's about to attack, Shin Gong-soon asks what the point of this is. Guild head Shin Gong soon starts to tense up and asks Kang Jin-hyuk in horror to wait. Kang Jin-hyuk puts his palm forward and starts launching many Korean checkers at once. Kang Jin-hyuk channeled a powerful force into these checkers. When he attacks the guild head, the man flies into the window from the impact and shatters it. Kang Jin-hyuk, smugly but grudgingly, looks through the broken window, following the guild leader. Kang Jin-hyuk briefly stands by the broken window and at some point turns around to leave. Kang Jin-hyuk walks over to Park Han-jun, who is lying on the floor and starts shaking with fear. Kang Jin-hyuk tells him that his sister Park Ha-na has done a lot of good, so it's only because of her that he kept Park Han-jin himself alive. Kang Jin-hyuk tells him that it would be best if he stays out of his sight for the rest of his life. Park Han-jin continues to lie face down on the floor and listen to Kang Jin-hyuk without answering him anything. Kang Jin-hyuk calls out to one of the guards who is pretending to be dead. Kang Jin-hyuk tells him that if the man proves himself useful, he will keep him alive. He demands to know about himself. The man says his name is Kim Hee-woon, and he's 26 years old. He does general work in the guild. He studied IT and accounting at Stanford. He can be assigned to anything. Kang Jin-hyuk turns to face the man and says he's quite diligent. He says that the situation here isn't good at all. Kang Jin-hyuk tells him that it's not really profitable to destroy a guild like this, so he wants to give it to the man. Kim Hee-woon doesn't understand what the guy means. Kang Jin-hyuk tells him not to worry so much about it. He'll just be the official representative. Kim Hee-woon doesn't see any point in that because no one will follow him at all, even if he becomes a guild master. Kang Jin-hyuk explains that if an ordinary member suddenly gets a high position, everyone will be against it. Kang Jin-hyuk tells him not to worry about those who won't accept. The man asks if the guy can handle them on his own. Kang Jin-hyuk holds on to his Bram ring on a chain and says he doesn't want any unnecessary trouble. He'll lend him something. Someone is holding his phone and reading messages saying that all players of rank above A need to gather on the top floor of the tower. A red-haired man with a scar is gritting his teeth because the top floor knows they're busy after all, so why call them now? The Black Raven Guild players react to the message about the meeting and are about to go to the top floor. These men are all A-rank players of the Black Raven Guild. They look disgruntled and furious. A red-haired man with a scar approaches some pandemonium and tries to figure out why everyone is gathered here. The department head shushes the people, grabbing them by the shoulders. He asks why they're piled up in front of a strange building. The body of Shin Gun. Soon, the head of the Black Raven Guild lies on a crushed car. A red-haired man with a scar is shocked by what he sees and calls out to the head of the Black Raven Guild. Their guild head is dead, and on the top floor lie the bodies of people who have already been taken from their lives. A red-haired man with a scar panics as he skips into the guild leader's office and wonders who then gave the order for the players to come up here. The eyes of the red-haired man with the scar looks at the guild leader's desk, and something is very, very, very alarming. The red-haired man with the scar notices Kim Hee-woon sitting at the desk of their deceased guild head. The red-haired scarred man instantly recreates his sword in midair and is about to attack Kim Hee-woon with it. Kim Hee-woon jumps up sharply from his chair to dodge the strike from the department head and his sword. The red-haired man with the scar grabs the man by his tie and demands that he tell everything without leaving out any details. Kim Hee-woon anxiously replies to the red-haired man with the scar and says that there's a new owner. The red-haired man with the scar asks in surprise who the new owner is. Alice von Araxia stands at the window and says how much everyone pisses her off. A smaller version of Alice von Araxia stands at the window and turns to the men. She says she doesn't need to start first. The red-haired man with the scar turns to Kim Hin-woon again and says that it's nonsense that the little girl is blowing this place up. Saying that the girl is petty really sets her off and stresses her out a lot afterward. Alice von Araxia makes a disgruntled and furious look on her face, asking the man who he called petty here. The department head turns his attention to the enraged girl and becomes alarmed. A bright flash of light appears in the panoramic window of the tall Black Raven Guild building. After the bright flash of light, there is a loud and violent explosion. Kang Jin-hyuk turns toward the building where the explosion is coming from. People realize that it's coming from where the man fell from. Kang Jin-hyuk shamefully covers his face with the palm of his hand and says that he only gave the guild to Alice, and she's already been dabbling in this kind of thing since the beginning. Kang Jin-hyuk takes out his phone, which makes a ringing sound. He reads a message that he is invited for a secondary test on a certain date and time. It's been about 2 months since the test tower appeared. The world was changing rapidly, and people were quickly adapting to the changes. The news showed that masked man everywhere because he sparked interest by single-handedly mopping up ruins that large units couldn't handle. Only 2 people know that the masked man is Kang Jin-hyuk and was actually a porter. The first is the leader of the porters, Uncle Kim. Kang Jin-hyuk asked him to keep it a secret. Teresa de Laurencia also made a promise to Kang Jin-hyuk that she would keep it all a secret. Kang Jin-hyuk knows that there is him with the mask and there is him without it. This way it will be much easier for him to act. Kang Jin-hyuk comes to the Awakened Association again. All his preparations are finished, and there are no more restrictions. Kang Jin-hyuk walks smugly and with a smile on his face into the Awakened Association building. It is the time of his power. Kang Jin-hyuk looks at his simple certificate on his phone, which confirms the passing of this player's test. As Kang Jin-hyuk looks at his certificate with a serious face, someone calls out to him from the side. Kang Jin-hyuk is greeted by his comrades Yu Yun-hwa and Yi Dai-min. The guys tell him that they've managed to get a little pumped up here. Yu Yun-hwa points back at someone with his finger and says that they said they know Kang Jin-hyuk here, so they had a little chat. Kang Jin-hyuk smiles back at the girl and says that he'll be sure to formally introduce them now. Kang Jin-hyuk points his hand at a smaller version of Alice and introduces her as a player from Northern Europe. If he says the girl is a vampire, a commotion starts. Kang Jin-hyuk introduces Kim Hee-woon, his appointed manager of the Black Raven Guild. He will be exploring the dungeons and helping them with pumping. The man cries happily and thinks about the fact that he was even introduced. Compared to Shin Gun-soo's exploitation, this kind of treatment is a real reward. Kang Jin-hyuk says to go to Kim Hee-woon if he needs anything. And Dae-min is delighted that the guildmaster is Kang Jin-hyuk, even though the paperwork says it's Kim Hee-woon. Both Dae-min and Yu Yun-hwa smile contentedly and happily because this is all very cool. It's a good thing that he and Kang Jin-hyuk are friends. Kang Jin-hyuk stands back and watches Wai Dae-min and Yu Yun-hwa chatting with Kim Hee-woon. Kang Jin-hyuk walks up to the little vampire girl and calls out to her. The girl folds her arms resentfully and looks away. The girl starts to explain that they all started at first. She didn't mean for it to come to this. Kang Jin-hyuk is shocked that she blew up a building just because she was called a baby. Kang Jin-hyuk asks if the girl can't keep her cool after living for 1,000 years. The girl says resentfully that no one dares call her that. Kang Jin-hyuk exhales tiredly and wonders how little Alice is acting. Kang Jin-hyuk is going hunting and invites Alice to come with him. She says that he can do it alone as well. Kang Jin-hyuk puts his hand up and shouts out that he's going on a legitimate hunt. Kang Jin-hyuk, in company with little Alice, looks at a tall building in the distance. The girl asks if there are still places left to hunt. Kang Jin Hek says that the third cleared is open, but the fourth is not yet open. The most valuable dungeons are under guild control, and everyone thinks there are no more places to hunt. Everyone but himself. Kang Jin Hek comes to the first floor of the tower where Moon Lake is located, the place with the most beautiful scenery in the tower, but for that reason, no one comes here anymore. Kang Jin Hek realizes that he hasn't been here for a very long time. After all, the fate of humanity hangs in the balance, so there is no time to enjoy the views. Alice von Araxia starts talking to the guy in the ring and asks how the guy is going to hunt here. The girl panics and asks him if he's really going to go into the lake and if the water will get into the ring. Kang Jin Hyuk goes into the lake and walks past the 12 statues, decorating the tranquil Moon Lake. The guy stops in front of the statue with the fish and says that's the one he wants. This statue isn't just decoration, it has another function. Alice from the ring asks if the statue has a secret button. Kang Jin Hyuk answers her that it's far from simple. The secret of this statue with the fish in the middle of the Moon Lake has only been revealed by 3 players. Very rarely has it been talked about in the community, but no one has been able to find the right key. Kang Jin Hek says it's understandable because it was an unusual key. This key is the moonlight. Kang Jin Hek puts his palm against the hole, through which some sort of mechanism can be seen. The guy explains that using his fingers to adjust the amount and angle of the moonlight. After such manipulations, the system of this statue will begin to respond to the reflection of the incoming light. Kang Jin Hyuk continues to twist his palm in every way possible, properly adjusting the light using his fingers. The mechanism inside the statue begins to respond to his actions. Kang Jin Hek knows that it will open. Kang Jin Hek stares at the statue with his interested gaze, realizing that he has succeeded. In front of Kang Jin Hek, the water splits in two and a passage to the lower floors opens up. He invites Alice to come with him. Kang Jin Hek and little Alice get to the -1st floor of the Tower of Trials. The girl wonders what was under the tower here. The girl walks rather close to the stream of water and slips her hand in there. She hasn't felt something like this in a long time. Little Alice covers her eyes contentedly, enjoying the forgotten freedom. Kang Jin Hek notices little Alice's satisfied face and asks her how she feels now. Kang Jin Hek asks the girl if she regretted making a contract with him. The girl blushes embarrassedly. The girl pretends to be offended, but is still able to believe the guy a little. She says that what he said didn't sound like a complete lie. Kang Jin Hyuk walks down the stairs and applies Heaven's protection, activating the sacred power. He begins the second stage of unfreezing the icy tier, and his mage power increases by 18 units. Kang Jin Hek exhales tiredly and thinks about the fact that after reabsorbing the tier, it was easier for him to control Alice. Kang Jin Hek activates the fire element and thinks about what little Alice thinks about the players in the tower. He looks at the girl and realizes that even if the game has become reality, Alice, who has lived for thousands of years, does she consider herself part of the game? Kang Jin Hek turns to little Alice and says he wants to ask her one question. As Kang Jin Hek begins to ask his question, his words, voice, and image begin to become severely distorted. Kang Jin Hek notices little Alice's face scared to the point of terror and is surprised himself. The girl asks him what he said and why he scared her so much. Now, the guy understands how it works. The thing about the tower was blocked. Now, Kang Jin Hyuk realized that he couldn't discuss it with those who lived inside this Tower of Trials. This was already a good thing. Suddenly, the little Alice flying beside Kang Jin Hyuk abruptly turns back and becomes alert. The girl's eyes light up and she informs her boyfriend that something is now approaching them. From somewhere out of the shadows, the black claws of some unknown monster begin to appear. Kang Jin Hek continues to hold the flames of fire in his palm and turns around towards the noise. Kang Jin Hek calls the minuscule first floor in the Tower of Trials the spawning ground. He instantly attacks the creature with his fire. Some huge scarab-like bug approaches Kang Jin Hek, who attacks it with his fire flame. The incredibly large-sized scarab is completely enveloped by the fiery flames, but continues to rush towards Kang Jin Hyuk. An entire army of huge and fast scarabs head towards Kang Jin Hek, trying to avoid the flames of fire. Kang Jin Hek smugly watches as his fire flames spread to his opponents. Kang Jin Hek stands with his little Alice in front of an endless stream of monsters climbing out of the abyss. A huge 25th level scarab beetle appears in front of the boy and girl. Little Alice shouts indignantly and clutches her hand to her chest. She is really disgusted to see such scarab beetles. Kang Jin Hek is standing in the ruins on the -1st floor, surrounded by many scarabs. He orders Alice to stand behind him. Little Alice obediently stands behind Kang Jin Hek, who puts his hand forward and activates the unique ability, Patronize the Heavens. The guy's unique ability, Patronizing the Heavens, sets up a powerful and strong whirlpool in the air. Kang Jin-hek directs a powerful beam of holy power towards the army of enormous scarabs. Kang Jin-hek smugly and confidently watches the powerful stream of holy power attacking the scarabs. In the midst of the holy power, one of the enormous scarabs can be seen. Kang Jin-hek reduces the monster's physical defense by 30%. Kang Jin-hek asks little Alice to show her power. The girl asks why a noble vampire like her has to fight such nasty monsters. Kang Jin-hek pulls out the chain with the Bram ring and threatens the girl that he will ban her there again if she doesn't obey. The girl understands everything and points her palms to the ground, making a red magic circle appear from where red streams of blood are coming from. Little Alice activates the blood wands of unknown level and directs them at the scarabs. The huge scarabs are enveloped by the bloody putas and are trapped as if being restrained by the bloody streams. Kang Jin-hek praises Alice satisfactorily and pulls out his rusty dagger. The guy applies a power surge stat. There are 100 such stats in total, and the difference is reduced by 33 levels. Kang Jin-hyuk uses his rusty dagger to strike many times, and he manages to level up several times. The guy is holding his rusty dagger with black liquid dripping down it. He was having a hard time keeping up while he stayed at the first level. He had a lot of stress built up. The number of scarabs only increases, and they surround Kang Jin-hyuk again. The guy is ready to confront them. Kang Jin-hek activates his unique sword graveyard ability, enveloping the space with black and purple energy. Kang Jin-hek gets satisfaction and excitement from hunting scarabs. He says that he is very happy about their appearance. At this time, several members of the Olympus Guild gather in the meeting hall. Frederick, the head of the Titan Guild, folds his hands in a lock in front of his face and says that since everyone is gathered, the meeting can begin. The blonde man says that everyone already knows that the 8th raid on the 4th floor ended in failure. The man talks about the fact that out of 100 people divided into 15 squads, only 9 of them came back alive. To get to the 4th floor, you have to go through the 3rd floor, on which the boss is quite ordinary, but he summons thousands of statues. They need a way to defeat them. One of the men in the red jacket clenches his hand into a fist and slams it sharply on the table he's sitting at. The man in the red jacket is the head of the China Guild, Teng Wei. He realizes that they failed, even after using the divine artifact. He asks how he will be ordered to deal from the statues. Teresa de Laurencia is a loner, and she stands next to Maria, the head of the Olympus Guild. Maria talks about how the 2nd and 3rd floors were passed too quickly. The good players had too little time to pump. Baek Jin-ho, the head of the 3rd squad of the Tangan Guild, agrees with Maria's words that it would be good if there were more players above level 15. Baek Jin-ho thinks that they're only in trouble because of the China Guild, which monopolizes dungeons for the sake of controlling magic crystals. Teng Wei, the head of the China Guild, thinks that Baek Jin-ho is challenging him. He issues overly serious statements. The men start arguing amongst themselves. Teng Wei says that they are just passing the Tower of Trials for the sake of humanity. He won't stand for insults. Baek Jin-ho says that such an excuse won't help him. The head of the Titan Guild, Frederick, demands the men stop arguing. Only infighting is all they need here. Frederick calmly sits in the center of the table in the same position and says that they are here to solve a completely different problem. Baek Jin-ho stands unhappily with his arms folded across his chest. Maria asks Frederick if he has any thoughts. Frederick anxiously grabs his head and tells everyone that a message came in yesterday from the mains. All the heads of the different guilds are shocked at this news. Frederick says that if they fulfill one condition, they will help them. No one is going to cooperate with them as they are internationally wanted. Teresa thinks about how they are all afraid to interact with the Manus. It's not surprising, since the guild's influence is now greater than the government. Teresa knows that the greater the influence, the more important morality becomes. They must act with that in mind. Suddenly, the candles on the huge chandelier in the study begin to extinguish with the flow of the wind. Someone out of nowhere repeats the chapter's words about lowlifes. Flames appear from the fireplace in the study, and some voice from there says something about how he somehow dislikes hearing such things. Ite. One of the mains appears from the fireplace and says that pride is a good thing, but the guild heads themselves know they can't do it on their own. Mains flies out of the fireplace and puts out the fire after him. All the guild heads jerk up from their seats and tense up at the man's appearance. Baek Jin-ho tensely looks at Mayan, who thought he dared to show up here at all. Baek Jin-ho abruptly grabs the table with his fingers, and with all his might, he breaks the wood through. The veins on Baek Jin-ho's face swell with anger, and he is about to destroy Mayan. The man holds the table with his fingers and swings it at Main. Teng Wei, the head of the China Guild, stands behind the flying table and forms a sword in his hands. China Guild, head Teng Wei, chops the table in half with his sword and says that he agrees with Baek Jin-ho for the first time. Old Man Meng stands by the fireplace and says that the guys have hot heads, but after hearing his suggestion, they will change their minds immediately. Old Man Meng starts to smirk and tells them to help them out. They will help them deal with the third-floor boss. Baek Jin-ho waves his hands aggressively and says that if they team up, even that man won't be enough. How can you even handle a huge army? The hooded Old Man Meng folds his hands in front of him and says that such a number of warriors can be created. The Old Man Meng envelops the space with his magical energy and applies the skill Black Graveyard Guardian. The head of the Titan Guild, Frederick, walks over to the window and looks out the window, noticing something appearing there. Titan Guild leader Frederick watches through the window as skeleton arms begin to burst out of the asphalt right outside. The Old Man of the Manus says thank you to the long-dead warriors, and there are many useful skeletons here. There are strong people among the man, such as necromancers. Frederick, the head of the Titan Guild, keeps squinting out the window and is simply amazed at the number of skeletons that have risen. A whole huge army of rebellious skeletons appears in front of the building where the various guilds are meeting. The head of the Titan Guild turns to the old man and notices a staff in his hands. Maying realizes that the man recognizes this staff. The Old Man Meng shows his Staff of Greed, which can only be created by collecting all 99 items. The head of the China Guild observes the mane and realizes that it is an amalgamation of the Necromancer and the Staff of Greed. Teng Wei, the head of the China Guild, turns to the others and says that there is a chance to deal with the third-floor boss. Maria doesn't believe his words, after all, they're mangas. Baek Jin-ho agrees with Maria's words and says that it would be the right thing to destroy it here and now. Baek Jin-ho instantly thinks it over and says that if the public doesn't find out about the pact, then the game is well worth the candle. Teresa watches the turmoil as the guild heads can't decide which side to take. Teresa de Laurencia wonders how things have turned out. Everyone has gone crazy since they are going to cooperate with the Mangas. The girl thinks about how if Kang Jin-hyuk was here, none of this would have happened. She thinks about what she should do. Suddenly, a request for a video call from outside comes to the girl. The girl has to choose to accept the video call from Kang Jin-hyuk or not. Teresa de Laurencia accepts the call without too much thought and is very happy to see Kang Jin-hyuk, who asks how she is doing. While talking to Teresa de Laurencia, Kang Jin-hyuk turns around at the noise and doesn't realize what's going on. Kang Jin-hyuk tries to ask Teresa de Laurencia what kind of strange situation she has going on there. Old Man Meng turns around at Kang Jin-hyuk's voice and orders him to reveal his countenance since he has raised his voice. Kang Jin-hyuk switches to conference mode while Teresa anxiously watches everything. Kang Jin-hyuk's face appears on the screen in front of everyone in the meeting, but wearing a mask to hide his identity. Everyone in the meeting recognizes this person as the unknown person who cleaned out the first-floor dungeon. That incredible player who cleared the dungeon alone, unknown to anyone. Major guilds from all over the world wanted to get their hands on this player. Now this super rookie player was right in front of them, even though they had made great efforts to contact him before. This caused all the guild heads in the meeting to have dry mouths from the joy of seeing the unknown player in front of them. The Old Man Meng starts smiling widely and finds this interesting. He too heard about the guy who single-handedly cleared the first-floor dungeon. Old Man asks Kang Jin-hyuk if he knows that there will be a boss capture of a completely different level this time, and Old Man will definitely be able to defeat him. Old Man points to the rebellious skeletons and says that so many summoned are enough, and the guild heads have already given their consent. Kang Jin-hyuk listens to Old Man Meng's words and gloats at him because he doubts his words. Kang Jin-hyuk asks Old Man Meng how he is going to deal with his fake Staff of Greed. Kang Jin-hyuk starts to explain, proving his point. Old Man Meng created his staff without the heart of a saint, and prison mold dabbed with oil. Frederick, the head of the Titan Guild, turns to Kang Jin-hyuk and says if he has proof. Kang Jin-hyuk explains that the real staff has a red stone under the skull, and the open floors lack some of the materials needed to create the real staff. Kang Jin-hyuk points out the rebel skeletons and says that they are very weak and won't last even a quarter of a day in the boss room. Kang Jin-hyuk says that Old Man Meng will just abandon them in danger, running off with the loot like a rogue. Old Man Meng listens to everything the unknown player says and grudgingly calls him cheeky. Old Man Meng rallies to the attack, telling the others that they will regret not accepting his offer. Old Man Meng says whether the guild heads will be as calm the next time they meet him, he will keep an eye on everyone. Through the window from the meeting hall, you can see that the rebels and summoned skeletons are beginning to dissolve into thin air. The head of the Titan Guild, Frederick, is frustrated and tense as he watches the rebellious skeletons disappear. All the heads of the different guilds are standing in the meeting room, and now they don't know what to do or how to be. An unknown player asks them to leave it to him. They will not have to cooperate with the mangas, and he takes responsibility for the operation. The head of the Titan Guild, Frederick, asks if the guy can really do it alone. Kang Jin-hek confirms it. Frederick tensely thinks about the fact that even if he can't handle it, at least he'll be closer to them. Maria smirks contentedly and thinks about the fact that unlike the deal with the Mayanas, this deal doesn't have any serious downsides. Tang Wei smiles contentedly and happily, realizing that they can't miss out on such a fortunate moment. Baek Jin-ho smiles widely with his white teeth, and he clearly agrees with what the other guild heads think. Tang Wei asks what kind of payment would suit Kang Jin-hyuk, but Maria stops him and says that the Olympus Guild will fully fund him. Frederick and Baek Jin-ho start arguing amongst themselves about which one of them will provide the unknown player with everything he needs, but he says he doesn't need anything. Kang Jin-hyuk turns to everyone and says that they should limit entry to other players and will let him go through alone. He doesn't need the rewards. Maria doesn't understand why he needs all this. Tang Wei also says that such a thing is questionable and they need to know the reason for such actions. Kang Jin-hyuk playfully but thoughtfully taps his finger on his cheek and thinks about what reason to tell them. Teresa de Laurencia is greatly embarrassed when she hears the guy's words that he's just doing what he needs to do, and for the sake of his dear colleague. Kang Jin-hyuk is already covered in sweat, and he himself is disgusted by how much meaningless pathos he's showing. Teresa de Laurencia watches Kang Jin-hyuk embarrassed and happy, and repeats his words about his dear colleague. Baek Jin-ho starts shouting admiringly because he is amazed to see such a strong camaraderie of an unknown player. Baek Jin-ho says that as a guild representative, he has nothing to add. Kang Jin-hyuk's words touched him deeply. All the while, the video conference is recording the video and their conversation. Ordinary players would ask for a good payment, but in this case, it's worth thinking about the prospects. Kang Jin-hyuk realizes that a player who sacrifices the reward for his comrades would be able to get much more than what he would have been paid. Kang Jin-hyuk wraps up the conversation and thinks about the fact that he can't be in conflict with the guilds, so he'll upload the video, editing out the moment with the Manga. Kang Jin-hyuk opens his characterization and studies it. He's only been in the spawn point for a day, and he's already level 12. Things are going better than he expected. Suddenly, Kang Jin-hyuk is called out by someone from outside, and he turns around unhappily towards the voice. Little Alice resents that you can't leave everything to her. Kang Jin-hyuk says that since she has the strength to bicker, she definitely won't die. Little Alice wipes her tears with a handkerchief and says that they have an equal partnership, not slavery. Kang Jin-hyuk thinks this is an unfounded accusation. Kang Jin-hyuk opens the exchange and says he was just about to buy mana replenishment for Alice. Alice says it's not enough. It won't restore her strength. Plus, if her mana runs out, she won't be able to help him. The girl bares her fangs and drool begins to flow from her mouth. She says that she has to restore her mana naturally. Kang Jin-hyuk starts to tense up at that suggestion and tries to stop little Alice. Kang Jin-hyuk is already starting to scream and tenses up trying to stop little Alice. The girl wipes her mouth contentedly with a handkerchief and rejoices at the deliciousness she just tasted. Kang Jin-hyuk holds onto the bite on her neck and wonders how much of his blood she's had time to drink. The girl replenishes her mana and asks what they're going to do next. Kang Jin-hyuk tells little Alice that they need to shop for something first. Kang Jin-hyuk purchases the necessary attributes to enhance abilities and different materials. Alice thinks that he has procured some junk. Kang Jin-hyuk says that sometimes even junk can be useful. Kang Jin-hyuk and his little vampire are standing in front of some ravine, and he tells her that they will have a lot of things to do from now on. Kang Jin-hyuk tells the vampiress that they need to clear the minuscule floor in just a day. Kang Jin-hyuk takes a step forward, and with a smirk on his face begins to fall into the huge abyss in front of him. Kang Jin-hyuk calmly gives in to his flight into the abyss. Alice asks him how he can jump so calmly when he doesn't even know how deep it is. Kang Jin-hyuk smirks at her question about the depth. He's jumped here over 100 times before, so he definitely knows everything. Kang Jin-hyuk turns around to face down and tells little Alice that this is the right moment. Little Alice instantly reacts and activates a reverse gravity of unknown level. Kang Jin-hyuk lands with the vampiress, who calls him reckless, not realizing if it's luck or skill. Suddenly, the little vampire Alice's attention is caught by something, and she becomes alert, calling out to Kang Jin-hyuk. Kang Jin-hyuk activates his level 4 fire element and approaches the large torch in the center, setting it on fire. Kang Jin-hyuk assures his partner that everything is fine and they've come to the right place. Huge worms with many fangs in their mouths appear here. In addition to these toothy worms, various insects like locusts and beetles also appear here. Kang Jin-hyuk says that he can't be defeated by such weak insects and suggests that the boss come out himself. The boss in the statue in the form of Anubis wonders what the guy knows about him. Kang Jin-hyuk stands calmly and smiles contentedly. He talks about what he knows about this boss without a doubt. Kang Jin-hek calls a huge statue of a hound wandering the desert, called Anubis. Anubis says that Kang Jin-hek is the first man to come down here and he wanted to mess with him, but the guy only brought his doom closer. Kang Jin-hek demands that he attack him, because he didn't come here to talk after all. Anubis starts laughing loudly because Kang Jin-hek thinks that such a gorgeous Anubis would fight him. Little Alice blocks Kang Jin-hek's path and tells him that Anubis is very dangerous. She suggests that he should leave. She can handle him herself. Kang Jin-hek smiles softly with the corners of his lips and is pleased that little Alice cares for him. Kang Jin-hek demands the girl to calm down and observe. Little Alice is worried and tells the guy to temper his ardor. Kang Jin-hek appears before the huge statue of Anubis again and says she will show him what kind of man Alice made a pact with. The huge statue of Anubis puts his hand down, in which he holds his Egyptian staff. He finds the situation entertaining. After Anubis activates his personal ability, Anubis's judgment, he questions the guy about whether he learned about him from that vampire over his shoulder. Anubis asks his first question. Kang Jin-hek knows that the statue always uses this ability on his opponent. When all questions are answered, he activates his absolute judgment of Anubis's judgment. Kang Jin-hek is going to copy his ability through which he can ask questions, but Anubis needs to be pissed off to do so. Kang Jin-hek answers the huge statue's question in the affirmative. The huge statue of Anubis asks the guy his next question. Did Kang Jin-hek come here for the hive? A second question is asked, to which Kang Jin-hek replies that he would be given a lot of money for the beehive on the black market. When Kang Jin-hek answers the second question, the judge who is standing next to Anubis picks up a human heart. Anubis asks his final question, if Kang Jin-hek came to his territory and thinks he will stay alive. Kang Jin-hek answers him that if he can't defeat Anubis, the only thing left to do is to throw away all his belongings and die. Kang Jin-hek answers the last question, and all conditions are met. Many spikes appear under the guy's feet. Right now, Anubis's judgment is activated, and all stats are reduced by 50%. Anubis's silhouette appears behind the guy. All abilities and skills are sealed for 1 minute. Anubis chooses a representative to pass judgment on Kang Jin-hyuk. A huge locust appears in front of Kang Jin-hek and little Alice, who will be Anubis's representative to pass judgment. Kang Jin-hek watches coldly. Little Alice is disgusted to see the mantis appear. The statue of Anubis introduces the girl and her boyfriend to his representative, whose name is Zyont Mentis. He will be passing judgment. The huge black locust with red eyes stares silently at Kang Jin-hek, and Anubis asks how the guy rates him. Kang Jin-hek replies to Anubis that he's very impressed with his representative. The guy transforms something in his hands. Kang Jin-hek says that one mini gramophone that plays the selected music once will be enough for him. It can't be turned off until the music ends. Anubis's statue suspects that Kang Jin-hek wants to use human music to cloud the representative's mind. Kang Jin-hek negatively and surprisingly interjects what kind of mind we're talking about now. A huge flash of light appears from behind Anubis Locust representative Zyont Mentis. Kang Jin-hek begins to dance, holding his rusty dagger in his hands. He says that one should give oneself to the music wholeheartedly. Kang Jin-hek talks about how this is the perfect music that he found through trial and error. Kang Jin-hek swings his dagger in a dance, a rhythm that perfectly matches the attack patterns of Zyont Mentis. Kang Jin-hek, following this rhythm as always, is in complete control of this battle. Anubis watches in shock as Kang Jin-hek moves out of the way of the attacks, taking advantage of the music. This is not luck, but a precise calculation. A few drops of sweat appear on Kang Jin-hek's face, and he's about to capitalize on the best moment. 1 minute has passed, and Kang Jin-hek is able to use his skills again. As soon as the restriction time runs out, the guy activates the Sword Graveyard. A wound appears on Locust representative Zyont Mentis, and a green and thick liquid flows out. Kang Jin-hek stabs one of the mantis's claws. Anubis asks if the guy really thinks he can defeat his representative. Anubis says that Zyont Mentis recovers in seconds. If Kang Jin-hek uses up his strength, he's finished. Kang Jin-hek confirms that right now he can't destroy that mantis. Kang Jin-hek shows Anubis his dagger and says that he can make the mantis simply not want to live. Kang Jin-hek stabs Anubis multiple times with his rusty dagger and destroys the mantis's limbs. The huge mantis's eyes express tension and anxiety as Kang Jin-hek continues to attack it. Little Alice watches their confrontation, and she wonders if the guy is really playing around. She knew he was strong, but not that strong. Suddenly, some realization comes to Little Alice, and she begins to suspect that Kang Jin-hek is the one. Little Alice looks at Kang Jin-hek in anticipation and realizes that he can help her exact her revenge. The enormous representative mantis falls to the stone floor with all its weight from Kang Jin-hek's blows. The statue of Anubis asks what his mantis is doing. He orders him to fight and not to run away. The proud warrior chosen by God, representative, falls with his whole body to the ground and shakes with fear and defeat. Kang Jin-hek walks past the remains from the limbs of the mantis with a calm and slow step. Kang Jin-hek embarks on the final stage in which he destroys it, a great warrior believing in his own invincibility. Kang Jin-hek approaches the huge mantis, sitting on its head. By doing so, he humiliates and provokes him. After doing so, the giant mantis instantly rises to its feet and tosses Kang Jin-hyuk into the air. The enormous mantis, the representative of Anubis, seems ready to fight again and will not tolerate humiliation, but he gives up. The statue of Anubis notices that his representative has been defeated because he takes his own life. Kang Jin-hyuk's level increases again. From the mantis, he receives the magic folio of the Duchy of Peltaris. After studying it, he can learn ice magic. Kang Jin-hek touches this magic folio and says that such a thing can only be seen in the middle floors of the tower. Kang Jin-hek gains the level 1 ice creation skill because of his monopolization stat. Kang Jin-hek holds the magic folio in his hands and immediately applies ice creation, happy with his acquisition. Anubis recognizes Kang Jin-hek as a challenging person, but he doubts that he can win by betting his ice on it. Kang Jin-hek asks what he's talking about since Anubis can't even attack directly. Hold up here on the 42nd floor. The Anubis statue asks the guy why he's challenging him when he knows he's just an incarnation. Kang Jin-hek wraps his palms around his magic power and says he's just having fun challenging him. The statue of Anubis is provoked by such words and says is he nothing more than some kind of entertainment for the guy. Anubis thinks this is disrespectful to him. He is about to apply the hive, which is home to countless insects. Anubis instantly releases his hive and orders the insects to destroy this impertinent man. Kang Jin-hek uses some small ice magic balls that dissolve the insects by barely hitting them. Kang Jin-hek notices the incredible amount of insects flying out and continues to attack them. Kang Jin-hek is about to use his fire element ability again, forming a fiery flame in the palm of his hand. Kang Jin-hek begins to form an air vortex around himself while holding the fire flame in his hands. Kang Jin-hek brings his palms together and is about to combine the fire element and ice creation skills. A ball of bright and blue light appears in Kang Jin-hek's hands, which he is going to launch at his enemies. The merging of the two skills in Kang Jin-hek's hands is successful, and he gains a new AA rank Daylight skill. Kang Jin-hek activates his new level 1 Daylight ability, and this bright flash illuminates everything around him. A strong and powerful stream of daylight is purposefully directed at the insect army. Kang Jin-hyuk launches such a bright and dense stream of light upwards, striking all the insects in its path with it. The many insects from the hive of the Anubis statue still have time to watch as the flash of light illuminates everything around them. Guy uses Daylight, which compresses and releases magical power. It has high power and limits the enemy's field of vision, which gives an advantage in combat. The statue of Anubis clenches his fist and brings it to his face thoughtfully. He realizes that it is time for him to change his tactics. The statue of Anubis concentrates his magical energy in his palm and activates the chosen being. With this ability of Anubis, a very strong and powerful individual is engendered in the hive. The eyes of this strong and powerful individual are red in color and very wide open, looking forward. A huge and strong bee flies out of Anubis's hive, ready to attack its opponent Kang Jin-hek. Kang Jin-hek notices the huge bee flying at him and applies a level 1 ice creation. Using his ice balls, Kang Jin-hek instantly dissolves the strong bee specimen in the air. The statue of Anubis says it's too easy because the chosen creatures don't die, they just multiply. One strong and enormous bee multiplies by several more, about to continue its assault on the enemy. The statue of Anubis tells Kang Jin-hek that whatever skill he uses, it doesn't matter. Kang Jin-hek picks up a C-rank enhancement pill that increases the size of an object 10 times. Kang Jin-hek makes one deft and quick swing to repel the attack of one of the bees. The many enormous bees sigh in surprise because Kang Jin-hek repels their attacks. Kang Jin-hek knows that the effect of the enhancement pill will only show up after 1 minute. He needs to stall for time. Kang Jin-hek climbs onto the body of one of the huge bees and starts moving on their backs. Kang Jin-hek stops on one of the huge bees to assess the situation and stall for time. Kang Jin-hek is about to take control of the situation and grabs onto the tendrils of the huge bee. Kang Jin-hek deftly saddled one of the huge bees, intending to ride it through the air. The statue of Anubis is already getting nervous because the bees are doing something wrong. He orders them to quickly destroy the guy. Kang Jin-hek remembers Anubis's words when he said that bees don't die, they just multiply. He sits on a huge bee. Kang Jin-hek looks back at the bees chasing him and realizes that this feature would drive any opponent to despair. Under the horrible and absurd conditions, the enemy simply cannot make a sound judgment of the whole situation. One of the bees is attacked. Kang Jin-hek jumps off the huge bee and activates a D-rank obscure cube in midair. Kang Jin-hek combines ability meter, sticky glue, forest web, and two-headed ogre 100 mg snot to strengthen the obscure cube. Kang Jin-hek uses his obscure cube skill to trap several enormous bees in this trap. Kang Jin-hek lands on the ground and thinks that through endless repetition, one can understand the tactics and then intelligently assess the situation. In the obscure cube, where the bees are trapped, a small fire flame appears. This fire flame inside the obscure cube appears due to Kang Jin-hek's activation of the level 5 fire element. Kang Jin-hek cleverly traps all the strong bee individuals inside the obscure cube along with the hive. At times, one would come up with an unexpected solution. Strengthening Pill of rank C starts its effect right inside the obscure cube with insects. An infinite amount of the same enhancement pill starts to fall from the insects now and then. Kang Jin-hek knows that in order to become an equal opponent for a boss with a huge army, you need the maximum number of these pills. The endlessly multiplying monsters allow the guy to gain not only tons of experience, but also items. He realizes that this is an excellent farming game. The statue of Anubis is anxiously and warily watching, not realizing what's going on. Anubis realizes that Kang Jin-hyuk has prepared items to combine in advance, learned the characteristics of the hive, and created a trap. The statue of Anubis looks at Kang Jin-hek and says that he now understands everything. The guy had been provoking him to do this from the beginning. The huge and powerful stone fist of Anubis abruptly hits the surface beside him. The Anubis statue clutches his palm a bit and bows out because he fell for the guy's tricks. The Anubis statue abruptly balled its stone palm into a fist and destroyed its hive. See, hive, summoned by Anubis himself, hovers in the air and abruptly cracks, completely shattering. Kang Jin-hyuk notices that it's already over, and he's only just getting into the swing of things. The Anubis statue's eyes light up with a fierce purple light, and he asks, how dare the man treat him with such disrespect? The Anubis statue begins to freak out and aggress like a child, endlessly repeating, disrespect, disrespect, disrespect. The Anubis statue points his Egyptian staff at Kang Jin-hek and says that he just has to survive and go up to his floor. Kang Jin-hek smirks rather smugly and asks him not to yell Anubis out since he was going to do all of this without him. The Anubis statue blurs into a grin with a grin, and he says that when the guy goes up to him, then he'll punish him for disrespecting him. The eyes of the Anubis statue stop burning with purple light, and it's clear that the Anubis Lodge has been destroyed. Kang Jin-hek fulfills all the necessary conditions, and the ability Anubis Judgment is copied into his world memories. Such an Egyptian skill can only be applied to one person once, and if abused, the gods of Egypt will punish the person. The Tower of Trials system issues a notification that the gods of Egypt are showing their interest in Kang Jin-hek, and some are feeling hostility. Kang Jin-hek realizes that Anubis has already managed to snitch on him. He notices that the gods here are very picky. Kang Jin-hyuk is approached by his partner, Little Alice. She asks how and what happened here. Kang Jin-hek smiles contentedly and says that Anubis is just tired. The girl doesn't quite understand what was said. Kang Jin-hek opens his characterization panel again and notices that this is the first time he's risen so many levels in this place. He doesn't know what's in store for him, so he's going to pump everything at once. Suddenly, a video call request appears in front of the guy's face. Kang Jin-hyuk asks a disgruntled Alice to sit aside. On the screen, Jeon Yu-sung appears in front of Kang Jin-hyuk and asks him what the man is calling him for. Young Yu-sung tries to figure out where Kang Jin-hek is now. He doesn't know the place. The guy replies that it's none of his business and asks what he's calling for. Young Yu-sung confidently informs Kang Jin-hyuk that he has a nice offer for him. Jeon Yu-sung tells him that in 24 hours, a martial arts tournament will begin at the Awakened Association, where players of AA rank and above, including him, have been invited. Kang Jin-hyuk is surprised that the association decided to hold the tournament when there are more important things, the same third-floor boss. Jeon Yu-sung asks Kang Jin-hyuk to participate in the tournament and fight him. Kang Jin-hek asks why he would waste his precious time on this. Kang Jin-hek mentally says that only if Jeon Yu-sung doesn't have any new skills to copy. Jeon Yu-sung assures him that he can't say no. Jeon Yu-sung shows Kang Jin-hyuk a card that is a black market pass. This is the reason why he can't refuse him. A blonde man in a suit and holding a microphone taps his pointer and informs him that some item is sold right now. Jeon Yu-sung explained to Kang Jin-hyuk that the black market is not a place where players can buy something with coins. The black market is a secret place where invited participants can only purchase items with real money. Kang Jin-hek realizes that people are holding these auctions because the Tower of Trials has become a reality. He just needs items to pass the boss on the third floor. He will be able to purchase a lot of good things there. A notification appears in front of Kang Jin-hyuk's face that his video has become a hot new item and has already been discussed. Kang Jin-hyuk edited the moment with the Mang, and no one spoke ill of the guilds. It's not favorable for him to conflict with the big guilds. People reacted predictably to the unknown player who hides under a mask and is the center of attention when he declares to the big guilds that he will go on a mission alone. That kind of thing can't help but be interesting. Kang Jin-hyuk's video has 50 million views. 100 coins for 10,000 views, so that's about 500,000 coins in total, and with a 90% commission, it's 50,000 coins, but that's not bad. Kang Jin-hek is distracted from his thoughts and musings and starts yawning from boredom or fatigue. Kang Jin-hek sits in the stands next to the other people who came to watch the tournament. He can't wait for this tournament to be over. Kang Jin-hek and the rest of the spectators are watching two unknown players fight. The organizers had selected 24 players of rank AA and above to hold such a tournament. After several failed third-floor raids, the association and the major guilds decided to widely distribute the recordings of this tournament to show the population the power and greatness of the top players. Kang Jin-hek thinks it's all just a simple show. Not everyone watches NewTubes, and here is such an opportunity to showcase the players' abilities. It's a great way to lighten the mood. Back during the video call with Jeon Yu-sung, a man offered Kang Jin-hyuk to give this ticket to the black market if he fights him. Kang Jin-hek stops Jeon Yu-sung and says that he hasn't reached that AA rank yet, so he can't even enter the tournament. Kang Jin-hek realizes that the man is ignoring him when he says that the winner of the tournament is given a choice in which he can choose a replica relic from the National Museum. Jeon Yu-sung continues that on top of all this, a player can invite a player who didn't participate in the tournament and fight him. Kang Jin-hyuk gets kind of uncomfortable when Jeon Yu-sung tells him that he will defeat him in front of everyone this time. The players in the tournament continue to fight in pairs in the arena. They provoke each other and incite each other to do something just to win. Suddenly, a huge, dark silhouette appears behind the two unknown players. Anubis appears behind the players, summoned by one of the players who has the summoning technique. The huge Anubis with red eyes swings his fists and slams into the ground, sending the players flying into the air. Those same poor two players are abruptly engulfed by a powerful fire flame that strikes them. The same old man and girl from the very beginning of the Tower of Trials participate in the tournament and fight these two unknown players. The judges and the association representatives say that the old man and the girl are strong. There are many participants here that can be recruited. The head of the Black Luck Guild, Hong Dok-pae rank S, tells his guys that he only has his eye on one participant here. The white-haired man watches as one of the contestants, Jeon Yu-sung, fights in the arena. Hong Dok-pae thinks the guy is just great. His battle control, wide view, and most importantly, many types of attacks. Jeon Yu-sung is the only player who refused to join his guild. He's a very ambitious guy, not like girls. Hong Dok-pae is distracted from his thoughts by some man sitting behind him, who says that he can't look at all of this calmly anymore. The man fixes his glasses and says that if he participated, he would handle everyone and make the one who refused to join the guild kneel. The dark-skinned man takes off his sunglasses and smiles a white smile. It's the Barospeo A-ranked John Do-hyun from the Black Luck Guild. Hong Dok-pae turns to the guy and tells him not to think about the tournament fights, but about the upcoming interview. He's invested in all of this for a reason. John Do-hyun says he knows how to shine in front of the cameras. Hong Dok-pae thinks about the fact that Do-hyun has every opportunity to rise to the S rank in 3 years. If everyone knows that he has nurtured a rising star, the prestige of the guild will increase dramatically. In the huge arena of the Awakened Association tournament, the battles between players continue. Among the players in the tournament, there is a man in a green hat who has 2 blades on his hands and a girl who is constantly blowing bubbles with bubble gum. Someone attacks this man and the girl with gum with a lightning technique that shreds everything with its beams. The old man with fire techniques and his partner are also attacked, which they try to cover themselves from. Jung Sung appears in the tournament arena, attacking and hitting the other players with his sword. On the live broadcast of the tournament from the Awakened Association, the winner, Jeon Sung, is already announced. People all over the world are watching this live broadcast, admiring and marveling at the winner, Jeon Sung. On a big TV on a street in Seoul, this live broadcast is also on. Jung Seong, as the winner, is offered the choice of a relic or the right to choose his opponent. He chooses the second one. All the people who are watching this live broadcast are wondering who the winner Jung Sung will fight. Jeon Sung thrusts his iron sword forward and points it at someone from the stands of the arena. Jo Do-hyun shouts out excitedly and cheerfully that he approves of Jeon Sung's choice as he chooses him. From behind, someone's hand grabs the man by the collar of his shirt and pulls him down for him to sit back up. The white-haired head of the Black Luck Guild stops the dark-skinned guy and tells him that he's not the one who picks the winner. The guild leader tells the man to look at the tip of Jung Sung's sword and the direction of his gaze. He looks a little higher. Jung Do-hyun is surprised that the winner didn't choose him, because he's sure that other than himself and their head, no one can match him. Jung Do-hyun's attention is caught by some man in the back, who is grudgingly about to stand up. Kang Jin-hyuk rises from the podium and says that Jeon Sung knows how to harass people. All the spectators and those watching see Jeon Sung lower his sword, which means that he really chose Kang Jin-hyuk. The members of the Black Luck Guild are wondering who this person the winner chose is. They are going to run him through all the bases. One of the Black Luck Guild members runs the guy through the bases and says his name is Kang Jin-hyuk and he has F rank. The head of the Black Luck Guild thinks to himself that if he had picked Jeon Do-hyun, the duel would have been spectacular, but he picked an F-ranked player for some reason. After all, he won't get any benefit from it. The guild leader suspects that Jeon Sung just wants to publicly bully the weak. He's trying to figure out what this fellow winner is up to. Kang Jin-hyuk approaches Jung Sung and tells him to give up if he plays him again this time, because it's about time he learns to admit defeat. Jung Sung is angered by Kang Jin-hyuk's words, as if he's sure he's going to win again, or is he saying that after seeing him win? Kang Jin-hyuk taunts Jung Sung and asks how hard he's been training because he's definitely gotten stronger. Jung Sung grudgingly and irritatedly scowls, saying that he didn't stop for a second to catch up to Kang Jin-hyuk. Jung Sung raises his sword and is ready for battle. Kang Jin-hyuk will have to try his best to get a black market pass. Jeon Sung applies the 6th level Sword Soul skill, making his second stand. That's the blazing Sword Soul in his eyes. Kang Jin-hyuk shamefully rubs his eyes and thinks that Jeon Sung is taking up his cause again. Kang Jin-hyuk is ready to fight Jung Sung, calling him a stalker. The guy uses his fire element. A powerful beam of fire shoots through the spherical roof of the Awakened Association building where the tournament is being held, leaving behind devastating effects. The entire arena is abuzz with the battle. Jung Sung sits kneeling on the ground in shabby and tattered clothes. He wonders how many skills Kang Jin-hyuk even has. Jung Sung passes out and faints, falling to the floor in front of Kang Jin-hyuk, who looks at him silently. Kang Jin-hyuk walks over to the man and is about to take his black market pass from his pocket. Kang Jin-hyuk says that he will gladly use the invitation to the black market. All the tournament spectators are just in shock and are animatedly discussing the attacks of Kang Jin-hyuk, who only has an F rank. Kang Jin-hyuk approaches one of the losing players, which are an old man and a girl, greeting them. The old man and the girl tensely look at Kang Jin-hyuk because this is their first meeting after a day at the museum. Kang Jin-hyuk suggests that they get along and says that their first meeting was a little violent. The old man and the girl really don't want to be his enemy. Kang Jin-hyuk addresses the girl Yu-ri, since they get along, that she needs to listen to his request. He asks her for her phone number. Kang Jin-hyuk immediately says that if she doesn't want to, she can choose not to give it, but keeps her phone ready. Kang Jin-hyuk turns his phone screen toward the girl and says that she can only not give her number if she can handle the consequences. Yuri's girlfriend thinks that it's only lip service, but actually a real blackmail. She'll give the guy her number. Some person sitting in the middle of the bleachers between the rest of the people abruptly gets off his seat and disappears. Kang Jin-hyuk watches the man who jumped out of the bleachers and popped into the arena. The man says that it was an amazing fight. The man tells Kang Jin-hyuk that since he's F rank, he should have lost quickly, but in reality, the guy isn't that easy. Kang Jin-hyuk activates his 3rd level Eye of Truth. While Jeon Do-hyun is delighted to see such a show, Kang Jin-hyuk reads the terms of copying his technique. The man has a hidden intention whose plot needs to be unraveled. Kang Jin-hek doesn't realize what the hidden intention is. He wonders how the system constantly determines the object's desires and intentions because it's beyond the capabilities of artificial intelligence. Jeon Do-hyun waves his hand at Kang Jin-hek and tells him that he didn't come here to fight. Kang Jin-hyuk asks what his purpose is. Jeon Do-hyun says that they have the same line of work, so they'll have to run into each other often. The man extends his hand to the guy as his co-worker, to which he shows common courtesy. Kang Jin-hyuk activates his third-level Eye of Truth because he doubts Jeon Do-hyun's common courtesy. The Eye of Truth indicates that the man's words are lies. Behind Jeon Do-hyun's calm face, there are dark feelings, anger, rage, hatred. Reporters who have been waiting for a moment like this and his reaching hand to use his giant's strength. Along with these, Jeon Do-hyun and his guild leader, Black Luck, who is expecting something. Jeon Do-hyun wants to surpass the rookie overpowered winner, wants to defeat Kang Jin-hek in front of reporters to shift all the attention to himself. Kang Jin-hek smugly looks at Jeon Do-hyun and realizes that he manages to read him like an open book. Kang Jin-hek gets ahead of Jeon Do-hyun's hidden intention, and the conditions of copying are fulfilled. He copies his giant strength. When Tower of Trials was a game, the guy didn't have the opportunity to copy such a skill because there weren't many players with it. But now that the game has become a reality, and other players are getting skills with difficulty, he will gladly collect them. Kang Jin-hyuk scoffs at the fact that he and Jeon Do-hyun are co-workers. It must be the greetings on behalf of the Black Luck Guild. Jeon Do-hyun sees that Kang Jin-hek isn't a member of any guild, so they would be happy for him to join. Kang Jin-hek asks that if he joins, will they give him a deposit? Jeon Do-hyun replies that he should just name the amount. Kang Jin-hek was already extending his hand towards Jeon Do-hyun's hand to shake it. Jeon Do-hyun anxiously and tensely observes Kang Jin-hyuk's behavior and actions. Kang Jin-hyuk is about to ask one last question. Does Jeon Do-hyun really think he can defeat him with bare strength alone? Jeon Do-hyun smiles excitedly and madly, agreeing with what Kang Jin-hek said. His arm becomes impressively stronger, causing his veins to swell. Jeon Do-hyun activates his level 5 Giant's Hand, gamblingly and hatefully squeezing Kang Jin-hyuk's hand. Kang Jin-hek and Jeon Do-hyun's hands continue to hold each other and clench competitively. Since Kang Jin-hek has already asked Jeon Do-hyun 3 questions, the Anubis Court is activated, and Jeon Do-hyun realizes that his opponent's hand is not squeezing through. At some point, something heavy and strong bends Jeon Do-hyun's head, pulling him to the ground. Jeon Do-hyun gets down on one knee and looks like he can't squeeze Kang Jin-hek's hand, but the guy praises him for holding on so well.